an ancient being that even gods fear. One stomp from him could flatten a whole kingdom. Even a 1,000-year demon lord looked like a milk-dripping baby before him. As the supreme master of the Devalo dungeon, impressive title. Yet who guessed Deva as lazy as a log? He lies still like a rock when there's nothing to do, dumps all work on Patrick and Ginny. The staff are losing hair chasing deadlines, while the boss snores like a water buffalo. But she looks speechless. What kind of lord is this? Others conquer lands, their own master just yawns in bed. Clumsy, yet soft-hearted like melted candy. That's why his two subordinates stay loyal. Even cold-blooded remains absolutely faithful. Maid Jinnai harbors a one-sided love for Diva. Today she told her friend she'd confess to her lord. Her friend froze in shock for a few seconds. Quick-witted yet trapped by love, Jinnai is impressive. To her bestie, Diva's strong but only good at sleeping and eating. But to Jinnai, as the universe's most handsome man, she went home, changed into a pretty dress, ready to meet her crush. Diva broke into a sweat, thinking she was quitting. After all, the castle depends on her. Losing her means doom. Then Jinnai poured tea and invited Deva to sit. He sipped, silently praying she wouldn't resign. She said she'd served the Lord for 80 years. When humans invaded everywhere, only his dungeon stood safe thanks to scary Jinnai. Unable to hold back, she confessed her long-held love. Diva, first time being confessed to, froze like a statue, too flustered. He accidentally revealed his real ears and tail. He thanked her but refused, saying their lives were too dangerous. He didn't want anyone lonely if one of them fell. Ginny felt a little sad hearing that, but she swore she'd win Deva's heart no matter what. She once spent a fortune buying a red crystal stone, a treasure rumored to make love come true. Just infuse mana before your crush, and the soul stone will bind two hearts. Tempted by the sweet sales pitch, she bought it instantly, even if it cost her life. She accepted it. Who knew the reed-haired girl had conned her badly? Once mana flowed in, the stone triggered a deadly curse. Both the lover and beloved were doomed to tragedy. Today Jinnai vowed to make her lord fall for her. The stone in her hand glowed red like a burning heart, but Deva's eyes flickered in dread, face turning pale. He revealed his monstrous true form. His rage engulfed the small girl. "You trying to kill me?" he roared. The stone slipped from Jinnai's hand. It shattered like a crushed heart. Patrick rushed in just in time, but both had lost all control. He drew his sword, pushing Jinnai back. Only distance could prevent disaster, for their lord had gone mad like a wild beast. When he awoke, Diva was horrified. Why had he spoken so harshly? What if she left? Patrick admitted Deva was strong, but his eek hit rock bottom. Though Deva hurt Jinnai, Patrick urged him to apologize. The dungeon survives thanks to her. Jin is the butler, engineer, chef, mechanic, and trap master in one. No one even knows if she's a right hand or a maid anymore. To Patrick, losing her is worse than the dungeon collapsing. Deva knows it too without her. Whole feed his lazy self. Patrick urged him to find her crawl if needed. Just bring her back. Diva, once arrogant as the heavens, now dreaded facing his own subordinate. Patrick handed him the Demira bracelet to stabilize his energy. When Diva asked curiously, Patrick said flatly, "Cost a fortune, don't break it." Diva's mana was so strong one slip meant beast mode, so the bracelet was better than nothing. Diva asked, "You prepared this ahead? You knew?" Patrick shrugged. "Found it. Stop asking." After a joke, Patrick reminded him 5 days to return before humans strike again. If both Deva and Jinnai were gone, the dungeon would only hold temporarily. Diva's sword bring Jinnai back within 5 days. As he left, Patrick sighed. His gut said a storm was coming. He pulled a crumpled newspaper from his ribs. It spoke of the legendary sword Heckleaver Fang being auctioned. Turns out Jinnai sold it to buy that cursed red crystal. Deva's madness came from it. Patrick knew if Deva learned the truth, the world wouldn't see tomorrow. He flipped the page and found even worse news. The Crusade Alliance announced they'd raid the ruins in 3 days. He suddenly recalled his promise to keep the dungeon safe for at least 5. Patrick felt thunderstruck, cursing fate under his breath. Meanwhile, Diva lay sprawled on the ground, gasping like a stranded fish. It was his second failed teleport had landed in a desolate wasteland. "Let's try that again," he muttered. In his mind appeared the place where Jinnai once sold the mana stone. A spark flash teleportation signal ignited. The scene shifted to a ruined fortress once invaded by humans. "Fine, he'll grant you a glorious death." Diva sneered. Another voice chuckled, a demon with sarcasm. "How cute." Opposite him stood rank 32 mercenaries of the Divine Guardian Legion. They boasted of earning fame across the continent. The mistress here was Agria, a beautiful demoness, 17th descendant of Asmodeus. "Now that you know my name, rest easy in your grave," she said coldly. The captain stayed calm. Unfazed, he lunged at Agria with his sword. Agria spun her staff, summoning a barrier to block it all. Another teammate dashed in to assist. Agria grew annoyed, ready to turn them all to ash. Purple mana waves surged through the air. In an instant, the mercenaries were incinerated. Only the captain stood, breathing heavily. Agria raised her staff. Chanting ice spears formed and shot forth. He dodged aside, cursing, "Think you can swallow me, hag." He grabbed a nearby brick and hurled it at her like skipping stones. It flew, plopped, and did absolutely nothing. Agria scoffed and fired another volley of ice blasts. Suddenly, a strange shield appeared, protecting him. Agria froze. The mage from that group should have been vaporized. "Captain, strike now," croaked the weak but alive mage. Agria fumed, gripping her staff to finish them all. Both sides charged, their clash booming like thunder. The room quaked, rubble flying everywhere. Both were flung backward, but they soon realized that force wasn't from each other. Agria sensed a third presence overwhelmingly strong. The captain looked baffled. No other crusade team was scheduled. Agria rose shakily, a flicker of worry in her eyes. If it was a human, the demon lord's heir was in danger who had just arrived. Through the dusty haze, a tall, lean figure slowly emerged. "Hey, can you tell me which way to Hackton Town?" A voice called oddly off topic yet familiar. Agria and the mercs all got goosebumps at the bizarre sight. A guy dropped from the sky, caused an earthquake, then casually asked for directions. Diva scratched his head awkwardly. Huh? Just asking, you know. His gaze accidentally landed on the lovely Agria. Even with an army, you still couldn't beat me. Beautiful but scary, though. He realized she was a demon lord, yet different from the ones had met. He sighed, blaming generation gap, right before getting yelled at. You bastard. You wrecked my castle, die. Agria screamed as reinforcements arrived. Both sides clashed, while Deva stood between them like background decoration. Your demon magic's useless. We've got backup charge. The humans roared. Huh? Anyone know the way to Hate Town? Diva still tried mid-battle. No one replied. Debris flew everywhere. Deva sat him on the rubble. Annoyed, he needed to find Jin Nai fast or Patrick would chew him alive, but he was hopelessly direction blind. Surrounded by chaos, Diva sighed, thinking of leaving. A soldier shouted, "Hey bastard, get over here and help us." Bossily, already irritated, Diva exploded like a volcano. His body began to beast out, mana flaring wildly. The pressure thickened the air till it felt suffocating. His shadow expanded, swallowing the arrogant fool's whole. Everything dissolved into utter chaos. Agria could only hear horrific screams echoing. When she came to, Diva had eaten the entire merc squad, still chewing the last bit. Impressive, you're even stronger than I thought. Agria gawked. She eagerly stepped closer. I really want to know more about you. Before he could react, she bombarded him. Who are you? What's that dark aura? Where do you hide it? What's your workout plan? Diva looked irritated. Generation gaps truly were nightmares. He hated noisy kids, especially the pink-haired, butterfly winged, glittery type in front of him. Agria flinched and quickly apologized. Then she regained her diva composure and began her grand introduction. I am Agria, the beautiful and mighty demon lord, 17th descendant of Asmodeus Melchizedek Agria. Her smugness only exhausted Deva further, though he politely replied. He almost blurted out his real name but remembered that cause chaos. If Patrick found out, he revealed his id, had bite his head off, so Deva improvised. Name Scando Jr. He lied, mentally crafting a fake profile. 32, single, naps daily, hates drama. The name sounded worse the longer he spoke. His brain was emptier than an unsaved file. Then he'll call you Lord Scando. Agria beamed, chatting nonstop. Diva raised a hand begging silence, but she kept rambling. Honestly, without you I'd have lost, but I didn't need saving. She wrapped her 1,000-word speech in one breath. Finally, she offered repayment. Need anything? Yes. Diva shot back like a survival instinct. Show me the way to Haston Town. She went aha, and Deva's heart bloomed with hope. Rescue at last. Then she tilted her head. What's a Haston? Diva's smile froze. He nearly decided to eat her out of spite. He sighed and switched tactics. Then where's the nearest human village? Might as well spare the clueless girl. Agria pointed. The closest is Lick City. Diva was stunned. Had he flown all the way near the capital's starry sky? By carriage? It'd take 2 whole months from Haston to Lick. Lord Scando, what's wrong? Agria asked, while Deva wanted to collapse. Ah, I get it. You're going far, right? Use a teleport wheel. A what? Diva blinked, while Agria grinned. Finally something she knew better. She explained eagerly. It's a human-made device using magic and alchemy for instant travel. There's one in Lick's capital. So she led the way, though unsure if Jin Nai was there. Diva followed with faint hope. Agria even promised to help him find the silver-haired girl with all her might. Wait, you're a demon lord, you just abandoned your palace? Diva asked. Worried about me? Agria teased, lips curling like a crescent moon. And the supreme demon lord, wherever I go becomes demon territory. Who needs a palace? Diva thought. This girl summons demons like calling a taxi. Pretty dangerous. Agria nodded proudly. Exactly, though I've never actually tried. Pure theory mode. Seeing Deva's skeptical face, she yelled, if my dad could, so can I. With her castle wrecked by Deva anyway. She tagged along, still babbling nonstop. Agria's mission was to help Deva find Jin Nai, though his instincts screamed trouble magnet. Oh well, whatever happens. Life's easier without overthinking. Their first stop was a tavern. Staring at the frothy beer before him, Diva confirmed. Yep, trouble starts here. Why'd you drag me here when we've got miles to go? He asked as Agria gulped happily. Ah, finally a drink after ages. This is life. She cheered. You don't get humans taverns or info hubs. She grinned, defending herself. Just look around. Keep your ears wide open. The best intel floats around drunk fools like gold dust. Diva scanned the drunk's useless messes while Agria's eyes fixed on something else. A board pinned with colorful notices. He walked over curiously. It listed expedition teams raiding dungeons like a new overlap map of rewards. Agria snorted, mocking human greed and stupidity. They'd rather split loot thin and die faster than go together, self-roasting idiots. We? Huh. She blinked. Why say we? You a dungeon demon too? Diva froze, sweating. Damn. Slipped up. Since when was she this sharp? He quickly changed the subject, bluffing nonsense to dodge suspicion. Agria, seeing he wouldn't talk, let it go. Diva kept scanning the board and spotted another notice. The dungeon's name listed was the very one he ruled. Luckily, the expedition team slot was still empty, meaning there was still time to save Jin Nai. What are you looking at? Let me see. Agria leaned in curiously. Diva handed her the paper. She squealed with delight, eyes sparkling at the ancient core part. You know this place? Diva asked, instantly triggering Agria info dump mode. She rambled. The ancient core is one of 7 legendary dungeons, every demon's dream. Its master was blessed by gods, punisher of greed, ruler above all demons. She praised Deva passionately, unaware her idol was standing right next to her. I want to grow stronger so one day I can meet the real Lord Deva, she said dreamily, while he nearly choked, holding back laughter. Then she switched topics to her father, a once mighty demon lord of great fame. Her tone softened. Sadly, a human stronger than Asmodeus defeated him. It was some young hero. Name sounded like Bem something. He beat a demon lord. Yeah, hope I never meet that guy. Diva faked sympathy like a pro. Agria had no clue the monster before her was the same nightmare who devoured that hero in rage. The more she spoke, the gloomier she looked. She didn't want to rot in a dungeon like her father. Her dream was a world where every demon could own a dungeon of their own. That's why I want to be stronger. Cool dream, right? Cool. Diva admitted it was the first time she wasn't annoying, maybe even cute. Youth sure was beautiful in its delusion. He briefly recalled his golden era passionate, leading legions ruling continents. Back then, Diva was obsessed with knowledge, always learning, craving to understand the world. He once helped the weak, granting them magic, food, even life force, but all he got in return was betrayal and despair. Since then, his life goal had shrunk to 2 words: good sleep. While he reminisced, Agria was already tipsy. Minutes later, she slumped over the table, snoring softly like a cat. Diva sighed, rented a room, and carried her to bed properly. Too busy caring for her, he missed someone secretly altering the quest board. That notice should have been posted yesterday, but the tavern owner had forgotten, and its content was Deva's worst nightmare: a notice about his own dungeon. Dungeon Ancient Core Expedition Team Fim Modu Belay. 31 members. E to 72 hours. The next morning, Agria woke up with a hangover pounding like war drums. Diva yawned, still half asleep. One glance at Agria made him jump. Wait, why are you so tiny? You're mistaken. Not a kid. She snapped angrily. Okay, so a teenager then. Diva teased. She punched him straight in the face. He took it, still stunned by mini Agria mode. She explained last night's form was an illusion spell. This smaller form was her real body. She enlarged it to avoid human prejudice. The spell temporarily projects one's future appearance, which means when I grow up, it'll look just like that gorgeous, right? She bragged. Diva sighed. Great. Add narcissism to the list. Perfect combo. He sat down, gave her a serious look. Fine, you're not a kid. Okay, you don't sound sincere. She puffed her cheeks, while Diva groaned. Let's buy clothes. You're drowning in adult-sized stuff. Indeed, her oversized outfit made her look like shed fallen into a fabric closet. Meanwhile, in the distant castle territory, the Ancient Core Expedition team from Lick had arrived. They demanded the Count open the city gates for their grand entrance. That infuriated the Count of Haston, since entering a Brank dungeon without lordly permission was illegal and this bunch hadn't even sent notice. Worse, they insisted the Lord personally welcome them, treating him like a ghost. But as most were from the Royal Tri-Order, Lord Etak had no choice but to swallow his anger. Do you think they can even reach that ancient core? The maid just shook her head, sharing Lord Yaitak's unease. The team had 31 members, led by someone named Knifem, a total stranger. Yaitak had no clue what the Tri-Order or Royal Court were plotting. But half-baked wars could doom hasten fast. He considered asking for stronger reinforcements. While his maid had already sent word to the Twin Wing Magic Tower where Jin Nai once sold the Mana Stone, Yaitak didn't know that yet. Only sensing something odd lately, the Twin Wing Tower had suddenly stockpiled a huge batch of premium Mana Stones. Source unknown, unclear their motives. Yaitak guessed they were prepping for a Deep Abyss expedition, with errant mages and endless mana. Conquering the ancient core was doable. Thinking so, he ordered, take me to the Twin Wings. Gold and glory await whoever helps me conquer the core before the try. Does. Easier said than done. Right then, Yaitak's chamber door burst open. You're Lord Yaitak, and you are Nifem. Knocked. No answer. So I let myself in. Nifem ignored Yaitak completely, plopping onto a chair as the Lord questioned the intrusion. He snarled, you've got the royal decree, right? Why no welcome? Hey, Nifem, chill out. Smile, we're guests. The green-haired guy grinned, yet barked orders like he owned the place. Demanding dessert, Yaitak boiled inside but endured. It was the royal faction after all and sent his maid to prepare it. Sitting opposite, he said, the decree only came yesterday. You move fast. When do you depart? Plan for today, but something came up. Well, go tomorrow. Sound good? Yaitak wanted to stall for time to warn the Twin Wings, but Nifem cut him off. Nah, well, swing by the Twin Wings first, then head out. Why? You know someone there? Nope, gonna kill them all. Simpler. Nifem's grin froze Yaitak's blood. He claimed Haston's security was laughable. Magic eavesdropping was child's play, so their secret alliance with the Twin Wings had been overheard. Royal orders anyone in the way dies. Understood. No more requests for reinforcements. Go whenever you wish. Crushed by Nifem's presence, Yaitak bowed. The man radiated demonic killing intent despite being human. Meanwhile, Patrick was in the dungeon, training with clay mannequins. His warrior's senses told him the enemy strike was close. Elsewhere, following Agria's directions, Diva headed toward the city gate. He requested access to the teleport terminal, but the guard said it was far away. It sat beside the royal palace, behind 3 walls. How long to get there? Diva frowned. On foot. About a week, minimum. The guard replied. A week? Diva screamed like had been electrocuted. The gatekeeper jumped in fright. Diva panicked if it took that long. Had lose Jinnai and Patrick would abandon him. It felt like falling into a pit of despair. Agria then suggested flying magic, but that was impossible. Using mana would expose them, and Deva's energy could literally blow up. Just as all hope dimmed, a savior-like figure appeared. In trouble. Are we? Heard you two need to reach the teleport gate. Yes, and you are. In the sky coachman. The old man pointed to a carriage pulled by a winged mutant beast. He explained it was a defective hormone killer Mkiva failed artificial angel project, now downgraded to taxi duty. So the human homunculus experiments finally ended. Agria asked curiously. Not yet. The Empire won't drop power so easily. Anyway, let's focus on the ride. Agria inspected the carriage, surprised by how sturdy it looked. The old man added, with this, you'll reach the place in 3 hours plus 1 for checks. Total 4, fees 8 gold coins. Diva gawked. 8 gold was 800 silver. 100 times last night's in cost. Tourist scam deluxe. Sorry, we don't have that much. Agria blushed. You think I do? Diva groaned, scratching his head. Then he rummaged through his pocket and felt something. Inside was a crumpled note and a small coin pouch Patrick had left. Don't sniff it. Idiot, you'll thank me later, the scribbled note said, with a few gold coins inside. It was enough to start their fateful journey. On the flying carriage, Agria asked who had given Deva the money. A loyal subordinate from my secret dungeon. He lied. Right, you're a dungeon monster, so why wander the world now? Got kicked out? Alright, stop prying. Diva dodged. So your followers got banished too? Yes, you asked too much, he snapped. Jealous, Agria teased. Even exiled, you've got loyal servants. Diva only sighed. She sighed too, wishing for a real companion to live freely like him, to have someone who cares and someone to care for. That's true happiness. Her words left Diva silent, lost in thought. Hours later, they arrived at the teleport terminal. But bad luck lingered. The system was down for the auction, reopening at 8. If you've time, please enjoy the auction, chirped the smiling clerk. Diva took the flyer, scanning its details. The auction featured only one item, Head Cleaver Fang, one of the 136 newly found virtue masterpieces. Diva froze. It was Jinna's weapon. Unmistakable. It was unique. There could never be a duplicate. How did it end up with humans? Did something happen to her? He couldn't believe it. Jinna was so strong that even 7 demon lords respected her. She wasn't called the maid swordswoman for nothing. What could have brought her down? His last memory of her shed carried no weapon. Could she have survived the battle unarmed? Patrick could still fight weaponless, but at much lower strength. But Jinna without Headcleaver was missing half her soul. The more he thought, the paler he became. Agria panicked at his face, his fists clenched, body warping. Mana surged uncontrollably within him. So my Jinna was slain by filthy humans. He roared. The receptionist screamed, collapsing in terror. He trembled, yelling monster. But Diva didn't care. His mind-shattered power exploded unchecked. Only one thought remained. If Jinnai was dead, humanity would drown in blood. Lord Squandu. Agria cried, grabbing his arm. Snap out of it. Calm down. What's happening to you? Diva turned, eyes glowing red but still flickering with reason. One last question. The Head Cleaver Fang, one of the 36 virtue masterpieces. There's only one. Right? Eyes, but why ask like that? Agria stammered. Because it belonged to my friend. I must reclaim it. Thank you, but your journey ends here. He pushed her hand away, forcing himself to stay sane so he would hurt her. Now that he knew the route to Haston, he urged her to leave him for her own good. But Agria, stubborn as ever, refused. That friend you mentioned, she's the girl you talked about, isn't she? A silver-haired demoness wielding the head-cleaving claw, Ginny's former maid. Right? Diva froze. Surprised she guessed right. It still kept her out of danger. But now, threats or goals no longer scared Agria. She already knew Deva's true identity, the master of the ancient core once famed alongside Ginny. Fine, I am Deva, he confessed. Yet Agria didn't even catch the rest. Lord Squando must be a servant of the ancient core master. Right? Diva sighed, unsure if she was dumb or just teasing him. I don't care what you're planning. It'll help, no refusals, she declared. From now on, with me here, you won't be lonely. Diva realized this silly, stubborn girl might actually be reliable. The next day, at the auction, the place was empty, just a few guards at the gate. All the guests had already gone through the main entrance. We'd like to attend the auction. May we enter here? Sure, but names, please. Magria House Mel's, and this is my servant, Scando. The guard checked the guest list, no trace of their names. Of course, Agria stayed calm as if nothing was wrong. She faked asking Dave about an invite, confusing the guard since no one actually had one. At that moment, Diva struck swiftly. Here's your invitation for the next life, he said coldly. After knocking out the guard, Diva glanced at Agria. What's with that outfit? Kids should look like kids. Not a kid. She puffed her cheeks. Yeah, whatever. Let's go. Hey, take that back. Meanwhile, Ginny, the one Deva sought, was hiding in another dungeon, the bamboo castle. Curled up, tears fell as she knew she could never return to the ancient core. Memories from 80 years ago flooded back when humans burned the Grabina forest. That forest was ruled by Grabinia, the Earth Witch. The ancient core had once chosen it as its natural fortress. Back then, Diva retaliated with a massacre to lure out Grabinia, and that's when he met Ginny, a girl imprisoned by humans. Though unrelated, she made him pause and reconsider. Normally, Diva would have killed her to silence her. Instead, he broke her chains, saying coldly, "You're free now, or die, your choice." Then he left, the girl staring blankly amid the ruins. Days later, Diva visited a maid academy. Ginny had never been given a real name. For a living tool like her, identity was a luxury. Yet that moment, tiny seed sprouted in Ginny's heart. Now she still hid in the bamboo castle, avoiding everyone. Sped came to advise her, but Ginny shook her head. She'd rather stay exiled than return to that hell. Sped didn't force her, though she knew Deva and Patrick were searching everywhere. If they learned she'd been betrayed by humans, blood would flood the land. If you want to stay hidden, erase all traces. Even clumsy work's fine, Patrick will understand, Sped urged. She also revealed Nifem's crusade was coming, and the ancient core would soon fall into chaos. Hearing that, Ginny clenched her fists, heart trembling. Ignoring the warning, she decided to step out for one last breath of freedom. Sped worried Ginny's right eye was going blind, but Ginny just smiled, saying she'd reclaim her sword and then leave. Meanwhile, Diva had broken into the auction hall. He brutally interrogated a guard until he revealed where the head-cleaving claw was kept. The weapon had been sent from the Twinwing Magic Tower in Haston Town. Hearing that, Diva finished the guard and left with Agria. Damn it, I'm just a guard. Die, you monster, he muttered, thinking Deva was gone, but Deva's shadow loomed behind him. Voice icy. You're right. You did nothing wrong, just annoyed me. Dark mana surged as Deva's body began to twist. By the time the guard realized, no man stood before him, only a nightmare. Humans call slaughter justice, conquest righteousness. Don't you find that laughable? I'm no better, except my enemies are you. As for the guard's fate, no need to ask. Inside, the auction price soared from 35 to 70 billion gold. Madness. Gazone, captain of the Black Tigers, and his deputy Garen handled security. They planned to grab drinks after, but fate had other ideas. When the host raised the final tag to close the auction, black tentacles burst forth, crushing him. "I'll end today's auction," said a voice. Diva appeared half-man, demon freezing Gazone and Garen in terror. "You came to buy the head-cleaving claw, didn't you?" His voice thundered. Goe, one of the Empire's 3 heroes, lunged when she saw Deva kill. But Garen pulled her back in time. She knew Deva wasn't just dangerous, he was destruction incarnate. He approached the sword, sensing its familiar aura. No doubt it was real. Humans had stolen Ginny's weapon. "Sorry, but this item already has an owner." Diva's tone was even cold, utterly without mercy. Guests broke into panic, some running, some screaming. Shouts for guards echoed through the chamber. "I'll tear you all apart and bury you with this blade." Diva roared and meant every word. "You think I'll just watch?" A woman's voice cried. Goy struck like lightning, attacking Diva in a flash. He calmly observed, fast, but clumsy, unrefined. Diva didn't move, yet Goy couldn't even touch the ground to strike. A cruel thought flickered, maybe I should crush her hands to dust. Still, he gave this brave girl a hint of respect. At least, she was no weaker than the hero Burn. Goy roared, unleashing her ultimate move, Heaven Shatter Fist. But Diva merely raised a bare hand to block. The instant it met her reinforced gauntlet, the entire hall exploded. Diva thrown back amid flying debris. Goy held her guard, waiting, then froze as Diva rose again. Ha! Not bad. He grinned, amused. Goy's hair stood on end. Her ultimate strike once felled a dungeon boss. Yet he still lived. Even Divine-class copies could only take 3 hits. He survived a fatal blow unharmed. Goy stared at Diva, beast-like eyes, an extra pupil on his cheek, black mist coiling like poison. She realized he wasn't a normal monster but something far beyond. Diva rose slowly, teeth grinding, twin eyes on the left glowing as a feral smile spread. Darkness radiated out, freezing Goy in dread. From afar, Gayzone charged in, his eyes wide with terror. "Get back. Don't come near him," Goy shouted. Silence fell. "Lord Scando, are you alright?" Agrea's voice snapped Diva back. She feared had died from that blow. He too was puzzled why his body remained intact. Goy's strike clearly wasn't ordinary, it surpassed human limits. That hit nearly broke through his armor and almost revealed his true form, the worst possible outcome. Just imagining Patrick's reaction gave Diva a headache, but luckily, things stayed under control. Focused on killing Goy, had completely forgotten about Gayzone. Thanks to that, Gayzone managed to evacuate everyone and cast protection spells on Goy, saving her life. Diva smirked, eyes mocking. "You two are quite entertaining." Gayzone teleported Goy out of the arena, landing hard in the middle of the street. Civilians rushed over, horrified to see their hero gravely wounded. Goy struggled up, face flushed with shame. A proud Imperial hero fell by one strike. If she had known he was the ancient core master, it might have hurt less, but now, she only felt rage at losing to a nameless foe. Her head throbbed, she worried for those still inside, shouting in panic, "Gayzone, where are you? You call that whispering?" "Of course I can't hear," came Gayzone's voice nearby. Goy sighed in relief, tears streaming. Gayzone was alive, standing before her. Without him, she'd be a name on a tombstone, but something felt wrong. Gayzone's right arm was gone, hastily bandaged, blood still dripping. "Gayzone, your arm." "Don't worry, I'm still breathing," she replied flatly, forcing calm. Goy burst into tears, hugging her comrade, feeling useless, not only failing to slay the monster but costing her friend an arm. "I'm sorry, I'm so sorry." "Goy, Historia," Gayzone said firmly. "Eyes steely, you're a hero of the Empire, stand up. What honor's left for a hero who cries like a child?" Then she softened, using her remaining hand to wipe Goy's tears. "You know who that opponent was? The one who defeated us was none other than the ancient core master Diva." "What did you say?" "Don't joke, there's no way a monster like that could appear here." Goy gasped. "I don't know why he came, but I'm certain that was Diva, the ancient calamity." Gayzone spoke with conviction, for she'd seen the scar on Diva's leg, left by hero Burn Hastener, and that wound was fresh, less than a month old. Only Diva could survive a clash with Burn. "If that's true, this is beyond us. Goy, the Empire will fall. Then shouldn't we stop him? This is human territory, we have the advantage." Goy protested. Gayzone shook her head. "With what? Power's nothing compared to Diva. Even together, we're not enough. The only move left is to return to the Antidoman Alliance, seek aid, and warn the royal family. I'll go first, but I can't teleport both of us like this. Stay and rest," she said, casting weak healing spells on Goy. Before leaving, she added, "Don't move from here. Wait for me." Meanwhile, Diva was hesitating. Either ignore the 2 escapees and head straight to Haston, or kill them to erase all traces. He paced so much Agria felt dizzy watching. After some thought, Diva chose the simpler path. He was safe now, had reclaimed the head-cleaving claw, and needed to find Ginny. No more wasting time. Even if she's dead, I must find her body. Get ready. Agria? Yes, she replied, though fidgety and avoiding his gaze. "What's wrong?" Diva asked. She smiled faintly. "Lord Scando, back at the Demon King's castle I thought you were strong, but now I see I underestimated you. Though you claim to be Ginny's friend, your power far surpasses hers. Everyone wonders who you really are. No one's completely stupid, just varying degrees. You've engaged and guessed my identity, yet you're still clueless." Diva sighed. He flicked Agria's forehead, irritated by her troublesome charm. He assured her that once it was over, he'd reveal all his secrets. "Now let's move, time to show the world the true power of the Demon Lord." Agria nodded and began chanting again. Her true form emerged, bewitching wings, curved horns, and a glowing scepter. She raised it high, firing violet light and a storm of mana skyward. A deafening explosion shook the entire city. Flames engulfed the streets as citizens panicked, clueless about what had just struck. Goy immediately noticed the blast came from the auction hall in the capital. Reckless fools. Those creatures treat human lives like weeds. Goy hesitated, then stood up, ready to act, but Gaijin's warning echoed, "Don't leave safety. No matter what happens." She bit her lip, torn with frustration. Suddenly, a small hand grabbed hers. A trembling child looked up, pleading, "Miss, my father's over there." In that moment, Goy understood her choice as Goy Historia, a hero. She would not back down, monster or death be damned. Meanwhile, Diva crawled out of the rubble, grumbling about Agria overdoing her spell. Her reconstruction magic had collapsed the whole district. Agria just laughed like it was art. "Hey, this isn't a test range for magic, as long as we achieve the goal. Who cares?" She shot back, making Devasai perfectly disastrous. He just wanted a clean retreat, but she acted like she was putting on a show. Trusting her with serious work had clearly been a mistake. Still, complaining was pointless. The real storm was coming. "Remember the way to the teleport center?" "Yes, I remember." Diva wanted to head for Haston immediately, but new troops and heroes were closing in while Agria daydreamed. She knew the destination's name, but not its location. It's at the core of the Great Dungeon, Diva reminded. Ah, my favorite spot. She beamed, and he just let her open the portal. Had handled the rest since human forces had already blocked the exits. Leading them was Lanhe, an elite from one of the 9 ancient clans. After announcing himself, he coldly demanded Deva's name. Diva raised a brow at the crowd of stubborn humans chasing what they couldn't comprehend. When humans gather in groups, they're annoying, especially the trained Animonster operatives. Luckily, no heroes like Bernagoy were here. Deva smirked. These weaklings wouldn't last minutes. You want to know who I am? Let's see if I feel like sharing. He twisted his wrist casually, the air thick with pressure. Mana rode like a waterfall as he declared coldly. I am your enemy. Meanwhile, deep in the ancient dungeon, John Nifham's crusade team advanced further and Sylvia noticed something odd. The first room reeked of rot. The next was spotless. The group fell silent, unease flickering in every glance. No way burned soldiers cleaned as they fought monsters aren't tidy. Something's wrong. Maybe they're intelligent. Someone guessed. Then why not clean all? The thought chilled everyone. Nifham lost patience, barking, just a scare tactic. No traps here. He punched the air, shouting, quit your tricks. Beast, you think you can scare me? His voice echoed back through the cold darkness. A wary voice replied, you're so noisy. I cleaned because it was messy, not to trap you. All that yelling gives me a headache. 2 glowing eyes appeared at the tunnel's end. Nifham instantly ordered Sylvia to ready a defensive spell. She flung a blazing fire orb toward the light. The flames reflected, revealing the figure's shape. It sneered, fools wasn't dying once enough. You crawl right back here. Nifham's teeth clenched. It was the legendary knight Patrick. His grand entrance failed. Everyone already knew him. Patrick chuckled. Easy now. Drop your weapons. Let's talk nicely. You, mage girl, lower your hand. I hate being aimed at. Before he finished, the air whistled with a sudden strike. Nifham lunged with daggers. Patrick calmly parried, sighing. Humans never greet first. Shut up and die. Nifham roared. He unleashed a frost wave. Icy surge crashing toward Patrick. The battle began. Patrick fought while yawning centuries had passed. Foes changed, but ending stayed the same. He always stood last. Nifham charged with twin daggers, clashing steel against Patrick. Within moments, his weapons were smacked out of his hands. Gasping for air, he was already exhausted. Patrick watched his own sword spin away, murmuring, "Yup, not bad, you're tougher than the last batch." Nifham triggered every buff: strength, speed, reflexes, light magic, invisibility, everything stacked. Patrick raised a brow. Ah, buff on buff, no wonder you're built like an ox. Still, he calculated the effect would last barely a minute. But before countering, Patrick's body froze and collapsed. Paralysis again. Damn, I hate this spell, he hissed. Nifham grinned victoriously. Who's down now? Old corpse. Patrick glared, eyes flicking to Sylvia, the shy mage with immense mana. She had been the one who cast the perfect paralysis spell. Patrick smirked. Maybe I should deal with the little mage first? Shut up, Nifham shouted. Kicking Patrick in the chest with hatred, he gripped his daggers tight, plunging them toward Patrick's skull. But before the blades struck, what he saw froze him stiff. Patrick caught the blade between 2 fingers, skull grin widening. Good acting. Huh. Nifham paled, the weapon stuck fast, unmoving. Patrick's voice turned cold. It's been ages since I was cornered. Enjoyed that illusion of victory. Fun's over. His eyes gleamed like knives. Agonized screams echoed. Nifham awoke from a brief blackout. Patrick sat motionless, statue-like, amid a pile of corpses, awake. Huh. Quick recap, you lost, Patrick said coolly. He pointed, letting Nifham see the mountain of corpses stacked like a wall. The title Knight Patrick isn't for show. Anyone who challenges me dies. You're no different. No one's ever survived me. And you won't either. Patrick tossed a corpse before him. The green hair made Nifham freeze. It was Sylvia. Holy magic. Really? Just thinking about it makes me itch. Anyway, Nifham, she called your name till the end. Begging for you, he added mockingly. Nifham stared at Sylvia's body, silent as stone. His face was blank, devoid of emotion, which irritated Patrick. Disappointing. I expected screams or rage. Cold silence is boring. Fine, let's interrogate the last survivor. Patrick wasn't just a swordsman, he sensed something off. No sane commander sends 30 weaklings where 70 elites died. He pressed his icy blade to Nifham's throat, voice sharp as steel. Now talk, what are you hiding? Nifham said nothing, annoying Patrick, who offered 2 choices: right hand to talk, left hand to die quick. Within seconds, Nifham raised his right hand. Patrick smiled. Good, tell me everything, and I'll reward you. Instead, Nifham clenched a fist, then raised his middle finger. Patrick frowned. Rude gesture for a death knight like me. His tone dropped. Very well, I'll grant your wish. The blade pierced Nifham's chest. Blood poured as he collapsed lifeless. Patrick turned away, sighing tiredly. Another mess to clean up. Yet amid the blood, Nifham's eyes suddenly snapped open. Death had been but a nap. He glanced at Sylvia's corpse, eyes darkening, whispering, "Sorry, Sylvia, but I have to live." Then he bit into her flesh, a grotesque scene beyond words. Patrick saw it all. Horrified, the man was eating his comrade to heal and grow stronger. The sound of tearing flesh chilled his bones. His mind raced. What is he? Dark magic? Alchemy? Or something worse? Patrick decided to observe from the corpse-laden shadows. He sighed beyond that cannibal monster. He had another worry: his superior, Diva, who knew what chaos he was causing now. Hopefully nothing worse. Meanwhile, Diva was turning Lana's army to ash in a sea of fire just as Goy appeared. Diva eyed her, smirking coldly. What? Came here to die too? Nope, I am Goy Historia hero. Hearing hero, Diva laughed, eyes shifting from disdain to intrigue. Yup, your soul's quite interesting. Too bad you still can't win. Goy knew his strength, yet as the Empire's hero, she couldn't stand by. She poured all power in her gauntlet, punching like a storm toward Diva. He caught it easily, like stopping a falling leaf. Too bad. Diva murmured. That trick only works once. Hero, no one bathes in the same river twice. He chuckled, gripping her wrist tight. A sickening crack echoed before she realized what happened. Goi's body slammed into the ground, blood spilling as her insides ruptured, but she endured, buying just a little more time. Diva unleashed a storm of blows, each like a hammer strike, yet amid the screams, Goi stood firm, a hero, humanity's shield. Soon her body went limp. Diva lifted her like market produce. Unimpressed by such a short fight, thinking her dead, he froze when Goi weakly whispered, I am Hero Goi Historia. Her pale violet eyes dimmed, but her will blazed. I can't fall. I must protect everyone. With her trapped arm crushed, she powered her other hand. Veins bulged as she threw a desperate punch at Deva, but human strength couldn't touch a demon. Her hand crumpled before reaching his chest. Even as she fell, she murmured, I'm a hero I must protect, then fainted in death's embrace. Diva sighed, Goi Historia, I'll remember your name for a while. Rest in peace. He raised his hand to finish her, but suddenly, another figure struck from behind. When Deva turned, Goi was gone from his grasp. A squad appeared, their commander holding the unconscious girl. Diva frowned. You people show up like sausages in a line. Forgive our roughness, we had to save her. A deep voice said, not easing Deva's irritation. The man laid Goi down and slowly faced Deva. Allow me, Ark the Boris Galswista of the Black Tiger Legion. An honor to meet Lord Deva Squaloo. You just called me Lord Diva. He raised a brow. How do you know? Ark smiled calmly. Just a few small clues. My lord. That confident smile infuriated Deva. He loathed people who spoke like they knew the world's secrets. His man erupted, body warping, half human, half demon, radiating suffocating dread. Yet Ark's troops didn't draw weapons, they bowed, asking to negotiate. Diva laughed. Humans dare bargain with a demon lord. Now, when Ginny's dead and I've nothing left to lose, insult me. And you won't die peacefully. His voice rumbled like a demonic roar, facing the mythic being. Ark trembled inside but stayed steady. This is a gamble for the Empire's fate. I cannot fail. The words hinted that someone Deva thought dead might still live. Those words slowed Deva's mana surge's body began to stabilize. Seizing the moment, Ark continued. I know you didn't come merely for one of the 36 virtuous relics. So, we offer an exchange, and if I say I'm not interested, Diva smirked. Mocking, he leaned close, icy breath brushing Ark's face. If I just wanted the head-cleaving claw for fun and then erase humanity, what would you do? Sweat streamed down Ark's face, but he couldn't afford fear. If destruction is truly your goal, then my offer means nothing. Ark replied solemnly. Diva pondered a moment, then tilted his chin. Fine, find me the owner of that relic. A fragile truce formed as Ark turned, calling Gazin forward. Gazin, the special mage, wielded tracing magic through objects tied to their owners. To find Ginny, wielder the head-cleaving claw, she accepted the relic from Diva. He handed it over casually. Take it, but if you do anything stupid, don't expect to keep your hands. Understood, Gazin said, focusing mana into the demonic claw as her eyes gleamed. Moments later, she spoke. Too far for exact tracing, but she's moving west, opposite of Lich capital. West means hasten. Diva squints exactly where he planned to go. If Ginny's still moving, she's still alive. The thought soothes him. Diva sighs, retracting his demonic aura, face turning human again. Enough. I owe you both. I'll remember your names. He pats Ark's shoulder and leaves. An honor to help you. Sir, Ark bows as Lich City escapes annihilation by a thread. Diva reaches the teleport gate area, where Agria collapses amid ruins. Gasping, she says, Lord Diva, you're late, but look, I kept my word. Corpses pile behind her. I protected the gate. Agria smiles weakly, voice fading, enough to welcome you home. Then she faints on the spot. Her body reverts to a petite girl. Diva catches her, sighing, foolish child, overworked again. He approaches the teleport circle, examining its ancient structure. Simple mechanism, just input Hastings coordinates and feed mana in. But as he channels energy, the machine trembles violently, then explodes into dust. Damn it, the gate couldn't handle my mana. Diva clenches his fist, thinking it restrained enough. The gate's ruined, he must teleport himself, though he'll expose his true form. If Patrick finds out, he'll behead me, Diva mutters. Realizing he's cornered, finally, he removes the mana stabilizer ring Patrick once gave him. Power surges out, he whispers. Sorry, Patrick, no other choice. The ground quakes as his body morphs, black energy flooding the air. The Demon King awakens Deva's true form, fixing the target coordinates. Destination Twin Wings Magic Tower in Haston Town. Ironically, Ginny is right there now. Guards stop her, demanding name and origin. She refuses to answer. Sorry, miss, but the Magic Tower sees many guests. We can't let you in unverified. The Neve guard had no idea Death was talking to him. In a blink, 3 blades flash from Ginny's hand. Then you've no escape. One strike ends him, and she storms the tower like a killing wind. On her first visit, she thought this place a dungeon. Now she's sure humans just cage themselves in weak magic prisons. Down the hallway, anyone blocking her falls instantly. No screams allowed. The first floor guards drop one by one. Blood paints the floor. Ginny ascends to the top floor where the one she hates most awaits. Yo, my opponent's not human. The voice is sweet but icy. Romus appears, still as stunning as before, though venom gleams in her eyes. Where's Headchopper? Ginny growls. It's mine now and I've no reason to tell you. Strange. Though how are you still alive after that? Romus tilts her head. Ginny stays silent, gripping her 3 blades, eyes blazing with hatred. Romus chuckles. Those toys suit you. They look like dinner knives. She raises a giant magic shield, smug and certain of victory. But with one swing, Ginny slices it like paper, leaving Romus stunned. Impossible. Romus trembles but steadies herself. The tower draws power from an endless mana spring. She still has a chance. If she can control that source, she might yet turn the battle. Speak, where's Headchopper? You venomous snake. Ginny roars, eyes crimson. her power darkening the air. Romus frantically counterattacks, blurting that the artifact was taken to an auction in Lich. They clash, shaking the whole tower. Romus realizes Ginny isn't human but a true monster. Hide your spells collide, light and thunder twisting into a magical storm. Deafening blast tower top shatters. Mana erupts like a volcano. Romus' holy spell pierces Ginny, making her cough blood, body trembling. Romus laughs madly, defy humanity. This is your fate, monster, thinking only divine beings could survive her barrage. But she's wrong. Ginny belongs not to the dungeon, but to the supreme abyss. In a blink, Romus' staff-wielding arms are severed. Her scream splits the sky. Why does it hurt so much? Ginny stares coldly, voice flat. Don't whine like you're dying, weak human. Romus begs for mercy, but Ginny smirks. Reap what you sow. She leaves her wrething till her soul fades. When silence falls, Ginny turns away, exhaustion and drowsiness clouding her like a dream fog. A scream tears the air, jolting her awake. Leader! Some blue-haired guys carrying dying Gromus over here. The woman wheezes, ordering him to kill Jenny. While he just watches quietly, he hands her a glowing magic stone bearing the same curse once used to scam Zini, sending chills down her spine. He claims it'll save her life, letting her escape instantly. Romix believes him completely and channels power in. The curse explodes, devouring her body in a black vortex. The man smirks, revealing himself as a spy sent to avenge Gromus victims. He's secretly pleased that Jenny's chaos made his job easier. After springing the trap, he slips away in the confusion. Gromus mutates into a savage beast, strength beyond limits. Mind consumed. Ginny's vision blurs. She feels the killing intent and knows she can't win. Still, she doesn't fear death. Now feels like a clean release. If it ends here, erasing every trace, so be it, but she'll fight to the last breath, especially to keep these filths from ever touching her revered master. Thinking so, Jenny leaps up, stabbing through the monster. Romix howls, flinging her away. Drained, she closes her eyes, ready to embrace the coming dark. At that moment, the magic tower explodes as if heaven struck it. Ginny instantly senses a familiar energy surge. A strong hand reaches out, catching her in time. The scene mirrors their first meeting, Deva saving her from death again. Even seeing it, she can't believe it's real. Holding her, Diva gently sets her aside, murmuring, "Wait here for me." Then he turns to face the roaring beast Gromus. That broad back feels like a fortress. Ginny feels strangely safe against Gromus. Diva shows no mercy. He becomes a god of slaughter, striking relentlessly, venting years of pent-up rage. After all, every disaster began with that damned love stone that twisted fate. He keeps attacking, yet the stubborn creature clings to life like some unholy cockroach. That stubborn resilience pisses Diva off, especially with that slimy blood splattering on him. Ah, so you're leeching mana from the tower's vein, that's why you're immortal. Huh. Classic male lead moment. He finally hits the core secret. He smirks. Fine then. New plan. Can't kill you, it'll just eat you. Thinking it, his body morphs monstrously. He opens his maw fangs like blades and devours Gromus whole. Now it's just a waiting game, who digests whom, or who resurrects from whose gut. He grimaces, nearly gagging, definitely the grossest meal of his life. Turning back, he sees Ginny slumped on the ground, hiding her face from the world. Diva sits beside her, leaning back, about to tell a lost child story but sighs, apologizing instead. She shakily admits it's her fault. She blames her greed for falling into human deceit, almost killing them both. Dump a little yourself, you're a part of me, Diva says, making Zinna's heart tremble. She'd thought he despised her, but those words dissolve every worry. He smiles. I never hated you. Here, take this. He pulls out the long-lost weapon he'd struggled to reclaim. Seeing it, Ginny bursts into tears like a child. She hugs it tight, sobs muffled in her chest. Fear of abandonment still lingers. You won't leave me, right? Diva says nothing, just offers his hand. Come with me to the ancient core. 80 years ago, the first time Deva brought Ginny there, Patrick eyed her like a strange relic. I found her in the Grabinia forest fire. Diva explained. Felt fated. None expected that tiny body to hold human knowledge that amazed the entire ancient clan. Even in the blackest dungeon, she stayed calm and admirably strong. Boss, what do we do with the kid? Patrick asked. Half joking, half serious. Diva replied, train her to fight. If she fails, let her live peacefully. Peacefully as in cooking and laundry, Patrick teased. You're the one teaching her. Diva grinned. Me? No way. Patrick yelled. Diva just laughed. Stop pretending you're cold, you're bored out of your skull. Patrick snorted. Though his gaze softened, he mumbled about naming the reborn girl. After a few seconds, he clapped. Let's call her Zinni. The name rang out, marking the start of a new journey. From then on, Ginny, now Zinni, entered a new chapter of life. Patrick gradually grew fond of his little student. His first lesson wasn't combat, but how to rest properly. 80 years later, they returned to the ancient core. Patrick greets Diva with a frown. Good heavens, what did you do to shake the whole continent? Diva freezes, tempted to say he was dancing cha-cha, but admits he blew his cover and wrecked a tower. Patrick sighs. Creatures like you are exceptions to every rule. You mean this kid? Diva points at Agria sleeping in his arms. Patrick gapes. Don't tell me you went on a mission and kidnapped a child. Diva quickly sets Agria down, swearing he wants nothing to do with that ticking time bomb. And Ginny? Patrick asks, hitting exactly what Diva wanted to know. Adeva scratches his head, dodging, finally admits he saw her in a human village. Weak and thin, Patrick clicks his tongue. Are we intruding on her life, or did she reject you? Keep it short, skip the melodrama. Patrick says, patting Diva's shoulder. Annoyed, Deva snaps. Then you wear the maid dress in the dungeon? Huh. Patrick instantly flashes a resignation form. That's divine-level labor abuse. Boss. Diva just sighs. The dungeon feels empty now, and all he can do is wait, though he's not sure for what. Patrick, gloomy too, assumes the boss wants silence and quietly leaves. But after a few steps, he spots a familiar silhouette at the gate. Long silver hair, petite frame in a maid outfit. Patrick yells, Boss, she's back. Ginny smiles brightly. What would you like to eat? My lord. Yet Patrick notices something odd. Her right eye now glows golden. Boss, you really gave her that? Are you insane? Patrick blurts. After the battle, Ginny's right eye had been completely destroyed. Diva didn't hesitate, he gave her one of his own eyes, sealed with a silent vow. If you still have that love stone, think carefully before giving it away. No need to rush, it said. That gift and promise brought Ginny back her golden gaze, swore she'd never leave Deva again. Moments later, Agria awakens from her long sleep. She spots Patrick sharpening his sword, instantly trembling. Am I dead? Are you death? Is this hell? No, this is the ancient core. Patrick snickers. Hearing those 3 words, Agria's eyes light up like lanterns. She quickly recognizes the man before her as Death Knight Patrick. He nods. Smart kid. Seeing her awake, Patrick nudges the snoring Diva. Diva stretches lazily. Yup, you're up. Agria freezes, gawking at his massive, godlike presence. She kneels, chanting, "You're the supreme ancient god, guardian of creation." Diva feels Dijivu, it's exactly what she babbled in Lich. Before he can speak, Agria continues. This humble one is the 17th descendant of Demon King Asmodeus Ismajdic Lymphagria. Word for word, like a broken recorder. Got it, skip the intro. Diva waves. Agria beams, he said her name himself. In her mind, she's sure Skando must have praised her to Lord Deva. Speaking of which, where's Skando? She asks, recalling faint memories. The last she saw, he was thrashing the humans in Lich and reclaiming Headchopper. Seeing her confusion, Deva sighs. I am Skando. Agria's face changes instantly, emotions crashing like waves. Shock turns to panic, then she blushes crimson like lightning struck her heart. Skando and Deva are one. The mighty lord was the man she trusted. Agria is mortified, wishing she could vanish for her past insolence. Boss, Patrick interrupts, reminding him of Demon King Mel's old tale. That little disciplinary rampage in Lich, why'd you hide it from me? Diva freezes, whelp, secret blown to bits. Scene shifts to Grebnia Forest. Near Hastings' border, 2 wanderers picking mushrooms hear a strange noise. A bloody blonde figure crashes from the sky, groaning in agony. Kind-hearted girl rushes over with medicine, but the figure snaps, biting her like a wild beast knife aim. His face twisted in the oil lamp light. Her fate ends there. Then, a tall, thin man in a tattered cloak limps toward Hastings' walls, muttering, time to move. Back in the ancient dungeon, tension brews again this time. An internal war between Ginny and Agria. Agria, quiet! It's Lord Deva's nap time. Ginny snaps. Never. I'm a free spirit. I came here to be with Lord Deva. Agria retorts. The 2 dive into a shouting war, each worshipping their lord. Neither backing down. I'm the one allowed near him when he sleeps. Ginny insists. Please, you're just his blanket carrier. Agria scoffs. The jab hits hard. Ginny erupts. She draws her weapon, eyes blazing. You'll pay for that. Agria laughs nervously and bolts for her life. In the corner, Patrick grits his teeth, resisting the urge to roast them both. Since Agria's return, the place has been pure chaos. Even Deva, who normally sleeps 20 hours a day, is losing his mind. You still defend them? Who told you to bring these disasters home? Meanwhile, the outside world's falling apart. Patrick groans. Deva blinks cluelessly, clearly never read any of Patrick's reports. Patrick summarizes after you showed up in the capital. The army retreated to Lich, leaving Hastings' border open. Monsters everywhere. The Lord hanged himself. The whole region's ruined. Get it? This is a massive red flag. Patrick fumes, ready to smack some sense into him. You eat, sleep, and wreck things useless. Patrick, so furious, is ready to retire for real. So what's your take? Deva asks calmly. Patrick frowns, voice low. Hastings probably cut off from the outside world entirely. He adds, the scariest part, you, in monster form, once destroyed that place. Yet no one's talking about it. Suspicious silence. Patrick focuses on Hastings. It's the human village closest to the ancient core, key to tracking invasion forces. If it's offline, all war intel vanishes like it's been erased. We need to investigate now. The longer we wait, the worse it gets, Patrick declares. Yeah, bon voyage. Don't die on me. Deva replies lazily, just hoping Patrick leaves so he can nap. He'll be back soon, Patrick says proudly. Deva perks up. Wait, that easy. You're going alone. Perfect. Nap time. But before he can celebrate, Patrick smirks. Going solo's tough, having a partner helps. Deva shoots up like doused in ice water. Why drag the boss into this? His eyes dart to the 2 disasters still brawling in the corner. First candidate Agria mentioned her name, and the world might explode. Though she's a Demon King descendant, her magic is pure destruction. 1 cast. Map gone. Deva shakes his head. Instantly disqualified. Second candidate Ginny familiar, but far more dangerous. If Agria's a chain bomb, then Ginny's a full-blown world ender, especially in her current human-hating phase. Dropping her in a village is basically pulling the apocalypse trigger. How about you come with me, Lord Deva? Patrick suggests casually. Deva screams internally, not for all the gold in existence. But ironically, Deva's the safest option left, so he schemes a way out. Ah, can't go, my Demira bracelet's broken. He lies, proud of the perfect excuse. Patrick raises an eyebrow. Yup, so if I get a new one, you go. Deva freezes. Wait, how did this turn against me? Result, Deva's dragged out of the dungeon, cursing Patrick's name every step of the way. Patrick just laughs heartily. I've been dead for ages, curses don't work on me. Somehow, he even digs up a brand new Demira bracelet. No more excuses. Deva's forced to tag along to Haston, officially bidding farewell to his beloved 20-hour naps. After a long trek, they reach Haston, now nothing but cold air and rot. Patrick sighs. Boss, something's really wrong. 4 signs of a healthy village. Patrick lectures. First, the crowd at the market, but the night market's so empty they can hear the wind whistle. Second, cooking smoke. Nobody's cooking now. Patrick adds, making Deva snap. What's the third? Check the expedition roster on the notice board, but Haston doesn't even have one. So skip it. Any more checks? Let's go. I'm dying for sleep. Wait, the last inns and taverns. Patrick says, dragging Deva along. They soon stop at the town's biggest tavern, its sign hanging crooked. Before they can plan, Deva excitedly pushes the door open first. Just hearing the word all reawakens his party spirit. The innkeeper barely opens his mouth. Deva freezes. The The silence inside is eerie. Patrick shakes his head. Worse confirmed, Hastings no longer a normal town. At the border, corpses pile under freezing rain, a scene of utter dread. Amid that storm, raspy voice orders. After clearing Hastings, march for the capital. Lich. The speaker isn't human tall. Thin, hooded, voice scraping like metal. The wind lifts his hood, revealing a bare skull, a true monster. Back in the tavern, Diva and Patrick inspect signs of a brutal assault everywhere. Trembling voice calls from upstairs. Woo-wo's there. I'm the innkeeper. What do you want? Patrick soothes him, claiming to be a knight of the Black Obsidian Order from Nichang's. Just seeking food and lodging. The innkeeper calms, coming down hesitantly, apologizing. Sorry, there's nothing edible left. The whole town starving. The Black Calamity devoured everything. So you've heard too. My apologies. Even the rooms are gone. He bows. Patrick muses. At this rate, meals cost more than rent. Then shrugs. Guess we'll pay a lot. He flicks a gleaming gold coin onto the counter. Instantly energized, the innkeeper beams. Right this way, Sir's top-class room. As Patrick climbs the stairs, the innkeeper notices the smaller figure behind him. And that one, my servant. Patrick says coolly, though he helps me plenty, so we share a room. Diva nearly chokes at the demotion, but one glance at his shabby look, yeah, servant fits. Still, the room's nice, far better than that grimy 8-silver shack in the capital. Flopping onto the bed, Diva grumbles. Could think of anything better than servant? Patrick shrugs. Given the situation, that's the most believable. Dressed like that, call yourself noble and they die laughing? He pauses, smirking. Honestly, you look worse than a beggar. Servant sounds merciful. Then he explains, pretend I'm the knight and you're my aide keeps the innkeeper from trying anything stupid. Watching Deva sprawled on the bed, Patrick chuckles. Boss, you're on a mission, not a vacation. If I reincarnate, Deva sighs, may I be a rock motionless, dead-free, and at peace? Yeah, you rest ill, take a stroll. First time we've had real freedom. Patrick grins. Diva warns him not to take risks, but Patrick won't waste the night. No one notices at this hour anyway. Is here to uncover why the royal curse struck Huston. Someone must be blamed for those disastrous campaigns, but before the royals could act, Lord Attack at Haston mysteriously died, sparking Patrick's suspicion. Who's ruling Haston now? He muses, itching for answers. The royal family's obsessed with ancient relics, always blaming nobles for their own failures. Patrick jokes to himself, if I were Attack's heir, it'd be sitting on that lord's chair by now. He leaps across rooftops toward Haston Castle, but things are messier than expected. The castle's nearly empty yet heavily guarded. He debates clearing them out, but knows daylight would be chaos, so he decides to return to the inn slow but safe. Then something on the way back makes him freeze. Others might miss it, but he senses it clearly. The stench of rotting corpses carried on the wind. Meanwhile, Diva's jolted awake by furious knocking. Sir Knight, are you inside? Thinking it urgent, Diva opens the door, lying that his master went out for a night walk. The innkeeper, unsuspecting, brings supper to thank them for the gold. Introducing himself as Novan, Deva calls himself Squano. Novan apologizes for the small meal. Diva realizes famine grips the town. Novan explains witnesses of the calamity went insane, and Lord Attack took his own life. Now Huston's cut off outside the walls. Corpses pile like mountains. He urges Deva and Patrick to leave soon, as he too plans to flee, though sorrowful. Novan knows when cornered, humans become demons. Just then, muddy feet appear at the window. A reed-haired, gaunt child peers in. When Diva leaves the room, the kid sneaks inside, smirking. It whispers, gotcha fish on the hook. Seeing strangers stay amid disaster. It's sure they're outsiders. Spotting the luxury room, the child schemes to steal something, just enough gold to survive. It even eyes Deva's warm coat to wrap up the loot. Quiet as a cat, it creeps to the chest, eyes gleaming. But when opened empty, hope crashes instantly. No way they cleaned out everything. It mutters, still rummaging with Neve determination. Finally, it digs something out of an old drawer. Ha! Told you no one leaves empty-handed. But joy freezes and a dread sweat pours down. Whatever it found shouldn't exist. Near midnight, Patrick stumbles back. Deva's sprawled full and lazy like a cat. Patrick had hoped to scout the castle further, but returned empty. Questioning Deva without much faith, Diva only knows Hastings is practically isolated from the world. He tried prying info from the innkeeper, got a perfect 0. Patrick stunned. How can a useless superior still be that useless? He suggests investigating Huston's isolation tomorrow, while Deva just clings to his bed. Patrick sighs to him and team, one actually working. Suddenly, Patrick notices both windows wide open unlike before. Suspicion spikes. Diva swears has been glued to the bed the whole time. Never touched the windows. Patrick snorts. Ghosts? Huh. What breeze unlatches bolts, then shivers, realizing it actually makes sense. Even Deva feels a chill run down his spine. He leaps up and starts tearing the room apart in search. Truly, the beloved shirt Gin made vanish, definitely a murder case. Patrick lost something too, looking even more stunned than Diva. I lost my rib piece, he moaned, as if half his soul went missing. Meanwhile, the culprit Rosalina had long bolted from the tavern. She didn't get far before some men blocked her way. They frowned, seeing a girl wandering at midnight. Rosalina defended herself, saying she did it for everyone's sake, but one man barked back, calling her effort useless. She shot back. Try holding this and see. A deep voice cut in. Todd, calm down. Both Todd and Rosalina turned toward the speaker. The newcomer was the one she respectfully called leader. He gently told Todd not to be mad. Those who walk in darkness shouldn't fear it. Rosalina's mistake, he added, was going alone without sharing her plan. Hatton's a mess now. Your stunt could doom us all. This isn't the cozy home we knew. The girl bowed and mumbled, yes, leader, I'll be more careful. He nodded, asking where she'd been all night. Rosalina gleefully dropped her pack like revealing treasure. Todd peeked inside and went pale as death. Rosalina proudly said she'd swiped it from the inn's fanciest room. Thinking it a priceless relic, the leader fell silent, then grimly spoke the dreadful truth. Rosalina, that white thing is a human rib. She froze, face paper white. Trembling at her unwitting horror, Todd accused her of grave robbing, but she panically denied it as the leader examined the bone. He judged, either from a lunatic or used in dark sorcery. Everyone shivered. No normal person collects human bones. If it's a sorcerer or summoner, they're doomed. Next, the clothes Rosalina brought looked ragged but felt oddly fine. The leader lifted them, recognizing elite craftsmanship. When he raised the shirt, a faint sound came from the pocket. A handful of gold spilled out, dazzling Todd and Rosalina, but the leader paled. Not time to celebrate. This stuff's dangerous. Rosalina begged to keep it, but he sweated. A rich guest here? In this dump, something's off. Bones, fine fabric, and gold. Rosalina had clearly poked a hornet's nest. Just then, Diva and Patrick appeared like two cold gusts. Hello, little thieves, we've come for our things. Diva eyed the items in the leader's hands, confirming the shirt and bone were intact. He sighed in relief. If that shirt was gone, Ginny would make me sleep with the dogs. Patrick looked equally spared from execution. He muttered, if Ginny rages again, she might blow up the whole bunker. Though scared, the leader stood firm before the kids, radiating righteousness. How did you find us? He asked, voice trembling yet brave. Patrick shrugged. No idea, maybe our stuff found its way home? Diva yawned and picked his nose. I just want sleep. Patrick got the hint. Time to wrap this up. He suggested the leader return their goods, and they'd let it slide, but the leader wasn't fooled, afraid they'd reclaim the items, then slaughter them all. His gut screamed the two weren't human. Tracking them in this dark meant only one thing: demons. The thought chilled his spine. Behind them, clueless Rosalina hugged Patrick's rib, playing with death itself. The leader raised the bones before Patrick. Important. Of course it used to be inside me. Once Patrick confirmed, things got weird fast. The leader flicked his hand, tossing the bones skyward like coins. As they hung midair, he ordered Todd to get everyone to safety. Patrick panicked. Diving to catch the bones like treasure, he landed heroically face first. Just then, a dark-skinned thug burst from a nearby alley. The blow he threw could have cracked a skull in half, but Patrick stood unfazed, as if hit with a pillow. The attacker's weapon shattered like cheap plastic. Diva yawned, unimpressed. What? Swinging rocks now. Budget much? Then another thug lunged from behind. Blade raised just as Deva complained about bad weapons. Diva caught the blade barehanded and snapped it like chopsticks. He gifted the thug a free flight and bonus bone realignment. Hoisting him up, Diva asked, what now, Master Patrick? Patrick grimaced. Don't call me Master, I aged 10 years. Just knock him out. Keep him alive. Didn't say that, so the duo split up, launching Operation Street Cleanup. With their strength, the gang scattered like leaves in a storm. Meanwhile, back home, Ginny's heart thumped wildly. She reassured herself, Sir Deva and Patrick must be fine. Agria yawned. Ginny had asked that same question 7,749 times in half a day. No matter what anyone said, she feared the mighty Deva was starving or bullied by humans. Back at the scene, the fight was over. Patrick sighed in relief seeing his shirt intact. For a human, that ambush impressed him a bit. He planned to wipe out the rest for safety, but Deva lay flat, yawning. Floor's comfy. Try it. Patrick wanted to quit on the spot. Then Rosalina emerged from the alley. Eyes red, she trembled, apologizing for her theft. It was me, no one else. Please spare them. She knelt, sobbing. Todd panicked, yanking her up. Stand. They won't forgive that easily. Diva, legs crossed, murmured, if she says so. Patrick, go ahead. Patrick stepped slowly toward the two. Todd shook but drew his knife, shielding Rosalina. She just trembled, unable to look up, clutching a cross and praying in despair. Patrick suddenly stopped, eyes locked on it. He slid past Todd, studying the item in her hands. Where did you get that? He asked, voice darkening. It was an inverted phoenix cross glowing faintly. Patrick's sensed surveillance mana, unbelievable for a starving child to possess. He told Deva someone was watching. Huston, the cross emitted mana when Rosalina prayed, meaning it activated under special conditions. Find that trigger, and we'll know who's behind this. Patrick said. Diva yawned. Magic's dead here. Why bother? Patrick, stubborn, decided to lie with humans. They were less annoying than lazy Deva. Necessary. Huh, what's the plan? Diva asked mid-yawn. Patrick tapped his head proudly. A genius plan even if I've run out of brains. He instantly switched tone, apologized to the thugs, and spun a tale about being a dark knight serving the Misty royal family. He claimed they weren't beaten for stealing, but for stealing from someone on royal duty. Patrick's tall frame and shiny armor made his words far more convincing. We harm no one. Relax, he assured them. The bandits eased up and asked, why are you in haste? To save it, Patrick declared. He launched into a heroic speech rebelling against royal decrees, seeking no pardon, only to aid the people. He asked for intel, manpower, and supplies to save Haston. The bandits murmured it sounded like a fairy tale. A royal knight aiding commoners, though doubtful, they clung to hope the emperor hadn't forsaken them and agreed to cooperate. Patrick's smooth diplomacy stunned everyone. Deva just yawned, wishing to return to the ancient core. We've only begun, Patrick said. You have. I'm sleepy, Diva replied. He felt everything growing messier and wanted no part in it. Diva sprawled on the road like a rug until Patrick barked. Up! Work time, stop playing dead. Diva sighed he wished Patrick were as lazy as him. Patrick assigned tasks, had watched the bandit leader, while Deva mingled with villagers. Diva froze the ancient overlord doing small talk. That's worse than being sealed away. Patrick shrugged. Between me, a shiny knight, and you, who looks homeless, who's more approachable? Diva bristled at the poor jab but had to admit he was right. Patrick gave him a deadline: blend in before his return, and act like a normal human. Diva stared blankly. He had no clue how humans even start conversations. In his mind, humans probably just slept all day like he did, and if awake, they'd yawn endlessly, refusing to move. In short, a species without motivation. Patrick sighed. Clearly this lord used himself as the model. Move it. My lord, he urged. The sooner we get info, the sooner you nap again. Patrick pressed, making Diva feel like the underling. He even warned, don't lose your temper even if they're rude. Endure it. Though wary of life, Diva nodded just to end the talk, but things turned out nothing like Patrick expected. The villagers weren't cold, they were terrifyingly enthusiastic. Seeing Deva's ragged look, they thought he was in disguise, calling him the mysterious knight, bombarding him with questions. Diva, Lord of the Underworld, wanted to swallow them whole but forced a grin. Friendly, be friendly. A kid tugged his cloak, asking, have you met Lord Go? The name made Deva frown. It rang a bell, but he couldn't recall. No idea who that is, he replied coolly. From afar, Rosalina timidly approached. She nervously apologized to Deva for stealing. He just clicked his tongue, had gotten the stuff back. No point arguing with a kid. Todd cleared the crowd, then reintroduced himself to Deva. He said the leader sent him to assist and his zeal rivaled Patrick's. To understand the people, you must see them firsthand. I can guide you around right now, he offered energetically. Deva's mind screamed, I don't want to go anywhere. He couldn't fathom where humans got this energy, but sitting still meant being interrogated like in a why is the sky blue quiz. So he reluctantly nodded, accepting the invite. They reached the first neighborhood street silent, not a soul in sight, sparking Deva's curiosity. Todd stopped before a wooden door. Open it, and you'll understand. Can't you just say it? So dramatic. Deva grumbled. Annoyed but obedient, he pushed the door open. As he entered Haston Village, the sight froze him in place. A couple lay stiff on the ground, eyes sunken, bodies rigid. Todd explained they'd starved. Nothing left to eat, even death was pointless. The people waited for death in silent fear. Deva frowned, normally the hungry rebel. Yet here they chose death over defying their lord. Reading his thoughts, Todd flung the window open to the cold wind and spoke gravely. The black calamities ravaged us for over a month, yet Haston stays silent as a graveyard. Aren't you curious, Sir Knight? Why don't they rise up? While Deva scratched his head over that, deep in the infernal core, 2 caretakers were dying of boredom. Agria groaned life in the dungeon was dull. She just wanted to dash to Haston and meet her idol. But Ginny stopped her. Lord Deva trusts us. Leaving post would betray that trust. Yet inside, Ginny smiled smugly. Surely she was the one Deva trusted most. Gullible Agria brightened, thinking she too had won Deva's favor. Ginny sipped tea calmly, eyes scanning for intruders. Agria used the Watcher's eye spell to scout the surroundings. Acting all professional, Ginny smiled finally. Someone doing the work for her. But within seconds, Agria's face went pale. Watcher's eye reacted. An intruder. Just one. But the man is strange, she said. Prepare for battle. Ginny lipped up, eyes gleaming. It's here. Agria barely drew her weapon before crimson light flooded the room. High heels clicked, followed by a sultry laugh shattering the tension. Yo! Heavens, no need to panic. A stunning woman appeared, skin white as snow, curves ablaze. Beth Bathory, mistress of Trey Castle. Her sudden arrival flustered Ginny. Deva was away, and she hadn't prepared the welcoming rites. Beth laughed, to atone. Just give me a little of your blood. Ginny forced a smile. You're joking again. Sister, the vampire turned to Agria. And who's this child? How many centuries old? Agria puffed up proudly. I'm Demon King Melchizedek, 17th heir of Asmodeus. Aspith chuckled, amused by her youth until Ginny introduced her true rank, making Agria nearly swallow her tongue. She tugged Ginny aside, whispering, if Beth's here, could the boss of all dungeons show up too? Ginny frowned. The question irked her. Deva hadn't even officially accepted Agria as part of the ancient core. Yet the girl was already dreaming big. Aspeth lazily waved, ordering her bat servant to pour tea. The bat morphed into a handsome man, going to serve, mentioning Deva. Beth realized she hadn't seen him or Patrick for ages. Ginny admitted both had left earlier. Beth's face darkened, crimson eyes glinting. Unbelievable, they vanished now of all times. Startled, Ginny whispered, has something happened? Beth sighed coldly. Every village around Trey Castle has been erased. No survivors, no corpses, only a sea of blood to the horizon. Beth found the scene bizarre. The blood flowed toward Haston as if guided. Nothing human about it. Agria's hair stood on end. If bodies vanished, maybe they were out for a stroll again. Beth suspected the same. If corpses obeyed, there had to be a puppeteer behind them. A name flashed in her mind. Oroso, the Lord of Undead, the reason Macedon came to the Boulevard today. She meant to warn Deva, but the underground base was empty. No creature left to send a message. Beth sighed, baffled how Ginny could trust Deva enough to let him roam free. Agria shrugged, declaring it hero time. Even bored warriors must fight. Back in Haston, Deva listened to Todd's tragic tale, realizing the black calamity sparked it all. When the plague spread, someone burned the fields, turning the harvest to ash in moments. Rumors claimed eating tainted crops caused agony, branding Haston as cursed land. Hearing even the emperor abandoned them, villagers despaired, but a flicker of hope remained. A kind couple opened their granary to feed all, reigniting unity among the people. But just as faith bloomed, they were brutally murdered. Greed, the whispered culprit. After that, trust collapsed, selfishness reigned, and starvation claimed all. Only poor folk like Todd survived by daring eat the cursed food, yet nothing happened. Deva instantly knew someone had spread the rumor to sow chaos. Todd led him to the graveyard, where mountains of corpses could freeze the bravest heart. The living dug mass graves to bury fast before flies took over. When Deva asked why not burn them, Todd said no one dared. Grief was too fresh. He added the murdered couple were Rosalina's parents. Deva sighed, picturing the once pampered girl now wandering blind through misery. He spotted 2 guards. Todd said they monitored the area. Deva grew suspicious. Surely minions of the scheming lord. He decided to face that lord himself to uncover the hidden plot. Patrick cooked up a wild idea: steal EB eggs to kickstart their plan. If those beasts chased the eggs and Deva beat them, it'd grant him a legal excuse to meet the lord. But before seeing the lord, Patrick was swarmed by a happy horde. Like ants, genius or not, he nearly fainted. Meanwhile, in the castle, Haston's lord jolted awake, drenched in sweat. She was Lala's interview attack. Newly appointed ruler, Lala stepped onto the balcony, breathing dawn air though she ruled. Her heart was restless. Her brother's death haunted her. Her kin fled with riches, leaving hustle forgotten. Now she lived in dread. bread, knowing revival of her domain was her only lifeline, yet her sole hope was a stranger promising to save Hastin, a thought that unnerved her. She glanced around bitterly. So this is the salvation you spoke of? The hooded man calmly replied, vowing to soon erase every hardship, telling her to rest easy. Lala bit her lip in frustration. He never revealed his plan, but she had no choice except to trust him. Beneath the hood, he smiled slyly while she still believed everything was going just fine. In the end, Lala agreed to wait a bit longer to see what he could do. Just then, her butler rushed in, reporting the region's public security. Soldiers said the domain was attacked by the Happy, but a mysterious knight wiped them out in one strike. Lala gasped one blow. Who could be that powerful? The butler said they couldn't identify him, so Lala decided to meet the knight herself in the guest hall. But a hooded man stopped her, warning that the stranger might be an assassin in disguise. Still, Lala insisted a savior of Hastin deserved reward, so she went to meet him. Patrick was escorted in, knelt, and introduced himself with gallant grace. Lala expressed gratitude, unaware it was all part of Diva and Patrick's scheme. Patrick silently judged her an inexperienced ruler, clearly the dead lord's sister. Lala curiously asked what order of knights he belonged to. Patrick froze, unsure what to answer, and the air thickened. She pressed for his real name, but he only bowed, asking to keep it secret. Narrowing her eyes, she asked, if I told you to remove your helmet, would you refuse too? Patrick smirked. My face is full of scars half torn apart. If Milady can bear it, I'll remove it right now. His clever words made Lala drop the demand, but she still wished to reward him and asked what he wanted. Patrick replied instantly, some food. Please, both to test her generosity and gauge the castle's supplies. No problem, Lala said, waving for the maids to bring food without hesitation. Patrick immediately noticed this place had plenty to eat. Unlike the famine rumors, he wondered why, with such abundance, the lady let her people starve. Moreover, he sensed a dark necrotic aura from the hooded man beside Lala, chillingly familiar. So Patrick risked a bold question. Milady, may I ask one thing? Something troubles me deeply. Who is that man? The room tense danger hung thick. Patrick quickly added it was just curiosity, so Lala let it slide. Later, he secretly reported to Deva, wondering if the man was undead, but the aura could also belong to a dark mage. Diva snapped. Why think? If it were me, it'd crush him already. We're here to clean up, not breed new chaos. Patrick clenched his jaw and lightly punched Deva's shoulder. A lord like you's bound to be different soon. Diva dodged the topic, talking instead about the cursed food rumor that starved Hastin's people. Meanwhile, Rosalina avoided him like the plague, bolting every time he appeared. Patrick sighed. If only I had mind control magic, should've dragged Agria along. Diva grumbled. Now you say that you dragged me to this dump just to complain? Patrick thought. Didn't expect the great lord to be this useless, but outwardly just pulled out the food bag to lure Rosalina. Diva's eyes lit up. Yo, food. Let's eat first. Plan later. Patrick nearly collapsed. No eating. Well, use it to win her over. Diva reluctantly obeyed, taking the bag to find Rosalina. But his naturally dark aura made the girl tremble, pressing against the wall and stammering, asking what he wanted. Diva forced a smile. Do I look like I'm about to eat you? Rosalina teared up. Yes, my lord. Instead of scolding, Diva pulled out a small cake, offering it. Eat. Share it with me. The girl froze, unable to believe her eyes. Her fear melted into joy. This is the priest's holy bread. Rosalina clasped Deva's hand, shaking it wildly. Diva stiffened. The cake Patrick gave him was priestly bread too. Strange coincidence. To explain, Rosalina eagerly led him to a nearby cave, where she believed fellow believers gathered. No one else in the village had believed her for a long time. They stopped before a dark, gaping cave that reeked of gloom. The deeper they went, the dimmer their torches grew, as if swallowed by something unseen. Inside, a man, clearly a priest, preached with fanatic fervor. He cried that the calamity was divine trial, and only the chosen deserved to survive suffering. Rosalina happily invited Deva to sit, but he found the sermon irritating and almost walked out. The priest looked ordinary, just another cultish brainwasher. While he pondered, the followers all rose simultaneously like puppets. Rosalina beamed, saying they'd arrived just in time for the Eucharist. The priest handed out bread to each person, while Deva silently watched with his demonic sight. The bread matched the type Patrick got from Lala, proof it came from the castle. Before he could think further, Rosalina whispered, true believers gain eternal joy. He nearly laughed at her naivety. She hugged her cross, eyes glowing with blind faith and dreams of salvation. As they talked, the priest approached, smiling. Rosalina, you've come again. He handed her a bread, calling it today's blessing. She thanked him with delight. Then he turned to Deva, offering an identical piece. The moment Deva touched it, his instincts screamed danger. The bread crumbled to dust on the ground. Deva's face darkened, his aura pressing heavy on the air. Grabbing the priest's collar, he whispered, you dare deceive me. Your mana tricks are useless. Manipulate them if you wish, but never cross my line. The priest froze in terror, realizing his foe wasn't human. Rosalina clutched her bread, trembling. Sir Knight, what's wrong? Deva let go and forced a smile, just thanking him for the bread. They left the cave, walking back to the village through thick darkness. Deva frowned. These clues confirmed the issue was far beyond minor. Someone was using dark mana to brainwash Hastin's people, exploiting the region's isolation, combined with the necrotic energy Patrick sensed earlier. It meant a stronger force lurked behind. Wow, you're so smart, truly the great Lord Deva. Agria suddenly appeared, eyes sparkling in awe. Lost in thought, Deva had spoken aloud. Great. Now the noisy girl had followed him to Hastin, perched on a rooftop. Agria teased, didn't you say this place sucked? Looks fine to me. Diva knew she wasn't here for sightseeing, and sure enough, she reported that Lady Battery had found something strange near the ancient ruins. She added that all odd phenomena around the castle pointed toward Esteem, and the prime suspect, according to Battery, was none other than Oroso. Oroso? Huh, likely, but just a wild guess. Diva muttered lazily. On the way, Agria had figured out that Huston was in a miserable state. Though no undead appeared yet, she believed someone was manipulating mana veins to control the area. She thrust her staff into the ground, activating a low-level mana scan, and purple light flared out. Knew it, Agria exclaimed. The priest their followers adored was actually an undead in disguise. Worse, he was the gatekeeper of the death zone, a real lich named Simong Magus. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Marga, a loyal servant, knelt to report Haston's situation to his master. As Lady Battery suspected, the puppeteer was Oroso, Lord of the Undead. Marga trembled, saying this was his final report before Oroso's personal arrival. Oroso wasn't surprised. Omu had warned him. White armor, deathly aura, right? Marga bowed. No armor, no death aura, but his energy is darker than death itself. Oroso mused, whether Devo or Patrick, I must secure Haston first. Just the opening act, he added. Omu urged him to send more troops to the castle. Oroso then ordered Masam to prepare in the underground dungeon. Before leaving, he asked if Margaret needed help. Margaret refused confidently. As you wish, Oroso replied, fading away with his crows. Margaret smiled. The undead age was coming. He believed no one could stop his army, though he feared that beast might interfere. Meanwhile, Diva lounged on a rooftop. Carefree, he confirmed someone was manipulating the mana flow around Haston, but didn't know who. With such a scale, the caster had to be close to maintain the energy, or perhaps using a medium to channel and stabilize the mana flow. A medium strong enough to cover all Haston would drain absurd mana. Only a deadly being could do that. Agria pointed at the Lord's castle. Sure, it was the only place hidden enough to store such a medium. Diva yawned, agreed it made sense, but warned noise would alert the mastermind. Coincidentally, Patrick was nearby, so Deva decided to move. Agria, free, let's visit that castle. Diva's rare seriousness gave Agria chills. She couldn't guess his plan. But as the Lord decreed, it was time to replace a few undead council members. Meanwhile, Patrick searched every corner of the castle and found the dungeon most suspicious. His sharp nose caught a heavy stench of death from beneath the stone floor. The clang of metal echoed below. Someone was working down there. Sneaking in, Patrick saw a hulking butcher joyfully hacking corpses, his cleaver massive enough to impress even him. Patrick cuffed politely, sorry to intrude, but who's your master? The butcher roared and swung his blade, aiming to turn him into dinner. But to Patrick, that swing was slower than a snail's crawl. He caught the blade with one hand, squeezing until it cracked. So, the Lady Lord's in league with monsters too? Patrick sneered. He snapped the massive cleaver like a bundle of sticks. Before the butcher realized, Patrick crushed his jaw. Done. Now scram. You stink. The corpse fell. Torches went out, then reignited with eerie blue flames. Patrick tensed up, sensing battle energy surrounding him. A heavy shock knocked his helmet off. Yep. Even a Dullahan joins the party. Patrick grinned. Amused. What are you scheming? You bunny freaks? He taunted, still polite. He asked, who assigned you to guard this place? Only chilling silence replied. Instead, the Dullahan lunged with terrifying speed. Dodging, Patrick noticed it wielded a cursed sword able to corrode weapons, making the duel deadlier. He quickly assessed, this one's no ordinary foe. Clearly, it wasn't a mindless, headless knight but an intelligent type. We're both undead, why fight? Let's chat, Patrick offered. Pointless. The Dullahan ignored him, striking relentlessly, forcing Patrick defensive. He vowed to uncover why it appeared here and believed Lala knew. Not wanting to prolong, Patrick unleashed rapid attacks, overwhelming his foe. Though powerful, the Dullahan lost its cursed sword. With a few swift cuts, Patrick shredded it to pieces. The battle ended in a blink. Late at night, Lady Lala woke, shivering from a chilling aura. She opened her eyes to see a figure looming beside her bed, radiating deathly cold. Who let you into my room? She quivered, clutching her blanket. Just want to talk. You're Lala, right? Patrick's voice was calm and icy. He drew his sword slowly, turning her fear into panic. 5 minutes. Call Omu here, Patrick ordered coldly. Before she could react, Omu appeared, apologizing and saying he'd found something odd on patrol. Patrick tossed the object onto the table. The clang made Lala jump. The Dullahan's helmet. Patrick said flatly, so, you're teaming with undead. Lala, what nonsense. Undead, Lala stammered, thinking he'd gone mad. Omu interjected smoothly. Don't trust him. My lady is here to cause chaos. Guards, but Patrick cut him off. I already killed that Dullahan, right under your dungeon. Lala turned to Omu, the subordinate she had never met before taking office, and saw him trembling slightly. Indeed, your dungeon's crawling with undead, Patrick said, drawing his blade, eyes glinting cold. Need another hint? The one beside you is undead too, Lala gaped, refusing to believe a word from this intruder without proof. She clung to faith in Omu, the ever-devoted aide who promised to save Haston. Seeing Patrick as a threat, Patrick chuckled dryly. A pathetic fool. She had doubted, yet her stubbornness chained her to betrayal. Omu stayed calm, stepping forward. Easy, knight. Dullahan's a rare hider creature. Even I was surprised it showed up here. Patrick narrowed his eyes, sensing Omu's act, and decided to play along. Yeah, that thing was odd power of an undead elder, yet mute and puppet-like, he said when burning the Dullahan's soul. He found a mind control array carved in its armor, with the master's name clearly written. Masam, Patrick said, the strike team vice leader and Hannah's brother, famed for slaying a vicious undead 30 years ago before vanishing. He turned to Lala. Know who that terrifying undead was? She shook her head. Patrick smiled slyly. He spun his sword and aimed it straight at Omu. Then tell me where's Oroso, Lord of the Undead, your master's master? Hearing Oroso's name, Lala panicked. Wasn't he the demon king of the dead realm? Why was she involved? Omu burst out laughing madly, ignoring the blade at his throat. The sick ladder snapped Lala from her delusion. You said you'd save me and my people, she screamed. Yes, and I will my way. He raised his head, revealing pale skin, red eyes, and a twisted grin. Lala froze in terror. Unable to speak, Patrick realized his arrival had completely ruined Omu's plan. But Omu didn't care. Had been cornered. Omu lunged, trying to seize Lala as a hostage. Before he could touch her, Patrick sliced off his arm. Stay still. His thunderous voice roared. The arm hit the floor. No blood, only full black smoke, proving he wasn't human. Lala's spirit broke. Discovering her trusted ally was undead in disguise, Omu removed his helm, revealing his true monstrous face and dark schemes. Shattering her faith, he threatened to erase the entire domain, turning it into a lifeless hell. He mocked humanity, saying extinction was their blessed destiny. Omujin revealed his vile undead form, admitting he was just a pawn of Oroso, the immortal king. Patrick mused undead once relied on numbers, never strategy. But Omu's words showed they'd grown cunning, no longer mindless husks. Omu had marked Patrick from their first meeting and reported him to Oroso immediately. Patrick's slaying of Mazim exceeded all expectations, deepening Omu's curiosity. Omu wondered why one so strong refused to serve the undead king. Beside them, Lala trembled like a leaf, paralyzed with fear. Learning Patrick was undead too doubled her terror. Though he meant her no harm, Patrick needed her cooperation to keep the territory stable despite the Teaos. His exposed identity made alliance difficult, fueling his hatred toward Omu. Omu struck with claws, but Patrick effortlessly countered with a glance, pointing his blade at Omu's chest. He warned coldly threats meant nothing to the dead, so he chose fear instead. He hinted his allies were so powerful they could crush all of Oroso's plots. Omu sneered, saying that would only hasten mankind's extinction. Patrick replied lightly, sorry, but we're on the human side. While winning Lala's trust, pressed Omu to reveal Oroso's plan. Refusing to waste words, Omu hesitated, then finally revealed a little about how one becomes an elder. To gain that rank, one needs either rare magic or hatred deeper than death itself. Oroso used sorcery to forge elders and built a cult to recruit weak-souled humans, fertile soil for undead breeding. Underground, Lala shuddered, realizing she was just a pawn in Oroso's grander plan. They plotted to raise countless elders from corpse seas below to devour the Empire. Patrick shrugged mockingly. That's wickedly clever. When the Empire falls, survivors will become Hydir, undead, the 7 plagues of the New World. Omu laughed maniacally, muttering forbidden words. Pitch-black magic array spun, exuding deadly aura. Lala cowered in fear while Omu grew more ecstatic. He boasted he could still cast spells with mere speech despite losing an arm. Patrick sneered, mocking the talkative fool. Omu roared as his curse formed an invisible hand crushing Patrick. He believed victory. His only ancient monsters rivaled Oroso. He comforted himself that such creatures were asleep. None could stop him. Patrick unleashed primal force, shattering the magical bindings easily. Omu froze. Patrick's power defied all logic. Patrick sifted through Omu's babble, extracting the key point. No matter the scheme, if the ancient monster returned, all would crumble. Suddenly, the Chenlo Tower exploded, stones raining like a storm. Patrick sighed. Again, every time someone shows up, the world quakes. Never a quiet day. Lala cuffed amid the thick smoke. She jumped as 2 strangers emerged from the void. More terrifying than Patrick, Diva glanced at her with the apathy of seeing a wilted weed. Then he turned to Patrick. A short exchange confirmed Patrick knew everything. A dark beam shot straight toward them. Diva didn't even look, flicking aside effortlessly. The rebound turned into 1,000 spikes, piercing Omu through. Omu's eyes bulged. The power was beyond imagination. Patrick smirked. Told you, my company's not ordinary. Diva eyed Omu like an outdated artifact. Omu trembled, realizing the being before him was the ancient monster Oroso feared. Yet he wondered why Diva appeared unannounced. Noticing the castle's mana stone had gone dead, he also saw that Agria beside Diva was a true demon lord. Knowing defeat was certain, Omu could only stall and alert Oroso. He tried to stay calm, trembling as he asked Deva's purpose, but couldn't finish. A blinding light struck him, dazzling the entire hall. Another earth-shaking battle erupted, rocking every corner. Omu was smashed face first, lying limp like a rag amid the ruins. Agria, annoyed, swung her staff, unleashing black fire that incinerated Omu's body. Diva yawned. Bored? Surprised, the undead still laughed while pulverized. Being undead, his mind was disturbingly resilient and stubborn. Omu howled, commanding all to kneel. Their lord was descending. Patrick frowned a warning. Diva just sneered. This guy's too flashy. In Haxon Village, the sky began to spiral ominously. Rosalina rushed from the empty Gibbet Square, desolate from the plague. But as always, Todd caught her the moment she arrived. She expected scolding, but Todd only sighed heavily. The thieves' gang had just met the leader and crew reached a grave decision. They'd leave Huston tomorrow night. As leader, Senya no longer trusted Diva or Patrick. Come with me. I'll explain on the way. Todd told the girl softly. He led Rosalina to the mass grave where her parents rested. Since they were leaving forever, Todd wanted her to say goodbye. He didn't force her, just said she must choose her own path. She quietly asked why they should leave Haston when salvation was near. Todd replied coldly, blind faith saves no one, not even your parents trapped in that darkness. He believed the god she worshipped wasn't the only way out. Todd added gently, her actions could also redeem the dead. His words struck her like revelation. She clenched her fists, fire flaring in her eyes. Her new resolve made her see salvation wasn't waiting, it was doing. With that thought, Rosalina took the torch from Todd's hand. She looked down at the pit, meaning to light the souls for peace. But a strange hand stopped her midway. A mocking voice sneered, out so late, daring, aren't we? Todd tensed instantly. Rosalina looked up in shock. Before her stood the priest she once believed was God's messenger, but he was actually Magus, servant of the dungeon lord who destroyed Hasten. What are you doing? Rosalina gasped as he gripped her hand tightly. The flame licked his skin, but Magus only smirked. Unbothered, he flung her aside like a dry leaf. Todd rushed to catch her, but the fire spread fast, threatening to engulf them both. The flames caught his robe, forcing Marga to reveal his true body. Beneath the priest's robe was the rotting face of a vile undead. Rosalina froze. The man she revered was a monster in holy disguise. Silence! Worms! Marga roared, proclaiming their lord's descent. He raised his hand, and corpses in the pit began to twitch grotesquely. Rosalina screamed as her parents rose, eyes hollow and lifeless. Run! Don't just stand there! Todd shouted. His yell snapped Rosalina back, and they bolted. Behind them, the undead swarm shrieked. Charging like a meat storm, they dove into a nearby house to hide. Todd piled furniture and cabinets to block every entrance. That should hold for a few minutes. He panted. Rosalina was exhausted, her legs trembling to collapse. Todd knelt, telling her to climb onto his back. Despite fatigue, he carried her upstairs. Through the window, they saw the undead lurking, waiting to strike. Todd gripped his weapon, unsure if it survived the night. The upper floor reeked of decay and death. He set Rosalina in a corner, warning her to stay alert to live. Then he approached a nearby corpse, prying a weapon from its hand. His eyes turned cold as steel. Todd advanced toward Rosalina, making her tremble. What are you doing? He said nothing, swinging the weapon hard. Rosalina shut her eyes, bracing for death. When she opened them, she was untouched. Todd grumbled about her blind faith. While she screamed in fright, a loud crash echoed below. The undead had broken through. Todd rose instantly, ready to fight. As Rosalina grabbed anything to defend herself, she scanned the room, trembling hands still searching for anything useful. Todd watched her briefly, then suddenly turned and walked away. He smiled strangely and stepped into the hallway. The door locked from outside, trapping Rosalina within. Todd had planned it using his own blood as bait to distract the undead. Inside, Rosalina screamed as Todd, suppressing pain, lied that he was tired of her dependence. He added softly, "Don't call out, don't move, stay quiet, they won't find you." Understanding, Rosalina held her breath, stifling sobs. From behind the door, Todd whispered, "Sorry I was too harsh on you." His trembling voice carried regret and affection. Outside, Todd charged into a hopeless battle against the undead horde. Inside, Rosalina wept silently as blood and fire drenched Huston. Outside, townsfolk stared at the crimson sky, thinking the new lord had angered the gods. As troops rushed to the castle, horrific scream froze the ranks. They turned to see a blood-soaked youth staggering forward. Gasping a warning, a soldier caught him and checked his wounds. He was an apprentice from the magic tower and the blood wasn't his. The reason appeared as undead swarmed behind him. Seeing them, the boy screamed, forcing others to restrain him. The group gripped their weapons tight, ready to fight, yet facing that grotesque sight. Many faltered. Suddenly, a knight in white armor rode forth like light in the dark. He cut down several undead, shouting, "They're not immortal. Decide run or fight." A magic tower apprentice yelled back, swearing to fight to atone for arriving late. "You'll fight too." Another raised his weapon, courage blazing. The spirit spread. Everyone stood united in formation. The knight nodded, ordering warriors to the front, civilians to the rear. Defenses ready? They're closing in. Voices roared over the wind. 3 apprentices volunteered to launch the counterattack. Their explosions tore through dozens of corpses, flames rising high. The sound reached the city leader, making him frown in fury. Where are Todd and Rosalina? He muttered they were to leave Huston tonight, yet vanished. Soon after, Rosalina was found. She leaned weakly against a wall, barely conscious. Seeing the leader, tears streamed down her face. Todd told her to stay, but fear drove her to flee. She survived by luck. She choked out an apology, words broken. Pain clear, the leader calmed her gently. "It's all right, you're alive thanks to Todd." Still, Rosalina was tormented for trusting Marga, the traitor of mankind. Then, suddenly composed, she urged the leader to call for reinforcements instead of running. He was surprised, but Rosalina's steady gaze didn't waver. She insisted only Dev and Patrick could save Huston. They must be in the castle. The leader nodded, handing her a potion, telling her to drink and regain strength before going. Though just a low-ranking commander, he vowed to stay and fight. Honoring Todd's sacrifice, he told her to head straight to the castle while he and his soldiers held off the undead. Above, Patrick and Agria watched the brutal battle below. Diva still lounged lazily, while Patrick saw humanity's brief advantage fading fast before the endless undead tide. According to Omu, a hidden elder lurked among the undead humans. Stood no chance. Oroso's planning was flawless. "Should we act, boss?" Diva smirked slyly, clearly itching to confront Oroso but had something more amusing first. With that thought, he limped down toward the trembling lord. "What's your name?" "Huh, Lalashan Avatak." She stammered in fear. "Lalala what?" "Whatever." Diva boomed, shaking the ceiling, then stared into her eyes like a void. He lifted her chin with one finger, making her gasp under the pressure. "You want to live, right?" Diva asked. Patrick gaped. His boss had planned to kill her, yet now found her more useful alive. Patrick frowned, objecting to partnering with humans. Too weak, too treacherous. "Not all." Diva replied flatly. "She's got her own reason to exist." Despite fear, Lala met his gaze steadily. That indomitable will intrigue Deva. Unlike those who grovel, she had what he called an unbreakable spirit, so he spared her. Patrick sighed. "If that's your call, I won't argue, but you deal with the fallout." Diva waved him off, turning back to Lala with a dangerously playful look. "Now, beg me to save you, and everything gets easier." Lala cautiously asked. "And if I do, then the undead vanish, and Patrick cleans up. Simple." "What?" Patrick yelled. "You're dumping it on me again?" Diva shrugged lazily. "You're too free anyway." Clearly, had rather command than act. Lala realized his price: her power, her wealth, even her soul. Surrounded by 3 overwhelming forces, she felt cornered. Refusal meant certain death. Questions flooded her mind. If tragedy hadn't struck, would her brother still live? Would she be lord? Or was it all fate's cruel joke? Lala trembled. Torn inside, unable to speak, Patrick groaned. Boss, just kill her already. I can't even remember where I tossed my sword. Before she could answer, hurried footsteps echoed from the hall. Agria asked softly if they should seal the door, but Diva gestured to open it, curious who dared approach. The doors burst open, a small figure dashed in like lightning. It was Rosalina. Panting, she lit up at the sight of Diva. Sir Knight, please, save us. She frantically explained the undead had overrun the village. The people fighting hopelessly outnumbered. The leader told me to beg you. Devalar, you promised to save Huston, she cried. Devalar fell silent, making Rosalina stare up with fragile hope. Then she froze. Beside him was a grinning skeleton. Yeah, talking bones. Surprise, Patrick shrugged. The choice now lay with Lala. Torn between survival and fading power, Patrick glanced at Agria, signaling her for assistance. Agria understood without a word. She drew a spell, summoning a huge, winged, glowing eye. Devalar grimaced. That's hideous. The eye flapped away swiftly toward the battlefield. Through it, the group inside the castle saw the chaos outside. Rosalina clenched her fists, breath tight with tension, while Lala fared no better. Patrick and Devalar watched like a movie, munching snacks and commenting, "Those girls stinko. Looks like humans are doomed." Rosalina burst into tears. Out there were the people who once risked their lives to save her. Watching them torn apart while doing nothing made her heart twist in agony. She screamed at Devalar, demanding why he stayed idle when he could save everyone. Before he could answer, Rosalina turned to Lala, angrily asking what she'd do while her people were dying. Lala stammered, ashamed and guilty after being yelled at by a child. At last, she knelt before Devalar, pleading, "Please save the Haston villagers," and thus their pact was sealed with a single nod. At the cost of everything, Devalar, Patrick, and Agria turned to leave. Took them long enough for such a small thing? Patrick scoffed. Outside, the red sky loomed as humanity's line faltered. Despite fighting to exhaustion, Huston soldiers and civilians fell one by one, the white-haired man among the last. As the undead lunged, he closed his eyes, accepting death. But the monster's skull before him was suddenly crushed under a heavy boot. "You, gross," Agria landed, stumping the foe flat and grimacing at the blood on her shoe. The remaining undead shrieked, enraged by her arrival. "Now let's see what the Demon King does," Agria said dryly. Swarms of blazing purple butterflies flew out, burning every corpse they touched. Agria watched with smug satisfaction, smiling proudly. The white-haired man gazed at her, eyes shining with newfound hope. "An angel," he stammered, enraging Agria. "Angel my ass," she yelled, kicking him away. "If you want to live, scram." The man fled in confusion and fear, while Agria muttered about stupid humans, then chuckled bitterly. Who'd think a demon king would end up saving them? From the fruit pile, the one-eyed Magus appeared, sensing her demonic aura and suspecting she was a royal class or dragon-blooded being helping humans. Agria shrugged, saying she did as she pleased, mocking Margot as a half-dead fool unfit to lecture a demon king. Her arrogance made Margot furious. He vowed to rip her apart and make her his ultimate undead. Agria didn't care, treating him like the world's most annoying talking corpse. Margot grandly introduced himself as the loyal servant of the Lord of the Undead, swearing never to lose to a minor demon. Agria gave him a bored look, saying the one he should fear wasn't her. Margot's instincts screamed as a deadly aura closed in. Sure enough, Devalar loomed right behind him. Margot turned just in time to take a storm-like punch to the face. Devalar growled, "Found you, bastard. Told you I wouldn't forget." Margot's eyes widened in terror. Recognizing Devalar, he was smashed into a wall, rubble flying. Body nearly destroyed, Devalar smirked, satisfied by the hit, recalling Margot as that toxic dungeon gatekeeper from long ago. "Not dead yet. Get up, make it fun," Devalar ordered coldly. Magus lackeys trembled, while Agria watched eagerly. Mazed Devalar wasn't even serious. She skipped over and asked if Devalar had some personal grudge to hit him that hard. Devalar dismissed it, saying he just hated the guy and wanted a few more punches, but Margot probably couldn't stand up again. Devalar suggested they leave and asked Agria whether Erebos was hiding in the village. Agria looked up at the crimson sky, saying the magic barrier showed its controller was outside. Still, she admitted she wasn't strong enough to break that seal. Devalar told her not to worry, he'd handle the big stuff. Her job was to clear out the minions and protect the civilians, since Haston's survival needed its people intact. Agria accepted with fairy resolve. Devalar patted her head approvingly, making her beam, then told her to clean up before his fight with Erebos. Agria grinned and agreed, while Devalar strode off toward Marcos. The gatekeeper trembled, convinced Devalar was the ancient demon his master once feared most. As Devalar approached, the ground lit up. A formation rose as Margot sneered, revealing his trap for the beast. The formation exploded violently, flinging Margot back, but it was all part of his plan. As Erebos' loyal servant, he vowed not to fail, crawling away to report even while gravely wounded. But his foe was Devalar, now raging with monstrous power. Devalar smirked, mocking Margot for always knowing how to annoy him. Margot screamed curses, shaking with fury. From across the field, golden light burst from countless eyes. Devalar appeared as a colossal one-eyed beast. Feeling the danger, Margot panicked. Desperate to flee and reach Erebos, he thought it escaped, but suddenly, a massive black beast with razor fangs clamped down on him. Margot slipped free, stunning the creature with his speed. He then dove into another space, vanishing completely. Below, Squalo watched. Disappointed his prey slipped away. He scratched his head, muttering he didn't want to chase but couldn't just ignore it. When asked about Devalar, Squalo replied confidently, "About 1,520 minutes I can hold him off." He stared at his hand oozing black fluid, sighing that delay was no longer an option. The liquid spread into a dark magic circle. He guessed Margot was heading to his mother, and Erebos was likely outside the village. Meanwhile, Margot had warped away, and Squalo deduced his escape route hugged the castle wall. Margot glanced back, eyes wide at what loomed behind him. A massive beam of light swept toward him, ready to swallow him whole. Squalo grinned wickedly, eager to blow the entire area clean of pests. Surveying the ruins, he was pleased the village still stood. Squalo walked slowly, wondering if he was hallucinating Patrick's nagging voice in his head. A few steps later, he found Margot's corpse sprawled out. He looked down and sneered. Killing what's already dead, does that even count? Squalo hoisted the body, jokingly blaming him for the wreckage. Dragging the corpse, he chatted as if to the living. Don't blame me, then you should've tried harder to live. Go argue with Patrick now. He stopped when something blocked his path. A massive barrier stood before him. He eyed it coolly. Squalo touched it, sensing its energy, admiring. Pretty strong, let's see. The moment he placed his hand, his flesh twisted and warped. Yet Squalo didn't scream. Instead, he laughed. Thrilled by the barrier's power, he glanced at Magus's corpse, thinking if he crossed it, that body wouldn't survive, and Patrick might not maintain form either. He sighed, already dreading the scolding he'd get later. Finally, he decided to dump all the blame on the poor corpse teamwork by force. Suddenly, he froze, eyes narrowing toward the distance. A horde of undead was approaching. He muttered, "Right, no humans left around here." Squalo stopped crossing the barrier, dragging the corpse the other way to get out fast. Then he froze, eyes glinting with savagery. Bursts of red and white light flashed ominously. A multicolored beast with a long tongue appeared. Surrounded by swirling black shards, Squalo sped forward, suddenly leaping skyward like an arrow. A deafening explosion followed, black smoke and debris raining down. The watching undead gawked at the insane sight. Squalo emerged, smug and proud, making the undead circle him protectively. He smirked. Quite the crowd. Rotting hands reached for him, but he dodged with ease. Powerful light burst from Squalo's hand, blasting away the nearest undead. The rest froze, none daring to move. Squalo mocked their welcome, then coldly added, "Pathetic." One zombie suddenly pointed at him. A giant sword slammed into the ground. Instantly, all the undead moved, charging in one direction. Squalo readied his stance, grinning. "Should've done this from the start." The undead came in all forms, some wrapped in white, others burning blue. Two round greenish lights appeared, illuminating the area. Squalo raised his hand toward them. "Here, a gift for you." The light stayed still, seemingly confused. He laughed. "Guess we've got a lot to discuss." The green lights formed in Erebos' eyes, the undead lord sitting on his throne. Rasping, ancient beast. A chained mummy-like figure appeared, sneering that it didn't matter if humans oppressed other races. Squalo stayed silent, wind rustling his torn coat, eyes cold. Erebos ran it on, condemning humanity's arrogance, greed, and endless invasions despite their luxury. Develer cut him off. "You talk too much, get to the point." Erebos roared, declaring he'd wipe out mankind, claiming power enough to destroy an empire. Hatred burned in his gaze as he recalled thinking it impossible until Rias was annihilated. He said everything changed when the Black Calamity struck Riot. Erebos stared at Develer, implying that if he killed humanity, all demons would bow to him. Develer scratched his head, unimpressed. "Still can't say it straight." "Huh." Erebos growled. "If you hadn't stood aside, our kin would have died so much. Now's our chance to erase those wretched humans." His gaze pierced Develer, revealing his true scheme. Develer asked flatly, "So you're saying it's all my fault?" Erebos nodded coldly. "Yes, you're the root of every disaster." Before Erebos could continue, Diva already got it, replying calmly, "You want me to wipe out humans so you can take over, right?" Erebos frowned. Disappointment clear, he turned away, muttering irritably, "How dull." Suddenly, a magic circle appeared above Diva, making him look up in surprise. Erebos gasped. "A creation?" Diva frowned. "What the hell is that?" Erebos only replied briefly, his voice dark and disdainful. Bolts of lightning rained down, forcing Deva to dodge nonstop. The bracelet on Deva's wrist suddenly flared with light. At the same time, Erebos beast surged forward. It accelerated violently, charging with brutal power. The ground blazed pink as Deva's counterattack struck back. From afar, Agria saw the chaos and muttered, "Oh crap, that's a ton of them." She instantly cast spells, trying to restrain the undead. Her magic swept through, mowing down waves of enemies. A white light burst forth, her pink glow spreading wider and wider. Watching the burning corpses, Agria shouted, "If they keep coming like this, you'll just have to stay on the move." She looked up at the crimson barrier above the divine-level magic Diva once mentioned. Truly impressive. In her mind flashed the image of Diva patting her head, saying, "Just gonna have a chat with Erebos." 3 minutes later, everything had flipped. A rag breath sounded behind her, making her spin around. A tall pink-haired man, clutching his bleeding side, staggered forward and asked, "Mage, are the others safe?" Agria pointed at the ashes, replying dryly, "If you mean them, they're burning there." The man froze, then asked, "Are you comrades of the night?" Agria blinked. "Night," he explained. A guy in massive armor and another in rags looked like a beggar. They wandered this way. Then Agria realized. She chuckled. "Comrades? I'm just a servant, can't compare to them." The man squinted. "Really? If you knew them, you'd have gone with them." He suddenly blurted, "Thank heavens Rosalina did it. At least Tot didn't die for nothing." Collapsing in pain, he gasped, "Haston will be saved." Blood spread across him, made him turning undead. Agria replied calmly, "I know." He struggled to speak. "I'm unworthy, but can I ask a favor? So you're not human doesn't matter anymore." He chuckled weakly. "If there's a weapon nearby, could you give it to me?" Agria stared silently at him. A spear suddenly struck the ground before him, leaving him stunned. Agria smiled. "You're a true warrior." He gripped the spear, eyes shining bright. Meanwhile, Diva was battling hordes of charging undead. The spikes on his back bristled, his eyes sharp, fangs bared in fury. Erebos' eyes glinted with realization before he growled coldly, "So the time's come to end you, ancient beast." Madness flooded his mind, the lust for dominion over death. He fired volleys of energy arrows at Diva. Erebos roared, "Rejoice! To die by my hand, the wanderer of millennia." Countless arrows tore through the air toward Diva, marking the start of a true deathmatch. A massive golden light erupted, blanketing the battlefield. Then suddenly, white light exploded, leveling everything nearby. The blast was so fierce it obliterated even the energy arrows. Erebo stood frozen, staring at the devastation. He screamed in agony, "Enough! I can't take it anymore." Diva frowned. "You want me to hit you? Or is this just bait?" A tremendous force surged, shaking every tree around. The nearby undead stared blankly, clueless about what was happening to their master. Erebo's unleashed surging waves of magic like raging tides. Diva raised a brow. "Huh, you're venting on trees. Seriously, that your best move?" He glanced at the huge energy masses in the sky, teasing, "No new tricks left." Erebo's froze, realizing Deva was using him as a benchmark, and decided to retreat. Gritting his teeth, he muttered, "Too reckless," then detonated the whole area to escape. But Diva blocked him, saying coldly, "I'm still talking to you." Erebo's, tilting his head, he warned, "Don't even dream of running." Erebo's eyes flared with rage as he poured all his mana into devastating spells. Diva just watched silently, making him even more rattled. "What's wrong? Out of tricks already?" Diva growled, fury flashing in his eyes. Erebo's clenched his fists as black shadows engulfed his body. Another explosion burst forth, but didn't even scratch Deva, who only sighed in boredom. The following blast merely scattered the dark smoke into the air. Diva waved dismissively, mocking, "You guys fight like you're following a bad script." Before the undead army, a massive energy surge pierced their ranks and coiled back around Diva. Crimson chains wrapped around him, catching him off guard. Erebo suffered backlash, his body decaying into a white skeleton. Diva sighed, "I really hate this kind of spell." Then Erebo's eyes gleamed. From the bones, he turned into a giant slime mass, making Diva remark, "Yup, Diva need your magic." Huh, but that slimy hide was thickly armored and hard to penetrate. The chains around Deva melted away, turning into pure energy. Erebo's lunged forward. Diva grimaced. "Gross slimy stuff again," he muttered. "What kind of battle gets this messy?" Erebo's kept spewing sludge, flooding the ground. Diva tilted his head, eyes serious. "Guess he'll stop holding back this time." Suddenly, green light blazed from Erebos' eyes. The beam struck down, exploding into a blinding white ring around Deva. In the sea of light, Diva roared, fury erupting. Erebos froze, unable to grasp what was happening. His body shattered, dissolving into the horde of undead around him. Diva slowly rose, calm as if untouched. Erebos, or rather, Airbot trembled at the sight. Utterly disbelieving, Diva said coldly, "Time to replace one of the 7 ancient prisons." Meanwhile, at another ruined building, Rosalina stared anxiously into the distance. What's Boss thinking? No matter how fun it is still a walking disaster, she muttered. Maybe he really doesn't realize that and still gets to be the boss. Then sighed. If only he were less impulsive. Rosalina frowned. That guy probably can't handle Boss. He'll be the one cleaning up again. Maybe I should just quit early. Erebos mumbled. That annoying skeleton, oh wait. And Bones too forgot. He looked up, asking, "So Haston will be saved, right? You meant that?" Patrick hesitated, then softly replied, "It'll be fine. Don't worry too much." He glanced around, noting, "Good thing no undead are left. The village glows pink now." Classic Demonkin Agria style. Nearby, Agria was lying exhausted. Patrick chuckled. Perfect timing. Agria lay flat, panting. "Done, it's been ages since I burned this much mana." Patrick gave her a warm smile. "You've done well, Lady Agria. Without you, would be doomed." She shook her head. Lord Devala did the hard part, but Patrick smiled. "Nope, you were amazing." Agria suddenly remembered. "Wait, is Deva still fighting that guy?" Patrick nodded. "Yeah, Boss is still at it." Quite the sight. Everyone turned toward the battlefield. Patrick added, "Spectacular." "Sure, but the aftermath's gonna be a nightmare." He sighed, glancing at the ruined village. "Every time Boss fights, trouble multiplies." Rosalina stayed silent while Patrick groaned. "Guess he'll be working double shifts after this." He grabbed his head in despair. He could just stomp them flat, but knew he's gotta drag it out. "Never thinks of me. The cleanup guy." Rosalina hurried over to calm Patrick down, urging him to stay composed. She turned back with a strained smile. "Yes, him listening." As Patrick continued, "The Lord is the only one I swore to keep alive. We should clean this place up soon to avoid trouble later." He rested his sword on his shoulder, smirking. Honestly, keeping the rest alive is pointless. Hearing that, Rosalina fell to the ground in shock while Aetner froze. She cried out, "Wait, Lord Patrick. She's my subject too." Patrick stayed silent for several tense seconds, the air heavy with dread. Then suddenly, he smiled kindly. "Kidding. No reason to kill the kid." He eyed Rosalina's frail form, thinking, "She's too weak to matter. Those alley bandits are already gone." Seeing her hollow gaze, he concluded, "Her spirit's already shattered. No need to bother." The three sat in heavy silence while Patrick quietly weighed the cost of killing her. He glanced at Aetner, thinking, killing her would just make things messier. "Let's call this done." Patrick turned back, calling, "Lady Agria." She answered weakly. "What?" he asked. "Can you make someone sleep?" Agria raised a brow. "Easy, but who's the target?" Patrick didn't answer directly, only said cryptically, "I need a private chat with the Lord." Agria went, "Ah!" Immediately catching on, she raised her hand, chanting, "Sleep, little one," and snapped her fingers. Rosalina gasped softly before collapsing. As the girl drifted into slumber, Patrick straightened up with a smile. "Now we can begin." He knelt on one knee before Agria, speaking solemnly. "As agreed, we've saved Haston. Now it's your turn to keep your word." Agria blinked. "What must I do?" Patrick's tone hardened like steel. "You tell no one what you've seen, though I'm sure you're smart enough not to need reminding." Idner's face went pale, sweat dripping as fear gripped her breath. Patrick said calmly, "Now listen closely, you'll tell you a story. Once, there was a brave lord who endured humiliation to protect her land from the undead." He spoke slowly, almost hypnotic, yet cruel fate kept her under their watch. Her army dwindling, she had no choice but to call for aid, but before help arrived, her people revolted, blaming her for failing to protect them. Even so, she held her faith and never fled. Then one day, Imperial forces came and wiped out the undead. Patrick concluded looted, and thus, the land was saved. Beautiful tale, isn't it? He clapped sharply, startling Aitner. See, you're no weakling, spreading his arms, his tone soft yet piercing. You're the one who sacrificed for your people. Let them believe that. Aitner hesitated. You want me to lie to them? Patrick didn't answer, just gestured behind her. Behind Aitner lay the ruined domain, shrouded in dust and smoke. His voice deepened. Didn't you say you wanted to live? She bit her lip, eyes trembling with conflict. Patrick spoke slowly. Distribute the castle's food, help the survivors, relief will come soon. Aitner widened her eyes. You're sure? Patrick smiled. Not sure it'll make it happen. From now on, you're Hastings' young hero. Confusion and fear mingled on her face. Patrick dropped the topic. Seems quiet outside. Boss must be done. He turned to Agria. Let's go meet him. Lady Agria, can you teleport? Agria grimaced, replying honestly, I'm totally out of mana, can't even float. Patrick sighed in defeat. Speechless. Suddenly, Aitner timidly asked, May I ask you something? My lord. Both turned as she continued. Why go through all this trouble just to save Haston? She secretly doubted no monster saves humans without a motive. Patrick sighed. Bored? If you want to live, don't be curious. The more you know, the sooner you die. In the dungeon, Diva said coldly. Time to replace one of the 7 prisons. He looked up, sneering. I actually pity you. Diva's tentacles tightened, scolding Airbots for his chatter. Had he stayed quiet, he'd still be alive. Diva scratched his head, grumbling about constant stabbings and back pain like an old man. Erebos sighed. Your power is beyond imagination. Diva lazily scratched his back. Yeah, don't care. Tilting his head, he asked, so why haste? Anyway, Erebos muttered. Had you not attacked, I wouldn't have revealed myself. He said calmly, Haston's a strategic point. But Diva cut him off. Nope, that's not what I meant. He smirked. You knew this was my land and still showed up. Erebos shot back. Then what do you think the reason is? His words barely faded before power exploded violently. Diva's eyes glowed. His tentacles pierced the foe. Erebos chuckled silently. Gazing at him, maniacal laughter echoed through the dungeon. The tentacles drained Erebos' mana dry. Erebot burst apart, disintegrating completely. His head rolled before Diva, who blinked. Huh, not teleporting. Diva picked up the head, muttering, whatever, dead's dead. He slung it over his shoulder, surveying the ruins, standing amid the wreckage. Diva simply sighed. He looked up at the night sky. Wary, what should I even do now? He thought grimly. The whole place is wrecked, needs rebuilding. Suddenly, Patrick's voice called from behind. Boss. Diva broke into a cold sweat as the voice grew closer. Patrick's tone was sweet yet chilling. Boss, don't run, him coming. Missed me. Diva froze in terror, dropping the head, whispering, I'm doomed. Outside, the sky turned gray as heavy rain poured down. The town flooded, thick with gloom. In the puddles, faint reflections of laughing figures shimmered. A raindrop fell, breaking the image apart. Rosalina sat huddled in the rain, whispering, there's nothing left. She burst out crying. Help what? I'm the only one left alive. The rain's pounding drowned her small voice. I hate this. She sobbed again. I hate everything. Rosalina froze, mumbling, unsure whom to blame. Lifting her head, eyes blazing, she screamed, demanding to know who killed them all. On a tidy table, a steaming cup of tea was set down. Ginny hopped around, cheerfully shouting to celebrate Deva's return. The mood between the three sank. Diva replied tiredly. In back, Ginny excitedly bragged. Shed waited patiently while a stone above them trembled. About to fall, Agria and Patrick noticed the danger at the same time. Ginny leapt up, smashing the rock, then beamed proudly that Shed cleaned the place spotless. Hopping again, Diva walked over, patting her head gently. He forced a faint smile, muttering, good job. Diva sat down. Agria collapsed, whining in exhaustion. Patrick groaned near death, and Ginny blinked around cluelessly. She asked softly, you must be tired, right? Diva only grunted. Ginny teased playfully, want to eat first or bathe first? Diva replied flatly, drinking bathwater's fine. Patrick frowned, thinking, what kind of nonsense is that? He turned, snapping at Bathory. What did you even teach her? Making her choke in shock. Bathory averted her eyes, sweating, trying to change the subject, but Diva said coldly, you may leave now. Patrick, half dead, still muttered mockingly, 3,000 dead, starved or zombified, and the town exploded too. All thanks to our beloved boss. Bathory cuffed blood in horror. She wiped her mouth and snapped. What were you doing there? Diva yawned. Just cleaning up some zombies. She squinted suspiciously. Deva calmly added, I scrubbed so clean. Even ghosts ran off. Bathory pressed. Clean what exactly? Diva pulled out Airboss' head. Here's proof. Now bedtime. Bathory trembled. Airboss. Then Ginny. Fetch the bathtub. Bathory stared at the head, whispering, wait, something's wrong. Diva sipped lazily. What now? Bathory frowned, lifting the head. This is just a shell, isn't it? Everyone froze. Ginny gasped, huh, while Diva, stuffed full, could speak. Under the moonlight, Diva's faint voice drifted. Confused and wary, Diva lay sprawled. Groaning, Beatrix scoffed. Boss, you call this tidy? He went on, we messed up telling the Lord everything. And Airbots are still alive. What are we even doing in Haston? Diva scratched his chin, but Bathory said Airbots down 70% energy. Beatrix nodded. Warning, the wardens are restless. Watch your back. Boss. Diva raised his hands. Fine, fine. His weak now. No trouble coming. Beatrix cautioned. Don't use that to skip work. The new dungeon beasts only you can handle. Silence. He turned, frowning. You listening? Boss. Turns out Diva was already snoring. Patrick cursed quietly. Elsewhere, Rosalina stood under an ancient tree, watching corpses sway in the wind. She heard villagers lament. 3 days of food. My family's gone. What's the Lord's thanks worth? One spat bitterly. Better dead than starving, but at least let's die full. Rosalina stepped forward. Someone asked. You giving up too? Eat, then do what you want. She murmured. I don't know where to go, just why we must flee and die for nothing. Her cold voice cut through. Think who's truly to blame. Freezing everyone. Inside, Rosalina burned with injustice. The crowd's eyes turned hateful. She warned. Don't vent on the wrong person. Staring at water jars, she said Essily, dying for nothing only amuses our enemies. Her next words, calm yet chilling, if we die, let it be for revenge. Blood surged. Eyes flared red. What do we do now? They shouted. Rosalina lifted her chin. Voice sharp. Slaughter every monster and demon below the palace. Outside the palace, 2 guards stood still. Inside, Agaris knelt amid a ring of soldiers. From the throne came a regal voice. Agaris Leviathan. He bowed. At your service, your majesty. The king said slowly. You sat through that long speech unfazed, impressive. Agaris replied calmly. Immune to it. The king's gaze hardened. The army's fate rests in your hands. Don't fail me. Agaris bowed lower. I will serve with all loyalty. Your majesty. Outside, the sky blazed bright. A flying carriage drifted through the clouds. Garrett asked softly, you've got full command now? Agaris rested his chin. Yeah, the warrant targets pay Ming Nai. He mused, is hiding, but once a rich noble has got backers, knowing his hunted will rattle him. Garrett stayed silent. Agaris gazed down, thinking, it's been a month since the Black Calamity hit Vias. That disaster threw the nobles into chaos. Accusations flew like storms. The weak were devoured. An imperial order reshaped itself. The carriage stopped before a glittering gold building. Garrett followed, reminding, meeting in 2 hours. What if you're late? Agaris shrugged. Then they'll just wait. Remembering something, he asked, is she all right? Garrett nodded. She's in here. They stopped before a grand black gold door. Agaris pushed it open, saying, I'm coming in. A blue-haired girl, mouth stuffed with pastry, turned in shock. Agaris smiled. Doing well? Win Astoria? The blue-haired girl answered with a gentle smile. Elsewhere in a dark cave, a commander barked. Listen up, spot a monster. Pull out immediately, he added sternly. Don't get cocky, we barely made it past the first room alive. A soldier wiped his sweat, staring into the black void. Heart pounding, he whispered a prayer that the intel wasn't wrong. Lifting his head, he confirmed, yeah, it's right. A flash of Burnheaton crossed his mind, the news of monsters vanishing before his Sutton troops arrived. Checked out. He ordered, there's something valuable inside, move. Another replied, got it, let's go. They went deeper, passing the second chamber, then on to the third. Still silent. One grumbled, seriously, nothing. The pony-tailed man asked, you sure about that info? Maybe another squad cleaned it out. The other stammered, no way. The leader muttered, maybe this isn't even the Great One's sector. He pointed ahead. Room 5, monster-type anthropophago. He explained, it's got thorny leaves and roots processed right. Its body's tougher than steel, worth a fortune. His voice echoed, even one sample pays big. Someone fretted, what if the room's empty? The ponytail guy grimaced, if it's real, we're dead. Crank teams don't belong here. The leader glared, or you want to go home empty-handed? He stomped ahead, snapping, anyone quitting, fine, just don't expect a share. In the darkness, voices echoed, well, see anything yet? 3 men stood amid thorny vines, stunned by what they saw. The leader bent to cut a sample. One cheered, lucky, almost missed it. He replied, grab it and go. His silver knife gleamed coldly in the dark. His eyes widened, sweat pouring. He stammered, look there. The others froze. What is it, Captain? A scream split the air. Run! Behind them, a giant monster rose, swallowing the light. Minutes later, only gloves, a dagger, and boots remained. Patrick tossed a glove, sighing, just as I thought, worthless. Lewis sneered. Greed killed them. Humans never learn. Lewis' eyes, one gold, one blue, glinted with disgust. I hate humans. Patrick kept rummaging. At least these boots look nice. Patrick looked up. Boss, your thoughts? Diva lounged on the vines, grinning. Better than zombies. At least, Beatrix gawked. Told you they're not from the Empire. Check the emblem, West Grand, tell folks. Lewis picked up a torn cloth, scoffing. Came all this way just to die, dedicated bunch. Diva nodded. Foreign delicacies delivered to our door, the world's convenient now. Beatrix nearly choked. What kind of logic is that? He added seriously. We still need to reinforce the dungeon soon. Patrick thought. Rumors about this place spread too fast. He glanced at Deva, yawning. Weird how calm you are about your own dungeon? Huh. Patrick squinted darkly. You want me to file for resignation? Diva jumped up shouting, all right, I'm going down. As Deva leaped, Beatrix turned to the girl behind. Good thing you're visiting now. Agria smiled. Thanks to my magic, we found the intruders, didn't we? Diva nodded. Exactly. Reliable as ever. Ginny chimed in sweetly. Ginny's awesome too. Diva patted her head. Yeah, you're number 1. Ginny beamed while Agria blushed. Glad I could help. Sir. Beatrix clasped his hands. Really? You saved us from being half dead? Agria gripped her skirt nervously. But you know, she looked up softly. How long do I have to stay as your guest? In a distant palace, a report rang out. All preparations complete. Sir, a monster made only of a mouth and huge tentacles growled. Time to march on Judeca. It turned toward the figure in red shoes upon the throne. A hoarse voice rasped. Your Majesty, you 3. Late at night under the moon. Agria sat on a cliff, gazing skyward with distant eyes, hugging her staff. She sighed. A demon lord with no home, what a tragedy. She murmured. I must decide soon, the demon council meets in days. Her eyes heavy with sorrow. The calm was broken by Patrick's voice. Nice weather tonight. Agria turned. You out for air too? Beatrix. Patrick chuckled. Nah, him undead don't need air. Kidding. Agria blinked. Seriously. Beatrix asked back. Then why are you out here? Agria sighed. Just clearing my head. You Patrick replied. No need for sleep, I keep training. A sword idle too long rusts. Agria nodded, silence lingered. Beatrice thought. First real talk with her. He braced himself. It's nothing big. But, he asked, your tentacles are almost healed, Ginny's waiting to see. Coming with us. In the cave, the tentacles twitched and stirred. Agria mused. They're still weak. Beatrice said, this much is a miracle. Ginny shouted from above. 68. She lipped down, still missing a few slow healing. Huh. Ginny checked the data board. 5 more tentacles. Tough call. Agria watched the tendrils coil around her arm. They fought the Hissutton Guild, didn't they? Beatrice nodded. Yeah, strange you didn't know living near Raya's and all. Agria smiled sadly as a tendril brushed her cheek. Yup, I know. All too well, memories of the Bernazutton heroes, the ones who killed her father, rushed back. She stared at the trembling tentacles, wondering what strength it took to survive that. Quietly she thought, if it were me, I'd have chosen death too. Bowing her head, Agria whispered, dreaming of staying in the Great Court too far away now. Patrick observed. Looks like they're almost healed. We should tell boss to recruit new monsters. Ginny bounced in. Only male ones. Big lazy gate guards. She giggled. Huge as mountains. Patrick sighed. Nope, Ginny, that's not the point. Agria called softly. Patrick, Beatrice, both turned at once. Faces blank. Agria pressed a hand to her chest. Resolute. I'm gonna Judica. In a distant tower. Someone asked. Win, is your wound better? Win Astoria smiled. All healed. Garrett warned. At weaker, recovering too fast, looks suspicious. Win pouted. I knew. As she strolled, Agaris opened a cabinet. Got some food here, want any? Win replied while fixing her outfit. Am ready for the meeting. Agaris paused. Yup. Almost forgot, has the servant arrived? Win thought. Not sure. I just stepped out shopping. Agaris closed the cabinet gently. Garrett, Win, you two head to the conference room first. Win asked. And you? Agaris replied. Need to handle a few files, be right behind. They nodded and left. Win smiled back. Don't be late. As the door shut, Agaris' voice turned cold. Do you know who's been serving tea in this room? From the shadows, a redayed figure answered. You'll find out immediately. Agaris nodded. No details, just results. A thought flashed if they cleared the table while he was gone. They'd seen the classified files. His eyes gleamed cold. Find and eliminate them in 4 days, no survivors. The full moon hung high, bathing the silent night in silver. In the council hall, Agaris spoke. Thank you all. We discussed the Black Calamity, the threat to imperial peace. Ket crossed his arms. The Royal Council says the Black Calamity isn't the destroyer. You disagree. Agaris replied calmly. That claim's just a lullaby for the masses. Ket arched a brow. Then proof, Agaris said. I saw him fight hero Gwyn myself. Gager Astaroth lost an arm in that battle. Ket roared. Lies. No reports say that. Garrett's cold voice cut in. The proof's right here, open your eyes. Ket glanced at Silent Win, feeling dread creep in. Even she couldn't win, he thought, sweat forming. Agaris continued. The destroyer strikes without warning. We must be ready for his return. The chamber fell into a heavy silence. Someone asked. So, what's the plan? Rontos responded. Defense is wiser, direct combat is suicide. Agaris nodded. Agreed. Rontos. Then he scanned the room. But what of the 36 masterpiece? It's our only hope to balance power. The room buzzed. That relic's near impossible to find. Word is brachycephalic just lost it to the destroyer. Agaris leaned back, sighing. Who among us can face him? Even the Empire's best failed. He glanced at Gwyn beside him. Except her fragile yet unbroken. Admirable. Sweat trickled down his temple. To surpass that force, we must locate the 36 masterpiece. He paused, and then added quietly, the Pope's behavior lately odd. Resting his chin, eyes sharp, he proclaims the destroyer divine punishment upon the Empire. One man slammed the table. Nonsense. Divine what? Agaris answered coolly, after centuries of suppressing faith. Their backlash isn't surprising. The man snarled, his tone accusing of treason. Agaris only smiled coldly. The other shouted louder, thinking himself mocked. A fierce gust swept through, heralded in chaos. They clashed. Agaris stayed calm, insisting his words were truth. A cold blade touched the aggressor's throat. A masked figure emerged from the shadows, silently taking control. Agaris mocked the man's weakness, then declared calmly he underestimated nothing. Someone cursed, fuming over the Emperor Church feud. 3 holy relics of the 36 were now in the Pope's hands. Agaris calculated the only way to seize them was to ignite a grand war. In the cavern, Beatrice shouted that Agria had left. The echo-faded Diva replied indifferently. Beatrice scowled, teasing that Deva's ears were just decoration. He suspected Deva's attitude drove Agria and Ginny away. Diva argued, they just went to Judeca for the Demon Lord's banquet. Patrick snapped, warning they might never return, but Trich stroked his chin. Half agreeing, Diva glared, irritated. Ginny hugged a big pot while Patrick recalled Agria's strange behavior. He remembered her odd farewell. Sensing something hidden, Ginny felt it too. Patrick guessed Agria planned to form her own faction. Diva then eyed the pot Ginny carried. Ginny grinned mischievously, lifting the lid with pride. Inside bubbled a purple stew, her recovery meal for Deva. Diva screamed, thinking he'd been poisoned, while Patrick gleefully fanned the panic. Ginny shut Patrick up with a solid lesson punch. Diva dodged the topic, asking why everyone had gathered here, but Trich complained about the monster recruitment delays. Ginny eagerly agreed. Diva scowled, tossing the blame back at Patrick. Finally, Diva gave up, lying flat and mocking his lazy guards. Trich agreed. Diva perked up, grinning when confirmed. Patrick interrupted, reminding them it wasn't that simple. He claimed he was too busy with the Hasten project, short on manpower. Diva frowned. Then who replaces you? Patrick pointed straight at Ginny. Diva's eyes went wide like 4 truck headlights. Ginny accepted the job, brimming with confidence. Diva sweated bullets, imagining the Ginny twinnied nightmare ahead. Patrick cheered. Perfect. Leave it all to her, take a break. Boss. Beatrice turned serious, looking like he had grim news. Diva groaned. What now? Beatrix hesitated, about to mention something concerning Agria. Far away, an old man on a beast spoke gently to a cloaked girl. He wished her well. She softly thanked him. Agria gazed at the unfamiliar land ahead. Stunned, she had truly arrived. Before her stood crumbling gates and mercenary ruins. Watching the locals, she sensed they were anything but friendly. On the banner-speared wall flew the symbol of Agriangi, a neutral zone between Empire and allies. Beast folk bustled about 1 in 4 linked to dungeon trades. Though famed as an info hub, not a single map existed. Agria felt uneasy. She sighed, deciding to let the stars guide her to Judica. Standing in the street, she murmured, "This place feels like a demon lord's castle." Agria sensed the air heavy and grim. Magic energy here was dense. Strong beings plenty. Yet something felt off. She saw guards stop a man before a building, shouting halt. When he showed an ID card, they let him through. Agria realized it was the gate to the underworld trade. A strange scent made her turn. There, a sickly green glow pulsed like toxic mist. Agria hesitated, then stepped inside. Monster roars echoed everywhere, chilling her spine. A hoarse voice demanded a status report. Agria saw cages packed with beasts, some still bleeding. Hundreds of crimson eyes stared clearly. Live captures. A shadowy figure approached, breaking the silence. Bizarre man with long nails sneered. "What's a little girl doing here?" Agria lifted her head, eyes wary. Behind her, a mischievous dog spirit stared intently. Surrounded by cages, the man stepped closer, asking her business. Then he flustered, bowing quickly, introducing himself as Poon of the Unbred Guild. Asking if she sought something special, he thought, this kid's no ordinary traveler. Looking closer, he saw Agria didn't fit any dainty noble image. The blue-haired man chuckled, wisely deciding not to provoke her. Agria introduced herself and asked what this place was. Poon explained it was a warehouse of rare goods, including monsters for crafting or display. Agria calculated quietly this site could help rebuild her castle and raise troops. Poon smiled wide, offering her a tour, boasting endless inventory. Agria froze at the sight of a massive caged wolf, once a beastman. Memories surged. She recalled the wolf once fighting beside her. Vowing to buy it back, she asked the seller for the beast price. Poon gasped, warning it was extremely dangerous. Many strike teams died catching it. Agria snapped coldly, "Just give me the price." He flipped through papers, then named a number. The amount nearly made Agria faint. She gripped her purse. She had the money, but couldn't waste it. She remembered Ginny's thank you payment for helping Devalo. With 500 ohms on hand, spending half meant no funds for castle repairs. Agria said she'd look at something else. Poon bowed, relieved. A strange object nearby caught her eye. She asked about it. Poon covered his mouth, saying it came from a monster raid. Behind the bars was a gray-white dog with violet eyes. He said it had no mother and harmed no one. Agria whispered, "No mother." The dog stared at her pleadingly. She reached through the bars, lost too. Huh! Poon panicked, warning it was still a monster, but the creature stayed gentle under her touch. Agria stroked it softly. "Don't be afraid, I blame no one." Poon still feared she'd get bitten. The huge dog melted into a tame pup in her hands. Smiling, she asked, "How much for this little one?" Dusk painted Agria's hair in golden light. She murmured upward, "So I bought the little one after all." The gray dog wagged its tongue, almost smiling. Agria laughed. "You're bigger than I expected." She recalled the dim cage light showing only its head. After a thought, she said, "From now on, your name is Hien." Beneath the moon, she mused how night fell faster here. Together she and Hien looked at the ancient sky in awe. She reminded herself to stay sharp, whispering, "Let's go, Hien." The dog wagged its tail and followed faithfully. Moonlight silvered the ancient ruins. Casting a dreamlike glow, Agria traced the stars, charting her path. A giant deer appeared, blocking her way. She smiled. "Seems I'm at the right place." Agria spoke regally, declaring herself the returned one, and ordered it to guide her. The deer trembled, its shape shifting. Then it bowed, proclaiming, "Welcome, Demon Lord." It raised a hoof toward the far mountains. The monastery lies beyond. The other demon lords awaited. Agria nodded in approval. The dog still trailed behind, making her glance back. She patted its head, saying the demon army needed someone to stay guard. Knowing it didn't understand, she gently urged it to wait and avoid humans. Stroking its soft fur, she sighed, "Where I'm going is too dangerous." Looking at Hien, she decided the name didn't fit. She needed a new one. Suddenly, she froze, struck by an idea. The dog tilted its head, eyes gleaming with curiosity. Diva's carefree grin flashed through her mind. She bit her lip, half amused, half wistful. Agria laughed and patted its head. "From now on, your Lord Depp." Black wings unfolded from her back, glowing faintly. Before taking off, she said, "Stay put, Lord Depp," then soared away, thinking Deva wouldn't mind. Elsewhere, Diva sneezed, growling, "Patrick, your death won't be peaceful." Beatrix sighed, "Boss, you've been cursing me for 100 years already." Diva shoved his hands in his pockets, sneering, "Hope you get osteoporosis." Patrick laughed. New curse unlocked. He brushed his hair, joking, "Don't be mad. Boss call it stress relief service." Patrick suddenly tossed something. "Catch, boss." Diva grabbed it, eyeing it suspiciously. He opened his hand, a shining ring. Turning to Beatrix, he asked how many there were. Beatrix counted, "About 30. Diva frowned, "That's wasteful." Beatrix shrugged, "Nah, I said they're cheap as dirt." Both froze. Deva squinted. "Did you just lie to me?" Beatrix waved frantically. Nope, I only said handle them carefully, not the price." Suddenly, luggage dropped from above with Ginny's cheerful voice. "Sorry for the wait." Blushing, she whispered like a bride. "Feels like a honeymoon." Ginny's so excited. Her heart-shaped hair shimmered as she sweet-talked Deva, who sighed, "We're leaving tomorrow." Diva tried to slip away, but Patrick grabbed him. "Boss, planning to ditch us?" From above, Diva gritted his teeth as Patrick yelled, "Focus, boss. Remember the mission." Beatrix shouted after them, "Please don't cause another disaster." On the road, Diva muttered, "Zinnia, where exactly are we going?" Ginny checked the map. Siennet Mercenary Hub. Dungeon Info Central. Diva nodded. Sounds peaceful, not. Watching them vanish, Patrick wiped cold sweat. Did I just make a huge mistake? Nah, they'll be fine. In a desolate ruin, a lone-lit house awaited. Agria stepped in, bathed in red glow. Her eyes shimmered. It's been so long since I came back here. Before her unfolded the lavish banquet of Demon Lord Judica. As she entered, every gaze in the hall turned to her. Heavy footsteps echoed, radiating killing intent. Whispers filled the room, stares sharp as knives. Agria held her glass, lost in thought amid the noise. She murmured, "It's been ages, this feels strange." Childhood memories returned when she was the center of every feast beside her father. Now, in the same crowd, she stood alone. Tears fell silently as she downed her drink, whispering, "I'm no one anymore." Someone bumped her, spilling wine across her face. Agria shouted, "What the hell are you doing?" Seeing him clearly, she froze. It was another demon lord. Her power flared. "Dare you insult a demon lord? You'll take your head." He only smirked, unsettling her with that strange, mocking smile. Then he walked away without a glance. Laughter erupted around her, demons jeering at her humiliation. Agria clenched her fist, fury rising. "They look down on me." She gripped her glass tight, vowing to rebuild her army till they bowed before her. A hand suddenly touched her shoulder. She spun around, gritting her teeth. "Who dares touch me now?" Before her stood a familiar demon lord, her voice trembling. "Agria, is that really you?" Agria froze, speechless. Mammon lunged forward, hugging her tightly, crying, "You're alive. You've no idea how I worried." Agria stammered, "Wait, Sister Mammon." Mammon pressed her head on Agria's shoulder, sobbing, "Feels like we were just playing yesterday." Agria blushed, snapping, "Let go. Sis, that's too rough." Senza said sternly, "You never act like a demon lord." Mammon laughed. "Oh, come on, we used to be so close." Agria glances around at all the staring eyes and says seriously, "Let's talk outside." The scene shifts to Wing Grace Gate, where mercenaries are noisily gathered. 2 gold coins hit the counter with the demand, "Give us the best room." The innkeeper eyes the 2 strangers, Diva and Jinnai, with suspicion. Locals whisper, "That beggar's with a maid." The innkeeper rushes in, "Please, this way." Exhausted, Diva collapses onto the bed the moment he enters. He sighs, "I just want to sleep," while Jinnai sweetly wishes her boss good night. Seeing Diva motionless, Jinnai smirks, "You can sleep forever, you know." Diva groans about non-stop travel. Jinnai perks up, "Heard there's a monster shop nearby." She cheers, "Let's just pick a few. Come with me, boss'll be quick." Diva groans again, and Jinnai thinks she should postpone. He looks half dead anyway. Then her eyes gleam with a suspiciously romantic idea. She recalls Patrick teasing while cooking soup. "Hey Jinnai, want some fun with the boss?" She yells, blushing, "You mean a date?" Patrick pauses. "Let's call it that." Jinnai daydreams, "So a honeymoon then?" Patrick gives up, "Sure, whatever you say." Back to now. Diva drags himself up, groaning, "No rest again." Huh. Jinnai thinks Patrick was right, just a few words and boss agrees. Diva mutters, "Let's work." She beams. "You're so thoughtful." Her eyes sparkle, lips curl this time. "We'll make boss mine." Bell rings, marking the end of their first mission. Jinnai's head fills with dreamy visions of a honeymoon genius. "Jinnai!" Diva just stares blankly, clueless about her joy. The scene shifts to a lavish room. Mammon's voice says, "I heard about your castle." Resting her chin, she continues, "I sent Beast to check its human land now." Agria lowers her head, heavy-hearted. Mammon sighs, "Everyone thought you were dead. Where have you been these 2 months?" Agria hesitates, hiding her time in the ancient realm. Mammon smiles, squeezing her sister's hand. "You being alive is enough." Agria admits she feared Mammon would hate her like the other demon lords. Mammon pauses as Agria recalls their father and the family's bitter past. Their bond had long been poisoned by ancestral rivalry. Mammon waves it off, smiling. "That's old news. We walk our own paths now." Agria nods. Mammon tilts her head. "You came for help, didn't you?" Agria stays silent, guilt written all over her face. A giant spider crawls in the corner, ominous, like danger watching. Mammon says softly, "I help not for titles, but because you're my friend, you can do this." Agria whispers, "Moved?" Mammon stands tall, hand outstretched. Agria thinks, "She's so composed, unlike me." Mammon smiles. "Let's go back." Agria grips her hand, determined. "Thank you. I'll rebuild my castle." Mammon smiles warmly. "You will." Agria! In the corner, the spider's eyes widen as if witnessing everything. It tightens its prey in silk, fate closing in. Agria recalls yelling as a child, "My father's the true heir of Asmodeus." Young Mammon shouted back, "Nope, my dad's stronger, and his forest prettier." They used to argue nonstop. Agria smiles sadly. "We were always at odds for no reason. Perhaps it was inherited, born from fathers who never reconciled." Agria remembers their shared nights, thinking, "We never matched, yet we're still friends." A flash of light unlocks a forgotten memory. She realizes those memories never truly faded. When both fathers still lived, their world had not yet fallen. Her father's warm hand on her head had started everything. She recalls Mammon's jealous, wounded eyes and sighs. "Maybe I misunderstood." Back in the present, Mammon leads her down the hall, saying, "This way, sister." Agria teases, "You still treat me like a kid." Huh. Mammon blinks. "What did you say?" Agria shakes her head. "Nothing." "Where are we going?" Mammon replies softly, "I can't restore your power alone. Others share our goal." Agria gasps, "Really?" Mammon nods. "Yes, right here." The door opens, light spills in, and Agria's smile fades. Council of Demon Lords waits inside. Agria whispers, "Mammon." But Mammon bows, "I've brought her." Agria sighs, "So that's it." She laughs bitterly, still too naive. Indeed, Mammon hadn't changed, just as she feared. A memory of young Mammon's biting jealousy flickers. Now there's only the mocking smile of a betrayer. Agria finally sees her true face. The dim hall glows under flickering red gold candles. Agria kneels, anxious, her full demonic lineage announced aloud. A demon lord on the throne speaks in wary disappointment. Mammon sneers, calling Agria a cute fool. She leans close, hissing that Judica welcomes no weaklings. Agria clenches her fists. Determined despite the scorn, surrounded by hatred, she feels the sting of rejection. Demon Lord U3 coldly grants her a chance to justify herself. Agria lifts her head, baffled. Justify, she pleads she was never defeated by humans. Meeting U3's gaze, her words ring with truth. The demons howl in outrage at her claim. Some demand her death, others mock her failure. Agria bows, stammering in despair. Inside, she blames no one but herself. She accepts her guilt, head lowered. The demons jeer, calling her a disgrace to be erased. Mammon laughs cruelly, joining their cry to kill Agria. The accusations pile up. Her judgment day decided. U3's red eyes glare coldly at the kneeling Agria. Someone asks for orders. U3 calmly says, imprison her. The scene shifts to the mercenary city. Kangyai, a gatekeeper, blocks their path, demanding new badges to pass. The guard eyes Diva and Jinnai suspiciously. Jinnai flashes a shiny badge, stunning him into respect. Diva asks curiously, and she replies she had kept it from before. Diva muses there must be more treasures near the castle. Jinnai eagerly agrees. They enter, scanning dungeon notices plastered on the walls to gather info. Diva eyes the files, asking what the mission seeks. Jinnai replies it's a beast too strong for humans. Diva nods in understanding. He frowns, thinking, you want me to lead a hellish monster? Dream on. He asks about dropping a level. Jinnai shuffles papers. Wait a sec. Diva browses the list, asking if weaker monsters qualify. A staff member politely asks them to leave. The place is closing. Jinnai softly suggests staying, but he insists it's too late. She pouts. Her date plan ruined. Diva is simply exhausted. Diva considers leaving, even handling the staff. Just as Jinnai gets an idea, she flashes a gold coin, asking if dungeon missions are still open. The clerk hesitates, asking the exact goal. He inwardly sighs. These two are greedy, already cleaning out everything. Jinnai points at the board, coldly demanding the top listed mission. Outside, the night sky is starry and eerily quiet. Papers scatter across the floor. No one bothers to pick them up. Jinnai sighs, complaining about scarce useful monsters, while Deva reads about ancient metal golems. She says it's fine, but the dungeon is far away. Diva groans, what a hassle, and flops on the bed. He irritably thinks maybe he should just indulge Agria to get it over with. Jinnai considers, noting Agria's weakness. Watching over a room would tire her in 3 years. She recalls Agria's majestic form as a demon lord, quietly admiring it. Diva agrees, sighing, wondering if he should check on her. He recalls Agria's skill in leading the way. Maybe he let go too soon. Jinni blushes, remembering she once wrecked Agria's castle. Diva suddenly asks about Judica's timing. Jinni says 2 days remain and urges him to go early. Diva puts on his shoes, deciding to try if it's too far. Fate didn't intend it. Jinni gets excited, wanting to learn to locate Giudecca by the stars, even if unsure how. Diva scratches his cheek, pauses, then smiles. I can read stars too, under the twinkling sky. The guard gazes upward, eyes heavy with thought. Nearby, Agria's giant dog pants, while he grumbles in boredom. From afar, a lone figure slowly approaches. The guard spins, shouting, confirming it's not a demon lord. The dog growls, warning only demon lords may come close, others risk death. Yet the stranger steps forward, fearless. The guard's third eye opens, face twisted with anger, claiming loyalty to Demon King Mammon. His body swells, transforming into a giant monster. Roaring a threat to crush intruders, Diva appears, black aura coiling around his neck, calmly asking, what's all the noise? In the dark, strange, delighted voice echoes. The figure laughs smugly, taunting, feeling good yet. In the dungeon, Agria sits silently in the corner, while Mammon teases, visibly pleased. She pretends concern, warning the demons want to kill Agria as an example. Agria stays silent. Mammon feigns kindness. Lying as if lamenting, she slinks in the shadows, red eyes gleaming. Speaking of her effort to protect Agria, Mammon asks coldly, what punishment do you expect? She smirks, they'll just break fangs and saw off horns. Agria's silence only delights Mammon more, her voice dripping with sweet mockery. Poor thing, without horns or fangs, are you even a demon lord? Mammon whispers cruelly. She laughs wildly, admitting she's longed to see Agria fall. Mammon grins wickedly, asking what she plans to do to survive here. Agria lifts her head, staring straight at her, while Mammon keeps taunting, how about serving me? Mammon licks her lips suggestively, work hard on my shoes. Maybe you'll be kind. Agria stays silent. Mammon feigns surprise. Don't like it. Why that frozen face? At that moment, 2 demons enter, announcing Agria must be taken to trial. Mammon casually gestures, letting them do their job. They drag Agria off, moaning that it's no fun at all. Mammon smiles maliciously, thinking the drama is just beginning. In the grand hall, the demon court announces Agria's trial. The prosecutor reads charges that she has tarnished leadership honor. Mammon stands amid the crowd, eyes gleaming with delight at the indictment. Agria kneels, hearing Shell lose horns and fangs, the most humiliating demon lord punishment. The judge asks in a deep voice, any words to save yourself? Agria pauses, then says she has thought a lot while in prison. She lifts her head, voice vague, yet I still cannot understand anything. The demons murmur. Confused, dying philosophy is hard to grasp. Agria continues, claiming the army exists only to protect the demon lord, and the weak die naturally. The demons rage, shouting that she treats subordinate lives like trash. Agria coldly snaps, quiet, listen to me first. She asks if they've seen how she treats her soldiers, silencing the hall. A sharp, mocking laugh shatters the silence. Mammon smirks. Entire team wiped out, yet still bold. Are you insane? Agria calmly replies, nope, now I truly see, accusing the trial of deceit. Mammon chokes, only able to hiss in anger. Agria presses on, directly insulting the Demon King, calling him petty and blind. The council gasps, unable to believe their ears. Mammon panics, covering his mouth, shouting. She dares insult Yoba. Demons scramble to tear her apart, contrasting the fury. U3 calmly says, desperate words won't move me. Agria bows her head, thinking no words will change the verdict. She laughs faintly, wary of the Lord's pathetic blindness. The demon judge boldly adds insolence to the sentence, to be executed immediately. A burly demon steps forward with a saw, grinning wickedly. Cooperate. Demon Lord, he lifts the saw threateningly. It'll hurt, so enjoy it. The saw glints as he swings, gleefully announcing, let's start with the horns. Suddenly, a dog's bark pierces the air, freezing everyone. The demon's panic. Mammon grumbles, right at the good part. U3 frowns, asking what the commotion outside is. Agria shivers, a familiar premonition rising. His here, the barking continues, seemingly fearless of the demon court. Amid the chaos, a mocking human voice calls out, even dogs know where to bark better than you. Agria is stunned, heart racing, unable to believe it's Diva. Tears fall as she whispers, you came to save me. Her mind recalls Deva seated, calling her name, Agria. His eyes shine with confident arrogance, as if commanding the situation. Outside, the ancient castle lies in darkness, thick with murderous intent. A broken-horned demon writhes on the ground. Someone asks how they still resist. Since demon lords are only temporarily strong, a giant figure approaches, tentacles swaying, coldly declaring, if it had horns, it must be remaining demon lord. The figure stops, voice hoarse and deep, asking, how old are you? He looks up, sees blazing golden eyes, and shouts, kid, look at me. The eyes split into four. The stranger smirks, nice horns, let me borrow them. The demon trembles, stammering, I am. A small boy with red eyes and tiny horns sweats nervously, trying to say his name. Memories fade, returning to the present, where Deva sits on a chair in the hall. His voice rings out clearly, calling Yalba directly, sending chills down the throne. A massive dog paw suddenly stretches into the grand hall. Agria's dog charges, knocking her down. She laughs. Little one. It licks her face relentlessly. Agria hugs it, laughing. Good boy, so you really followed Lord Diva. Mammon glares, teeth gritted. Insane fools. She yells at Diva. Who are you to interrupt a sacred demon ritual? Jinnai smirks. You don't even know who you're being rude to yet. Deva shrugs. Sorry, we're just lost guests. He steps forward, cold gaze scanning the hall. Agria clings to the dog. Looking at him, Deva asks loudly, do you think a fallen demon lord deserves scorn? He glances around. Or is that why you vent your hatred on her? Diva walks slowly, voice soft yet chilling. So what if I wipe out all your troops? He stops, smiling. Then no one would object to losing fangs and horns, right? A sinister smile flashes with golden eyes, suffocating the air. The demons rage, gnashing teeth, calling him arrogant. They whisper, this one dares threaten Yaobai at Giudecca? Deva sighs, so tense just from a question. The sentencing demon roars, pounding his sword. Shut up, say another word and it'll tear you apart. He charges, flinging flaming swords at Diva. Diva remains perfectly still. As the attacker nears, he opens his mouth slightly. A glowing magic array engulfs the assailant, dropping him lifeless. Diva stays calm, asking, what's going on? Why is everyone staring at me? He looks up, pointing forward. As the one giving orders, right? The demons turn silent. They see U3 still bracing, sweating, unable to speak. Yaba bows before Diva, trembling. Forgive me. I will punish the offender. Mammon is speechless. Diva hands in pocket. Standing still, U3's voice shakes. The supreme being has arrived. Lord Devalo. The hall falls silent. Someone panics. Devalo from the primal dungeon. Yabe immediately kneels, head touching the floor before Diva. The sentencing demon trembles, shouting at U3, who thinks, this fool still doesn't know who he faces. Diva narrows his eyes, voice indifferent. You look familiar. Where have I met you before? U3 glances at the sentencing demon, thinking if he doesn't stop, Diva's handmaid behind him would decapitate him. He shudders as Ginny's green gold eyes flash. U3 shivers, realizing one wrong word could annihilate all demon lords here. He collapses, stammering, Supreme One, why grace this lowly place? Diva leisurely replies, now I remember. Yauba, right? You grew fast, almost didn't recognize you. U3 stammers, all thanks to the favor you granted me 900 years ago. Diva leans down, gently pats his head like an old pet. Stand up, I'm not here to dwell on the past. Agilia shakes like a caffeinated husky, memories fully reloaded. He recalls Dualua rising from blood and fire, one stare to drop demons to their knees. Diva asks softly if he wants to know why he came. Smirking, Diva says he still has questions. U3 looks up, scared like the old days. Diva channels peak Dualua energy. Relax, I don't bite. He clarifies it's not about the past. U3 asks what it's about. Diva points. I came for Agilia. She blurts. Me. Jinnai calls her name gently. Agilia whispers. Lady Jin. Jinnai invites her to join the Primal Dungeon squad and manage a sector. Agilia goes full Windows error. Asking why her, Jinnai jokes it's about rebuilding her legion. Jinnai offers her elite demon troops, basically her upgrade minions. Dog head squish aside. Agilia beams. I get to lead. Jinnai not. Diva groans. She quickly rebrands it as team effort if you approve. Diva smiles, mission accomplished. He extends his hand to seal the pact with Agilia. Agilia nods so fast the dog gets dizzy. She whispers, Lord Dualu. Before hands touch, Mamen screams she won't accept. Meltdown mode, she's unworthy. Diva frowns at Mamen's hysteria, even the dog is intrigued. Mamen rages about being outed by her little sis. She leans in, claiming she's the true ancient blood powerhouse, not the girl boss in training. Mamen coos, offering body and heart service like a loyalty subscription. Jinnai appears like Doom soundtrack, severing Mamen's arm mid-flirt. Jinny growls, who allowed you to touch the Supreme One? Do a look. Mamen screams, clutching her neatly detached arm piece. Agilia watches from the floor like it's premium drama. U3 kneels, apologizing for the misconduct. Diva shrugs it off. U3 asks permission to handle Mamen properly. Demon lords instantly tie up a man who screams for a refund. Ajilia's giant dog growls. Battle already. Diva yawns chaos isn't worth his sleep debt. Ajilia pets the dog. Jinnai asks if she regrets not nuking the room. Jinnai jokes genociding demons would have been faster. Ajilia declines no ruins, no ancient core to keep. She grins, admitting she's not kind, just future calculating and mildly villainous. She asks about Judka's location. Jinnai probably credits devastating skill. Jinnai says the guard refused, but the dog tracked her sent for easy BS. Ajilia hugs the dog, crowns it her one warrior, then nervously asks if she'll mess up for Jinnai. Jinnai asks, what do you mean? Ajilia sighs, previous managers were stronger, I fear I can't handle this role. Jinnai crosses her arms, bluntly, true. You look weak, 3 years at most, lucky if the dungeon survives tomorrow. Ajilia falls back, tears brimming. I know, but hearing it still stings. Jinnai looks at the dog and continues. Still, Lord Dualu wants you, don't disappoint him. Ajilia lifts her head, eyes blazing. I won't let him down. Jinnai smiles, satisfied. Good, yep. And I got permission to confess to Lord Dualu. Ajilia blinks, confused. Jinnai winks. Just remember that. Ajilia nods awkwardly, then asks, where's Lord Dualu now? Hearing the name, the dog perks up as if called. Jinnai replies, in the hall. You three sit still among demons, sweating. A tall demon lord speaks. Lord U3, representing Northern Viettraman. I have something to report. U3 nods. Speak, he says gravely. I understand Devalo is a legendary ancient, top hell power, yet he hesitates, adding, even so, your recent actions seemed over the line. U3 stands, angered, suspecting everyone thinks has embarrassed the demon realm. Other demon lords flail. Defending U3, the northern representative admits. If it recurs, it's truly humiliating. U3 snaps, yelling insults at him. He grabs the man with his massive hand. The man screams, begging. U3 coldly questions Via. Riemann, mocking him for trying to seize power. U3 squeezes Vierman's throat, daring him become a demon lord if is capable. The demon lords plit in unison for U3 to calm down. U3 tightens his grip, panicking everyone that Via, Riemann might die. Then he releases him, declaring, if anyone thinks him weak, go ahead and try. All demons kneel. Begging U3 coldly lets them leave. He glances at them, warning it's enough of a lesson. U3 walks away, wondering how Agria's child knew that ancient creature. Diva suddenly appears, greeting U3 familiarly. U3 returns the greeting. Deva hesitates, saying he has a question. U3 sweats, sensing Deva is about to put him in a tough spot. Diva claims he forgot something. U3 thinks for the good of demons. He must comply. Diva reveals an object, asking if they truly are demon lords. Diva is surprised by U3's intense reaction. U3 studies it carefully, as if recognizing something. Outside, the night sky sparkles with countless stars. Jinnai wonders why the meeting turned chaotic. Diva notes their enthusiasm. Jinnai smiles at his unexpected openness. Diva jokes that Jinnai has nothing to worry about, quietly praising his own cleverness. Call invites Deva and Jinnai back inside. Ajilia and Heian appear. Jinnai asks if she's done. Ajilia confirms. Ready to leave, Jinnai asks if she feels any attachment. Behind Ajilia, a staircase descends below. She beams, having achieved her goal, determined to become the strongest demon lord. She asks about the next route. Jinnai says only one last stop remains. Diva warily requests a short rest. In the dark dungeon, a soft voice inquires about someone's condition. A weak reply comes. The wind reveals the person's hand has been restored. A trembling whisper mentions lost horns. The man in the vest hesitates. Mamen touches her broken bone, reassuring herself it's real, not a dream. The black-haired one asks questions after over a day of sleep. Sinhai ignores the past, inquires about Agria, and learns she left with the ancient monster. Mammon clenches his hand. The other reassures him loyal allies exist and advises forgetting the past. Sinhai roars in anger, furious at reminders of old ties. Mammon mutters about killing Agria. Realizing he can't rely on other demon lords, he needs someone stronger, capable of reaching the ancient core. A sinister smile appears as he recalls who can counter the core. Elsewhere, someone asks about the newcomer's reason. Agaris replies he wants to inquire about Tam Yan. Agaris' cold eyes sweep past, sending shivers down everyone's spines. Agria and Ginny focus on the stack of documents before them. The messy papers contain detailed research on monsters. Ginny laughs, saying Diva picked elite creatures, and Agria is impressed. Agria wonders why Ginny still isn't satisfied with those monsters. She spots Queen Elizabeth of the Old Lake, criticizing her as depraved. Ginny angrily tears the paper. Agria hesitates to comment further. Agria points to another file, but Ginny dismisses it for a trivial reason. Ginny, exhausted, declares none meet the standard, shocking Agria. Agria wonders if Ginny is jealous of her beauty. While Deva sleeps, Ginny persists in searching, and Agria joins in. In the Empire's castle, a solemn atmosphere prevails. In the office, people gossip about the lack of new results. Agaris mutters Devala's name, eyes sharp and cold. He recalls Deva's arrogance and vows to punish him to protect the Empire. Agaris rests his chin, pondering how to deal with Devalo. A knock sounds. Guards report Garoth requests a meeting. Garoth enters, asking about investigation progress. Agaris invites him to sit and prepares tea first. Garoth casts a spell, making the teapot pour automatically. Hot tea is served, aroma filling the room. Garoth asks if it pleases him. Agaris nods slightly. He says the only notable info concerns the ancient core. Agaris sets down the cup, admitting the deeper he digs, the stranger it seems. Garoth questions him. Agaris slaps the book, suspecting the jailer's identity and the dungeon's true purpose. Despite scouring all documents, Agaris finds nothing on the other two. He realizes the ancient core is full of unknowns, unlike other dungeons expanding power. More importantly, Devalo's true goal remains an unpredictable mystery. Garoth nods, telling Agaris to hear important news first. Agaris, surprised, asks why she's here. Garoth says Tam Yan sent an urgent message that the Demon Lord wants to meet him. The room's atmosphere turns heavy and suffocating. Tam Yan speaks calmly, thanking Agaris for accepting the urgent meeting. Agaris confirms the Demon Lord faction wants a direct meeting. Tam Yan nods, saying they chose the location and warning the meeting could be extremely dangerous. A mocking voice remarks the human commander looks younger than expected. Agaris signals Garoth to stay calm and avoid rash moves. Mammon enters with wolves and subordinates, eyes full of appraisal and disdain. Agaris introduces himself coldly, confirming he is Commander Leviathan. He warns her not to bring attendants. Mammon smirks, saying he didn't come alone either. Tam Yan quickly intervenes to soothe the tensions, inviting both sides to the stone table. Agaris suggests skipping pleasantries and getting to the main point. Mammon shrugs, accepting, his tone full of arrogance. She threatens that Rossoit village citizens die if he sneezes too loudly. Agaris cold roasts her, signals Garoth to charge a spell. Mini boom teacup explodes into porcelain confetti. Agaris warns Mammon. She giggles, it's just an energy vibe check. Mammon announces a demon lord will leave the partial wing fortress. Orders her death. Agaris asks if she wants him to fight her own faction and be a sacrifice coupon. She says now. Just assassinate Agilia before departure for big rewards. She eyes Tam Yan, saying Diwalu only needs the beast ghost for experiments. Agaris declines faster than spam email. Mammon freezes, asks why he rejects a once-in-a-lifetime deal like it's expired milk. Agaris sighs, says it's not about profit. Mammon insists. Agaris notes she came personally means personal agenda. He scans Mammon, sees no horns and escapes Scar's trap or desperate cry for help. Mammon explodes with rage at the disrespect. Agaris calmly fires back, saying she's the one hiding things and hiring murder. His steel-cold stare reminds Agilia already has a sponsor. Mammon clenches a fist and leaks a plot hole, confirming his guess. He stands, refuses Demon Lord soap opera, tells Garoth to bounce. Mammon shouts stop and admits Agilia has major backing. Agaris turns away, says this meeting never existed like low-budget CG. Mammon blurts the ancient horror Dualu, making Agaris halt. Hearing that name, his eyes light up like loot drop sparkle. Mammon bows, claims there's still a way to dodge Dualu and kill Agilia. Agaris accepts. Mammon double takes in disbelief. He turns, voice chilly, I accept the terms. Shadow mode on. He says hell kill Agilia. A red spider chills on the ceiling, watching the drama unfold. Mammon gasps, senses something spicy wrong. She asks how he knows Agilia's surname. Did they binge tea together? Agaris smoothly says he knows the Demon Lord next to Rhea City. Leah Ching. He promises fast action. Mammon starts sweating plot anxiety. She sees Agaris access at Dualuo's name. Bad feeling intensifies. Mammon repeats she still holds 400 Rossoid hostages. Agaris casually says, kill them if she feels like it. Mammon is shook, ears buffering. Agaris says their deaths would be Empire honor badges. The ceiling spider rappels down. Mammon trembles. Agaris cuts her off. Wants payment now. He already has a demon corpse for lab duty. Spider crawls near a peeking blue tail from another creature. Turns out it's a lurking steel bull. Mammon's guards shield rush. Mammon flips out, wonders why everyone's auditioning to despise her today. She screams, orders kill them all. Agaris smirks, danger blinking in his eyes. Somewhere else, morning sun paints the window. Gentle voice appears. Jinnai greets Dualu. He sleepy said he eyes her. She smiles in sunshine, whispers he must wake up and enter the furnace again. Dualu faceplants in his pillow, repeats the same 5 more mins live from 3 hours ago. Jinny tells Agilia to prep the thing. She asks if it's world-ending magic or just spicy glitter. Agilia lifts her staff, flashbang mode charging. The buildings get nuked by aggressive lighting like it's photo shoot day in hell. Dualu jumps up, screaming for a ceasefire on magic surprises. Has horrified seeing Agilia cast genocide magic. She says it's just magic, not a wellness candle. A toxic smell spreads. Dualu nearly rage faints. Batuliki cheerfully delivers weird breakfast, invited for a noble taste test. The bowl contains bubbling green goo, goat meat, and sad veggies. Dualu fake laughs to survive it. Jinni gets a reply from Pedaliki, boosting Dualu's curiosity meter. She shows a mirror shard with the letter. Dualu asks if it's Dicor or cursed FaceTime. Agilia says it's a magic device while Dualu hides nasty food under the bed like a squirrel. She adds inject mana and Amira calls go brr. A skull pops up. Hello Pedaliki. Trio stares. Dualu roasts the nose on screen for emotional support. Pedaliki ignores it, says Hez here to drop more monster data like Dulf. Dualu asks where he yoinked the mirror from. Pedaliki flexes it's borrowed from Batula's room, shocking everyone who expected royal stinginess. He admits paying in blood with jinness. Obviously, Dualu panics. Jinni wasn't even there, so whose blood subscription is this? Jinnai snaps into mirror view, smiling like murder Asmer. Pedaliki disconnects himself mid-scene. Jinnai demands a reconnect refund. He reappears, pretending this never happened like bad internet improv. Jinnai threatens decapitation. Agilia adds his doom deluxe this time. Pedaliki clears throat, returns a topic, sends a new list of possible monsters, not the rejected emojis. Jinnai can't find it. Agilia points out the sticky note Dulks taped on the back. She opens it. Monsters not yet cancelled. Dualu finally pays attention. Pedaliki smugly says week alone. Op and combo. He stalked them for days like a wildlife influencer. Dualu senses the narration is sus has been spoiler observed. He asks if Pedaliki knew everything before they even planned the plan. Pedaliki short circuits. Words. X stopped. His mirror avatar vanishes like intentional quitting. Dualu rages. Agilia taps the glass. Confirmed. Kalgan Jinnai synods. Scene swap. Agaris stands among cold demon corpses. Says demons of trust rating 0 stars. Someone says demon army is huge and asks if they should capture the half-dead beast or poke it first. Agaris nods. Laser focused on promised reward loot. Mammon kneels with sword at neck. Still talks like humanity. Subscription is ending soon. Agaris cuts it. Says he only cares she accidentally opened his kill Dualu a side quest window. Mammon laughs. Megasalt. Calls the idea rookie energy. Shimoxi has no idea how horrifying the ancient beast is. Killing it is a nice try though. A mage steps up. Says stop arguing with the demon lord Karen. Agaris boasts thanks. praises the precious materials, and asks the mage if he can finish the job. The mage hesitates, then vows to craft the perfect artificial being. A reptile on the ceiling munches a spider the mage mocks. The supposed hunter is the pre. Scene shifts to a desert. A stingray-like creature glides over hot sand. On its back Dualu, Jinnai, a Jilia, and a wolf, ready to face a formidable foe. Dualu recalls Patrick saying loyalty only comes when the master recruits personally. A Jilia reminds Dualu they've arrived. He nods, eyes forward. Alert! He remembers the mission: recruit the partial wing fortress guardian golem, a regenerating stone giant. In the distance, massive stones appear, the golem's lair Patrick mentioned. Jinnai points to the giant. Still golem, Dualu asks for confirmation. Just then, the golem trembles, eyes glowing brightly. Jinnai explains it can regenerate endlessly as long as its heart mana stone remains intact. Dualu ponders retrieving the stone. Jinni warns taking it down won't be easy. The colossal golem rises, mountain high, roaring as it charges them. Agilia exclaims, acknowledging its strength. She raises her staff, preparing magic to restrict movement, giving Dualu a chance at the stone. Dualu pats her head, smiles, praises her. Good job. Now let's move. Suddenly, 5 massive golem fists descend. Dualu leaps forward, meeting the strike head-on. He swings to counter, aura blazing. The clash slams him into the ground, dust swirling. Agilia yells, worried for him. The next punch shakes the entire mountain. Amidst smoke, Dualu jokes, Patrick really knows fun games. Then, the golem's upper body explodes into fragments. Dualu stands smiling, one hit toppled the golem. Huge gibberish scatters everywhere. Agilia hovers, stunned by the power. Dualu calls for her to grab the mana stone. She responds immediately. He brushes off dust, complains about his dirty clothes, jokingly asks who's next. On a distant island, a one-eyed demon asks if anyone's heard the news. He reports the mountain golem and Bai Lang, the plane's destroyer, have fallen. Other one-eyed demons panic, fearing humans will hunt them. The blue-haired one says no one knows this dungeon's location. Jinnai whispers to Agilia, confirming Patrick's intel on the demon's lair is accurate. Jinna's voice startles the demons. She declares they've come to negotiate recruitment. Before she finishes, the demons roar, thinking they're here to conquer. The leader rises, weapon ready, swears not to submit to Jinnai and Agilia. Jinnai sighs, tells Agilia negotiation has failed. The one-eyed demons fall silent, unsure how to react. Scene shifts to the forest. The group continues monster recruitment. Jinnai complains the enemies are too weak. She recalls how one wiped the demons, finding it unbelievable. Jinni asks who's next. Agilia checks the list just as she names one. A shadow appears on a tree. The figure teases, surprised to meet them here, claiming to be the very target they seek. Hinging upside down, he brags that the one-eyed demons nearby just got beaten. Jinnai is surprised. He calmly says their people spread news fast, which keeps them alive. She senses something, asks if he knows the situation. He laughs, says of course he was hired in the DK dungeon because Rasa is the one they seek. Rasa agrees to cooperate but demands conditions, pointing at Dualu. Jinni glares at him, daring to name Dualu. He calmly confirms it. Rasa, excited, wants a duel to test the Great One's monster power. Jinnai fumes, scolds Rasa's audacity, tells Dualu not to worry. She'll handle it. Dualu calmly agrees, seemingly wanting to test the guy's skill. Rasa claps loudly, thrilled like hitting a jackpot. He raises his hand, shouting for Dualu to unleash full power. Dualu glances back, half smile, half sneer aloud. Huh. Night falls. They retreat to a shabby inn. Dualu collapses on the bed, exhausted after 2 nonstop days. Jinnai brings food, worried his drain from strange work. She timidly offers it. Dualu sweats, fearing her cooking, relieved when she says it's store-bought. He eats in peace while Jinnai reads documents and Agilia watches curiously. Jinnai summarizes golem, Cyclops, and Raxa eliminated. Dualu shows Raxa vanished with a snap. The spider apologizes and retreats. She smiles, noting the haul this time isn't bad. Before them lie bones, treasures, weapons, and gems, the spoils of conquest. Jinnai ponders the chest origins, guesses looted from mortals, all containing rare magical tools. Dualu searches the treasure, checking for anything that could pierce Patrick in his bones. He unexpectedly picks up a red flower, unsure what the artifact is. Scene shifts to a messy machinery-filled basement. Mage bows, grateful for receiving an excellent experimental sample. Agaris responds coldly for the Empire. Nothing more. The mage praises the intact sample, inviting him to admire its beauty. Inside a solution tank, a demon human is pierced with countless tubes. Agaris smiles faintly, hands clasped behind back, nodding at its beauty. He remarks indifferently that appearance doesn't matter. Only experiment results count. The mage warns removing the sample now risks damage. Meanwhile, the victim remains unconscious, unaware of being an experiment. He notes the sample lasts 2 days. Agaris orders continuation, confident the results will satisfy him. Agaris internally thinks it can do everything he knows and has already planning its use. Dualu holds the red flower, asks Agilia if it's a magical artifact. She nods, saying it was once used. Now only preservation magic remains active. Dualu compliments the flower. Agilia smiles. He contemplates quietly. Jinnai calls, Lord Dualu, startling him awake. He approaches, telling her to stand still. Jinnai is puzzled. He softly scolds, don't move. He smiles in satisfaction. Agilia admires the scene. Dualu pins the red flower in Jinna's hair, noting it suits her remarkably. He thinks she is diligent and changed since arriving at Partial Wing Fortress. He senses she expects something from him, unsure what, perhaps because he's never given her a gift. Agilia compliments her radiance. Jinni blushes, asking if it really looks good. Dualu firmly affirms beautiful. If you don't like it, he'll give an even better gift later. Jinnai beams, smiling like morning sunlight. Dualu quietly smiles. Perhaps our work here is done. He plans to rest, but Jinnai reminds him 2 more places remain to visit. He slumps, whining he doesn't want to go anywhere. In the quiet mansion, Wynn lounges on the sofa, eyes filled with sadness. She sighs, stretches, utterly bored, muttering random thoughts, twisting restlessly like she's losing her mind. With nothing to do, she groans in frustration, remembering Agaris' advice to pretend weak to avoid the front lines. Win knows he cares. Sitting idle makes her anxious someone could be in danger outside. She stands, determined to ensure Raya's safety, stepping onto the balcony. Looking down into the void, she tells herself she can do it, just a quick trip outside. Suddenly, Agaris' voice behind her makes her jump. Where are you going? Win. He smiles lightly, suggesting, let's talk a bit. Win blushes, scolding him for barging in unannounced. Agaris calmly replies he guessed she'd sneak out, so had to surprise her. Win awkwardly denies, I'm not sneaking anywhere. Agaris looks Win in the eye, serious tone, prompting her to confess she's been wanting to ask him something for a long time. Agaris softens. What is it? Win nervously asks, how is Gajut? She continues, saying she hasn't dared see him since he lost his arm. Clutching her hands, tears near, she takes all blame for his injury. Agaris reassures her she shouldn't shoulder guilt for the Empire. Gajut only fulfilled his duty. When bows sadly, Agaris adds Gajut never blamed her. He notices Gajut still worries about her feelings, advising her not to torment herself. Win nods slightly. Agaris suddenly recalls another matter. I need your help with a small task. Win curiously asks, what task? Agaris speaks seriously about artificial creatures researched by the Empire. He reveals an accident in a lab when anxiously asks for details. Agaris explains some entities escaped, luckily causing no casualties since the area is far from civilians. Win panics, wanting to alert everyone immediately, but seeing Agaris calmly enjoying tea, she realizes he wants to keep it secret. Agaris decisively says the matter must be handled quietly. She cannot appear on the front lines. Right, he warns if she appears, nobles will suspect. Win anxiously asks what she should do. Agaris calmly replies he arranged coordinates at the west teleport gate. She must reach there within 3 hours. Win immediately agrees. He'll prepare right away. As she turns, Agaris calls her back, making her pause. He raises a hand, emphasizing, 3 hours no sooner, no later. She nods firmly, understanding. Agaris finishes his tea and leaves, calculating in his mind 3 hours to act. Suddenly, a voice outside says, thank you for opening the door. Agaris, he narrows his eyes. Alert, long time no see. Facing him is Pope Sargonus III, in the Grand Hall. Sargonus speaks politely. Long time no see. Commander Agaris, or should I say, the new commander. Agaris coldly asks why someone not serving the king comes to meet him. Sargonus smiles enigmatically, still sharp as ever. Indeed the Empire's commander. His eyes glint. I'm just visiting the hero the Empire praises. Agaris cuts it. To my knowledge, hero in Historia has never met you. He steps closer, voice cold. So you're here to probe her? Sargonus sighs. Suppose I said I'm here to meet you, would you believe it? A tense atmosphere descends. He softly smiles. Now, shall we have a little conversation? Atop the rusted steel tower, Agaris stands against the wind, mind spinning over the schemer he just met. He recalls Sargonus' unbelievable proposal, a whisper that keeps him on edge. Scene shifts. Fireworks explode brightly across the night sky. On the streets, people cheers. The Diana strike team returns victorious. Agaris looks down, thinking of Partial Wing Fortress, a mercenary city where 1 in 3 wields a sword. Somewhere in the chaos, Dualu hides, preparing to take down the ancient beast. He needs intel and courage. An armored guard approaches, bows ready. Agaris, he nods slightly, thanks. Tome, a mage behind asks, how will you find the demon lord in the city? Sir, his words make another knight shiver uneasily. Agaris smirks. No special tricks. The mage presses. So what's the plan? Agaris casually replies, someone else hungers more to hunt him. Ill use her. He asked him, how long? 78 minutes until the hero arrives. Sir, Agaris nods. Early enough, but start warming up. Understood. Commander, he thinks only a demon lord can call kin, so sooner or later Helltrace agree. This act promises to be thrilling. Scene shifts to a tavern. Cups clink loudly. Someone shouts, bottoms up. Patrons chatter that the decayed dungeon was dangerous, yet no deaths truly miraculous. A bald man asks his friend Bottas where he's going to pee. He slurs. Bottas staggers outside, leaning against the wall, grimacing. Ugh, so drunk. Feel like vomiting. A noise behind makes him turn, seeing a staggering figure, assuming a fellow victim, approaching, pants half pulled. He asks, you okay? And sniff the full stench. Under the lights, as horrified a creature gnaws the man's neck. He draws his sword, roaring, damn, the monster's in the city. He swings, but the beast blocks. Impact jolting him. What terrifying strength is this? His sword cracks. Panic rises. Impossible. What power is this? In the dark behind, pale shapes slither forward. A horde of white-bodied, hollow-eyed monsters advances. Nightjun screams, what the hell is happening? In moments, Partial Wing Fortress turns from festival streets into a sea of fire and blood. A knight stammers, even by the Emperor's orders, this is insane. The mage whispers, watch your words. The soldier thinks Tamiyan's experiments are cruel, causing disaster mid-city. Meanwhile, Agaris rides in a carriage, calm, relax. The city won't be wiped out. A knight glances at him, skeptical. What do you mean? At that moment, buildings in Partial Wing Fortress begin tilting and collapsing, smoke swallowing the sky. The knight stares in horror. Agaris rises, smiling. Finally, it's here. From the rubble, a colossal foot of a terrifying creature emerges. The knight swallows hard. Could this be the artificial being too? Amid flames, hordes of grotesque monsters crawl from the red smoke. The knight shouts, you said the city was safe. This will crush everything. Agaris meets him with icy eyes, silent. The knight trembles, stammering, don't tell me. Indeed, all were already on Agaris' chessboard. He smiles, calm, just minor sacrifices for the greater work. He thinks Dualu would never want Partial Wing Fortress destroyed. That name must have other plans. Agaris chuckled, Look at that, he said. Impressive, isn't it? His words echoed through smoke and fire as the Empire's people sacrificed for glory. The knight stared in horror, thinking, this is a demon in human disguise. Far away in the forest, Ginny looked up. Is that not our inn? Agria nodded. Seems like it, Devallo shouted in panic. Nope, that's, he screamed in despair. My bed, in the ancient forest. Someone marveled. This tree rivals Gaffania's giants. It must be ancient. Devallo yawned. Just woke up, finished recruiting monsters. Can I sleep now? Ginny giggled. Yes, rest a bit, Lord Devallo. Agria noticed her little wolf alert, patted its head. What's wrong? John, a strong wind blew, scattering forest leaves. Agria raised her hand to shield, eyes sharp at the strange sensation. From afar, red flames rose. She panicked. Isn't that the inn city? Devallo watched and shook his head. Impossible for Ginny and Agria to ask. Lord Devallo, he screamed, clutching his face. My beloved bed. Ginny giggled. You can rest your head on my lap. Devallo flinched. Agria sighed in helplessness. Suddenly Agria frowned, whispering, strong demonic aura. Her gaze fixed on the burning city. Devallo said slowly, someone is recklessly dumping magical energy. Agria tilted her head. You feel it too. Devallo! Devallo pondered. Before he could reply, Agria clenched her fist. Eyes blazing with resolve, she raised her head boldly. Lord Devallo, Ginny, may I see what's happening? Cannet City now resembled a fiery hell. Monsters roaming streets, screams piercing the sky. A monster chased a terrified villager fleeing desperately. Bottas appeared, swung his sword, beheading it, shouted, run! The villager barely managed to shout. Thanks, he panted, looking around. So many monsters, they're devouring humans. Another swordsman rushed over. Grateful, thank you. Bottas, I belong to the Usik Crimson Guild. Bottas froze. Usik Crimson Guild, they're all top-tier experts. Lucky, the swordsman said. We just cleared this area. Do you know about them? Bottas shook his head. Nope, I'm just Bottas. Silver Guild. Bottas examined the monster corpse. Thoughtful. Seems artificial. But unlike usual homunculus, the swordsman nodded. Whatever it is, it's key to this matter. Amid the ruins and flames, they saw a giant cocoon, their main target. The swordsman said to approach. Bottas replied. I'm with you. Don't forget, I'm Erring too. The swordsman frowned. Foolish. Getting close means death. He placed a hand on Bottas' shoulder. Smiling. I'm as crazy as you anyway, he whispered. Listen carefully. Someone's calling your name. Bottas! The chill made Bottas shiver. He turned, bewildered. Realizing he was trembling himself, the swordsman spoke slowly. I get it. You want to save people, but preserve yourself to save more. Leave this to the Crimson Guild. He continued. Bottas nodded. Fine. I'll leave it to you. The swordsman smiled. Good. No need for formalities. With that, he dashed off like the wind, while Bottas knelt, planting his sword in the ground. He breathed heavily, shouted hoarsely. I'm here. Come at me. Near the center, two soldiers stared at the giant cocoon. One cursed. Damn, my ears feel like they'll explode. Sounds like something slicing the eardrum. Magic! The guards behind shook. One exclaimed. What the hell is that? A shield bearer warned. I've never seen a creature like this. Could it cause all this disaster? Its magical power is enormous. Another said. Don't underestimate it. Around the cocoon, magic circles began spinning. Two commanders shouted. Fall back. Damn, it's reacting. A mage reassured. It's just energy detection, not attack. Detecting. What's it seeking? Prepare a full assault. Dozens of glowing circles of different colors surrounded the monster. The mage squad chanted together. Fire. Flames erupted. The monster roared. Mage shouted. Effective. Don't stop. Yet it didn't respond. A shield bearer sensed something wrong. Wait, something's off. Just then, a young swordsman charged, yelling, die! His sword glowed as he struck the monster hard. A roar echoed, not in pain but mocking. The slash sent a massive shockwave. The monster leapt up, snapping the sword in half like a twig. Its scream became a sonic wave, sweeping the area. Shield bearers were thrown back. Mages toppled behind. A huge explosion erupted at the monster's center. The front line was engulfed in smoke, fire, and terrible force. The shield bearers struggled up, coughing. Impossible. It's still standing, unscathed. Then a voice echoed through the smoke. Looking for me, Em Mung. A purple light flashed as Agria descended with radiant wings. She stared at the monster, cold voice. Pitiful. Did you hate me this much? The creature roared furiously. Agria raised her staff, magic glowing. This ends now, forever. She gathered energy, forming a black sphere covered in purple destructive magic, glowing in the burning night. Amid the ruins, she hovered, eyes calm on the flames, mind drift into past days. Judecca is finished, she told herself, purple wings cutting through smoke. Mind haunted by Mammon, after all. Mammon has no reason to linger here. The demonic energy beckoned like a call from the abyss. Agria moved toward it, murmuring Mammon like a memory. Now in the air, she looked down at Mammon's twisted form. Did your hatred turn you into this? I don't know what happened to you, she whispered, raising her staff, gathering more magic, cold eyes. But I won't pity you. She cast a high-level spell. Dark destruction. The black sphere swallowed Mammon. Screams echoing through the ruins. Soldiers lying around stared at Agria. Is that the demon king? She's saving us. They sighed relief. She ignored them. Doesn't help anyway. One whispered. Let's retreat. Agria frowned. Strange. Using pure destructive magic. Her eyes on the burning body. Uneasy feeling rising. On the ground, our Angstrike team soldiers were retreating. Agria realized they were all Imperial elites. Suddenly, Mammon's body convulsed. Something emerging from the blackened corpse. A mage turned, eyes wide. Impossible. Magical energy around it surged violently. Colors shifted. Man attributes reversed. Agria felt it from the body too. another hand protruding. She shuddered, seeing Mammon morph into a grotesque form, her body clad in white armor, a long scorpion-like tail sprouted. A soldier yelled, "What is that?" Someone crawled out of the corpse alive. Mammon paused, muttering, "Mid-level spell invisible piercing strike." A drive. A guard's head flew off Mammon's neck nearby, leaving the others stunned. She cast another burst spell, magic exploding around. The entire guard squad turned to ash. None survived. Agria shouted, "Mammon!" The opponent responded with a sorrowful gaze. Mammon whispered, "Agria, my body is rotting. It hurts. Too hot. I'm about to vanish." Then she grinned twistedly. "But before dying, I'll take you with me." Mammon screamed, intent shaking the ground. Agria immediately raised a magic shield with her staff. Hundreds of spiked pillars shot from the ground. They charged but were nullified by Agria's purple barrier. The backlash sent Mammon flying. Shockwaves across the city. Her footsteps thundered as she advanced. Two magical forces collided, sky trembling, forming a massive sonic wave. Mammon pressed her staff, forcing Agria back, laughing madly. "Now you truly look like the Demon King." She continued attacking relentlessly. The two demonesses clashed, magic erupting, tearing the surrounding space. From afar, a mage observing asked Agaris, "Are you satisfied now?" Agaris smiled, eyes reflecting fire. "Now I see why she's so confident." The mage smiled, said to wait a bit. A greater spectacle awaits. Agaris thrilled, believing everything is going according to plan. Agria kept unleashing relentless spells. She surged forward, attacking without pause. Suddenly, her legs froze, halting her advance. Media aimed her staff at the mana sprout, worried mana would run out, yet trusted the enemy would fall soon. She thought, just a little more. Victory will be mine. Suddenly Agria froze, four blades piercing her body. Familiar laughter of Agra isn't heard. He pulled her close, hand gripping her neck mercilessly. The mana sprout laughed wickedly, telling her to prepare for pain. Agria, furious, poured all her strength into a counterspell. Powerful blast flung the mana sprout far away, but exhausted, her body collapsed to the ground. Agria whispered, despondent from depleted magic. Memories of Devalo saving her flashed like a final dream. She jerked awake from the useless memory stream. Cold blood fell. She looked up at the sky, sensing the boundary between life and death. Agria apologized to Devalo for breaking her promise, then fainted in the distance. Ginny worriedly inquired. Devalo calmly said Agria is very strong. She'll be fine. He added, she hasn't realized yet that she is an extraordinary demon king. Devalo turned to Sun to confirm this. Just then, Agria's eyes snapped open, feeling mana surging from her feet. She cried out in surprise. Above, Agaris gazed at the sea of fire, declaring he had caught the demon king. He observed Agria's collapse, satisfied with the new spell's effect. Asked about his secret, the cloaked figure said he studied how to siphon enemy power without harming the user. He pointed to the distorted mana sprout, saying that though unstable, its energy is immense. Agaris pondered. All this was a test of Devalo's strength. The city burned fiercely, red light spreading like hell. Agaris spoke slowly, intrigued by the chaotic scene. He wondered if Agria really had any connection to Devalo. He worried it might all end before Wing arrived. Determined to learn more about Devalo, while deep in thought, Tom quietly called, telling him to look ahead. Agaris turned, eyes wide in shock. Around Agria, purple mana surge. It was Devalo's energy. The mana sprout froze, eyes filled with frantic terror. Before her, Devalo's giant eyes glared down intimidatingly. The mana sprout screamed wildly, turning its hand into a blade and lunging at Agria. As the strike neared, Agria quickly raised her staff, casting a regular ice spell. Burst of blue light exploded, the staff falling to the ground. Before her, the mana sprout turned into a block of ice. Leaving Agria stunned, she was puzzled. The spell supposed to be weak, yet so powerful. She looked at her trembling hands, wondering how she survived with no energy left. A strange mana surged in her palm, bearing Devalo's mark. Her wounds vanished, making her suspect Devalo had intervened. Though frozen, Agria cautiously checked the mana sprout's life with sensing magic. The result was clear: the enemy was dead. The battle truly over. A sharp chest pang made her realize it was Devalo's mana that caused the damage. Agria intended to leave, determined to confront Devalo about the power in her body. But a strange sound came from behind. She turned, ready to defend, but saw nothing clearly. Reassuring herself, she thought she was just too tense and imagined it. At that moment, a slimy creature emerged from the mana sprout's corpse. Agria frowned, whispering, "What kind of devilish trick is this?" The creature wrapped around the corpse, seemingly devouring it. She was horrified as it drained all mana. Leaving a white skeleton, Agria immediately sprouted wings, planning to fly away quickly, avoiding the new threat. But before escaping, she vomited blood and collapsed, her body nearly paralyzed. She gritted her teeth, realizing the cost of borrowed power was immense. As she staggered, the monster approached from behind. Tentacles swung. She closed her eyes, bracing for the end. Suddenly, mysterious mana lifted her into the air. Narrowly escaping, opening her eyes, she realized Ginny had saved her. However, Ginny's rescue was rough, slamming Agria down forcefully. Sun rushed to catch her, and Agria realized her ally. Surprised, seeing the little dog, she weakly smiled, feeling relieved. Ginny casually said, "Sorry for the delay," and Agria could only apologize, knowing Devalo must be nearby. Devalo appeared, looking wary. Ignoring his usual imposing aura, he grumbled about Agria being late, almost making him doze off. Agria cheered seeing him. Devalo glanced at Ginny, praising her handling as passable but still lacking. Ginny humbly said only Devalo could do it perfectly. He half-nutted. Suddenly he frowned, sensing the creature growing uncontrollably. The monster had become enormous, making him mutter. Annoying, Ginny asked to finish it off, but Devalo refused, saying it wasn't necessary. As the monster charged to attack, he boldly said, "Let me handle this." The creature roared, rushing like a tidal wave. Devalo merely raised a hand toward it. One tentacle was caught effortlessly. The impact was so strong it created a backward wind vortex. While the creature still raged, Devalo taunted, "What's this?" He smirked mockingly. "Want to shake hands?" His gaze radiated an ancient lethal aura. Meanwhile, Ginny leisurely sipped tea. Offering Agria a cup, Agria asked puzzledly where she got it. Ginny only smiled mysteriously. Devallo gripped a tentacle, stopping a counterattack. He pulled hard, tipping the giant body sideways. The monster's body lost balance. Swaying from the pull, Devallo concentrated force, delivering an extreme slam to the ground. The creature was crushed under the immense force. The ground shook violently, dust filling the air. Shockwaves spread across the area. The monster lay flattened, but Devallo didn't stop. He lifted a tentacle and slammed it down again, creating another earth-shattering impact. Agria whispered worriedly, but Ginny smiled confidently, assuring her it was fine. She watched the battle, murmuring, "If he's handling it, I'm at ease." Devallo attacked relentlessly, severing the monster's tentacles. Flesh and debris flew across the battlefield. He casually remarked, "Pretty sturdy." Huh. Then he calmly asked, "How about trying this next?" Placing his hand on the monster, mana radiated outward. Its body contracted unnaturally. Devallo realized it was about to explode like a mana bomb. Indeed, in an instant, blue blood and flesh scattered everywhere. Devallo, soaked, muttered self-reproach for overusing mana. Ginny opened her umbrella to shield herself, groaning at the gruesome scene. Agria looked on suspiciously. Everything around fell into silence and ruin. Agria collapsed, heart heavy, realizing how terrifying that being was. She thought, "It's stronger than dragons and most demon kings I've known." Devallo yawned after the battle, alarming Ginny, who rushed to stop him from catching something gross. Seeing Sun holding the monster's tentacle in his mouth, Devallo grimaced at the horror. Agria explained that the disgusting thing was the deformed mana sprout. Ginny recognized it as the cunning creature that once fought Agria. Devallo vaguely remembered and nodded. Agria recounted how the parasitic creature emerged and devoured its host. Noting this isn't rare in magical circles, seeing Sun try to bite it, Devallo shuddered. Ginny ran over, yelling to stop him. She examined the remaining body carefully and noticed something unusual. Ginny shouted that she discovered the creature's true nature. She confirmed it wasn't a natural monster but an artificial creation. In the city, the Black Cloak group panicked as their masterpiece was swiftly destroyed. Agaris coldly told him to stop making excuses. Silencing the group, he silently confirmed that no matter how advanced alchemy is, it couldn't match Devallo. He turned away, concluding no reinforcements were needed, ordering a return to Rias, calling the Mage Tower Master. He inquired about the old man, who trembled but said he was fine. Agaris calmly declared the mission complete, shocking the mage. The old man protested vehemently, insisting that the Empire's sacrifices cannot be dismissed. Seeing the ruined scene, his anger grew, feeling all effort turned to ash. Agaris asked coldly, "Meaningless?" He gestured to the devastated battlefield, and this was only half the casualties he had planned. The Tower Master collapsed in despair, while Agaris walked away. Unmoved, he murmured, "Every sacrifice has value. At least I learned Devallo cannot be subdued by ordinary power." He also realized Devallo only acted decisively for one person, Agria. He calculated that this disaster would spark a war, where their masterpiece would be used again. The damage in Canon would be recorded as a demon-human accident. Fully concealing its artificial origin, Tum observed, reporting a teleportation portal had opened straight to Rias. But he suddenly paused. Alert! Drawing Agaris' attention, Tum whispered, "Sir, a stranger just infiltrated the teleportation gate area." A violent explosion shook the sky, rocks flying everywhere. Tum reported the attacker had the form of a grotesque maid demon. Agaris immediately remembered the mirror-wielding maid, realizing she was blocking the retreat and knew humans were involved. He quickly ordered a temporary teleportation portal at the Mage Tower to escape via the main mana stream. Suddenly, a gleaming sword shot forward like lightning. Knight Gwyn jumped up to block, shouting for the captain, but the sword twisted, wrapping around his blade and yanking it back. Gwyn struggled to resist, sweat pouring down his forehead. He shouted for Tum to retreat with the captain immediately. Agaris objected, refusing to leave him fighting alone. Gwyn yelled, "There's no time. Get out now." Tum urged, "Captain, let's go." But Agaris hesitated. Finally, he said sternly, "If you die without my permission, I'll be very angry." Gwyn smiled. Understood. The group quickly withdrew. Alone, Gwyn faced the opponent calmly. "I hear you've killed many of our agents." A woman's silhouette approached. He smirked. "I've long heard of you." Soft footsteps became clear. Gwyn frowned, eyes steely. His opponent was Ginny, the maid with the deadly sword. Meanwhile, Agaris group strode through the path littered with corpses and monsters. Returning to the Mage Tower, Tum asked why Gwyn was left to fight alone. Agaris countered, "Do you really think he's alone?" Tum nodded. "I know he's strong, but it seems reckless." Agaris replied, "That's why he needs no backup." He confirmed adding others would distract Gwyn and weaken him. Tum was surprised. Agaris explained, "He carries the blessing of the spirits." Gwyn dodged Ginny's fierce attacks. Each slash shattered the ground, dust flying everywhere. He fell, panting, still gripping his broken sword hilt. From afar, Ginny approached like death itself, coldly repeating Devallo's order to destroy all portals and kill suspicious humans. Gwyn smirked. So in the bait, or part of a chase game, Ginny sneered, "Stop pretending. You're just stalling for your teammates to escape." She darted in front of Gwyn, sword flashing, questioning, "You think I don't know?" Gwyn panicked but managed to turn and block. His sword broke in two, clattering to the ground. Ginny frowned, murmuring, "You fight well, human." Gwyn smiled defiantly. He shouted, "Old spirit buzz." A vibrant green light exploded across the area. Ginny landed lightly, cautious, realizing this opponent was no novice. He had just gathered mana. The space trembled as a giant hand of earth appeared. At the same time, shimmering blue wind and water twisted through the air. Before her, two colossal spirits radiating immense energy appeared, hinting they were high-level spirits. The earth spirit, head ablaze, slammed a thunderous punch. Ginny leapt to evade, body twisting midair, but the water spirit countered immediately, combining with shattered earth for relentless attacks. She sneered, seeing them as mere child's play, easily nullifying them. As one attack dissipated, another struck. Leaving no pause, Ginny pressed on fearlessly amid the storm of magic. Massive rocks crumbled to dust under her power, far beyond human capability. Gwyn raised his sword, chanting, Ludica. The ground trembled violently. Ginny sat amid the rubble, eyes calm, observing. She looked up as a strange light flared in the sky. Before her swirled a massive stone storm. Phone that bitch, a destructive whirlwind devouring everything. Ginny realized Gwyn used massive mana to seal off the entire area. His voice echoed through the wind. This is the price for those who dare to underestimate humans. Stay down, monster. Yet Ginny stood in the storm, calm amid the whirl. Her mana so immense she controlled two spirits simultaneously. She smirked. Interesting. Human. In her hand, a curving spear radiating purple light appeared. Scene shifts to the Kanyai Hideout. A woman worriedly says, Wait, Bortros. I told you already. Bortros snapped. You want me to sit still? At least do something. The girl replied, You're not recovered yet. You'll die. He froze, seeing three men in the camp preparing to leave. The girl shouted, Captain, stop Bortros. Has not well yet, but Bortros insisted, I'm fine. Don't stop me, the captain sternly said. Don't be reckless, he ordered. There might still be survivors. I'll head to the strike team and the mage tower to open a rescue path. Raising his weapon, he shouted. Strike team begin lock Diana. Prepare to depart. The rallying cry echoed. Drive away the monsters that destroyed our homeland. The girl shivered, calling, Captain. Suddenly, someone shouted, pointing. Look, a giant creature emerged, guarding the Kanyi range. The girl sighed in relief. Good, it will help us fight. But Bortros turned pale, shouting, No, startling her. His eyes widened in fear, voice trembling. It can't be that's not a guard. The bear raised its massive hands, ready to strike down. Bortros screamed. Run! Quickly, a terrible quake erupted, the ground splitting, everything flattened. Minutes earlier, in the burning city, a voice echoed like hell's judgment. From the mirror, a mocking voice accused Devallo of orchestrating everything. He shouted angrily. Who do you think I am? Fool. Batrike began analyzing the artificial creature, claiming only the Empire's Alchemy Association could create it, possibly once allied with Demon King Mammon before betrayal. He asked if Devallo understood the consequences if humans killed a Demon King. He said they'd behead the Demon King and display it in the square. Devallo, bored, yawned. Another tedious story. Batrike sighed, thinking it was just showmanship. Meaningless. Devallo replied, I can't understand what they're thinking. He speculated that if humans created artificial creatures and released them into towns, there must be a deeper plot. Devallo recalled searching for Ginny and encountering an artificial creature that could fly. Impossible. As he had destroyed all original data and materials, Batrike shouted, just suspicious. At this rate, in a few years they'll make something as strong as Ginny. Devallo turned pale, swallowing dryly. That is kind of frightening. He leaned back in his chair, grumbling, I'm tired. Can we leave it, or should I just blow up the whole village? Batrike agreed, surprising Devallo. Really? They won't stop after experimenting on a Demon King. He stressed that humans are surely monitoring Agria and even know about Devallo. Shifting all blame onto him, Devallo smirked. Fine, if that's the case, I'll just follow their invitation. Don't regret it. Batrike laughed slyly. Then let's erase this town from the map. That command summoned Gollum, turning the peaceful land into a fairy red hell. Agria and Sun stood nearby, silently listening as Devallo spoke of that decision. When he declared he could destroy everything, they burst out laughing with excitement. Watching the small town burn, Devallo murmured in admiration. Apocalyptic chick. He noticed humans gathering, making tracking their magic easier. Agria fumed as Sun got too close. Suddenly, a fierce mana surge made Devallo whip his head around. He whispered, Gwyn's storm reveals a major mana core and two high-level spirits. Ginny faces a tough foe. Smirking, he said, if they're that strong, Empire leaders must be hidden there. Agria replied confidently, Relax, I've got the main gate in sight. It turned out she used magical butterflies as seasonal signals. She patted her chest, boasting she was ready for the task, leaving Devallo speechless. Wrong direction for the gate. He praised the group, then removed what he was holding, a huge golden bell. He suggested starting to see what's interesting ahead. After some deliberation, he chose the massive tower as the target. Dee and Lo agreed and tossed the bell. The bell hit hard, toppling the tower. Tom hugged Agaris to protect him. Everyone panicked, shouting, was that the ancient monster? Seeing the tower fall toward them, they yelled to block it. The group quickly combined efforts to form a magic shield. The tower crashed onto the glowing protective circle. A mage said they needed to gather mana into a temporary core, taking 10 more minutes due to the tower's collapse. Agaric asked Tom when the curse words would hit. He said about 5 minutes. Agarith worried the core wasn't fully broken, but Gwyn was weaker than Devallo, likely doomed. Suddenly, Tom requested permission from the captain to return the teleport point. He vowed to bring Gwyn Historia back safely. On Gwyn's side, he realized spirit power isn't omnipotent. He looked at his hands, noting sustaining the mana-costly recovery pillar would be draining. Confident, he relied on the magical storm to dominate. Ready to use the earth spirit to block enemies, he affirmed his goal wasn't just a temporary win. Standing firm with determined eyes, had only yield when mana ran out, but then his upper body collapsed while his legs stayed upright. Winston was stunned, not understanding what had happened. A curved sword fell from the sky, like a legendary weapon from ancient tales. His eyes reddened, mouth trembling. Asking why, a monster attacked, slicing him in half with its death fang, a masterpiece among Thirdaziks. Yonan died, and 2 spirits vanished with him. He tried to whisper, asking how this could happen. Ginny said the sword could stretch 10 meters and pierce magical winds. She stepped closer, explaining he was blessed and protected by a spirit, yet even rescued. Survival was unlikely after being cleaved. She coldly drew her sword, murderous aura blazing, ready to finish him. A voice called out, dubbing her a blood-soaked maid. Ginny turned, eyes flashing with rage. Tum exhaled, thinking she had paused, buying time to save Yuan, but before he could process, he froze. His face was bloodless. Ginny had driven a lethal strike. Enraging Tum to retaliate, she coldly hurled the death fang at him. Tum dismissed the small weapon, thinking it harmless, yet he was stunned by what he saw. The small sword morphed into a massive, radiant steel bow. It crashed like a meteor, causing a massive shockwave. Tum dodged, smirking, thinking she foolishly discarded the weapon, but the sword returned like a boomerang. It slammed down from above, forcing Tum to struggle to block it. Ginny spoke icy cold, her threat echoing through the space. She warned him to reveal everything. Clutching the chain tightly, the death fang obeyed, striking like a demon's blade. Tum panicked, wondering if it could grow even larger. He blocked so hard that blood leaked from his eyes. Tum weakly admitted defeat but warned her about over-attacking. Suddenly, a figure appeared behind Ginny. A shout rang out, "Hey, monster!" It was Gwyn, landing a punch so strong the air cracked. Her gauntlet split, unleashing a violent man explosion. She stood firm, breathing heavily but eyes resolute. Tum lay flat, secretly admiring Gwyn Historia's power for pushing back a maid with one strike. Ginny was flung far, cracking the ground into a deep pit. Agaris clutched his head, torn between thoughts of safety and the teleport gate. He collapsed, believing Tum would handle the rest, certain the plan couldn't fail. He shuddered suddenly, sensing Devalo's breath nearby. Mages panicked, loudly calling for the commander. Agaris fell back in fear, then forced himself up, lying that he was fine. Asked about the gate, he heard only 3 minutes left and nodded for them to continue. He bowed his head, tormented, unsure if it was illusion or real fear. At that moment, another appeared, teasing why the commander was sitting on the ground. Agarith gasped, seeing Gazoth, the magic tower master summoned by royalty. Agaris realized the situation had completely changed with the tower master's arrival. Gazoth confirmed the entire Black Wolf Knight's army was present. She added Wynn was dead, Tum gravely injured, and Gwyn facing the mirrored maid. Agaris urgently asked, "Did you get this from Tum?" Gazoth calmly said she came upon hearing the news, leaving Agaris stunned and terrified. He frantically ordered a retreat. While Gazoth asked why, Agaris' face turned purple, repeating like a madman that they must escape immediately. The scene shifted to an aerial view. It was Egria's reconnaissance magic. She reported spotting the target and called her team to prepare. The called person smiled eerily, eyes glinting with killing intent. A dense, oppressive atmosphere enveloped the town. Ginny rose, lightly scratched but eyes blazing with combat fire. Tum panicked, trying to stop her, but teammates mocked him, noting the army's support. One frowned, stressing it was a command order and not to argue. The team responded in unison. Calling Wynn to retreat, she protested fiercely. Wynn took a stance, insisting she was about to finish the monster. Suddenly, a familiar voice called out to stop. "No." "Wynn!" She turned, stunned by the newcomer's appearance. He stepped forward, ordering an immediate retreat despite Wynn's furious demands for reasons. Agaris replied firmly, "The opportunity will come, but not now." Wynn reluctantly agreed. Following the order, Agaris exhaled, ordering the army to retreat to the teleport gate. But as they prepared to leave, a massive curved sword blocked the path. Ginny, enraged, stepped forward, demanding who allowed them to leave. Aura of killing intent surged as she claimed she was sent by Devalo with absolute authority. She gritted her teeth, warning no one would leave this place. Ginny glanced at Agaris, recognizing him as the commander. Wynn immediately stepped forward to block. She acknowledged Wynn as a formidable opponent, rare among her rank fighters to make her cautious. Ginny declared she would kill Wynn first. Wynn replied defiantly, and Agaris panicked, calling her name. Ginny, furious, shouted and summoned a swarm of dark black butterflies around her. Gazoth panicked, asking what it was, then realized it was magic. A deep voice rang out, "You've arrived." It was Devalo, here for Ginny, shocking Agaris to his core. Devalo calmly observed, smirking, "This place is lively." He ignored Agaris trembling nearby. Devalo's killing aura surged, a horrifying image of his true form appearing behind him. He looked around, smiling like meeting old friends, calling out each person by hair color and title. Agaris choked. Recalling Devalo's past threats, Devalo continued, "Interesting fate to meet again under these circumstances." Agaris wondered why Devalo didn't massacre the city but came to them instead. At that moment, Wynn suddenly called Agaris' name. He knelt, fawning, asking Devalo about his health in a servile manner. Devalo flatly said no need for meaningless etiquette. Agaris hastily explained, trying to shift blame, but Devalo interrogated him instead. He stammered excuses about investigating, promising cooperation if spared. Devalo silently pondered. The tension was like a taut string, everyone holding their breath for judgment. Devalo's gaze was icicled, piercing their hearts. Then he turned away, casually saying, "Do as you wish." Devalo sighed, telling Ginny to retreat with him. Looking wary, she quietly agreed, "Yes, master." While others panicked, noticing her bleeding, Agaris grinned slyly, sweat dripping. Wondering if the plan would succeed, he watched Devalo's figure fade. Feeling elated, his smile widened as he silently cheered. Everything's going smoothly. Suddenly, Devalo appeared beside him, coldly asking, "What are you smiling at?" Agaris panicked, falling back, stammering, "Since when were you there?" Wynn ran over in terror, shouting. Devalo looked down him like an insect, voice full of disdain. "What do you think?" Agaris trembled violently, sweat pouring like rain. Devalo threatened in a chilling tone, "Did you think I'd let this slide?" The air froze, no one dared move. Wynn shouted Agaris' name, trying to break the fear gripping everyone. Devalo spoke grimly, referencing an old debt at Restar, but this time it would be different. He glanced at bleeding Ginny, his eyes growing even colder. He pointed forward like passing a death sentence, especially at Agaris. Agaris felt as if death stared him in the face. An arrow flew, but Devalo bent it midair with magic. The green-haired person shouted, "Wynn!" Agaris turned, startled. Wynn had pulled him from danger, panting, asking where they were headed. Gazoth ordered, "All troops, protect them at all costs." Devalo saw the army pouring toward him, merely smirking in contempt. Then a massive explosion shook the area. From the smoke, he emerged, muttering about troublesome nuisances drawing attention. He raised his hand, firing a volley of glowing magical arrows like a meteor shower. Agaris despaired. Realizing they couldn't withstand it, a green-haired person leapt forward, blocking all attacks. Blood gushed. He weakly smiled, teasing Win, him faster this time, then fell, urging her to care for the commander. Win was speechless, unable to utter a word, arrows embedded in the ground. She screamed in despair, her cry echoing far, tears mixed with rage. She clenched her fists, ready to counterattack, but a hand gripped her shoulder. Agaris restrained her, pleading. Don't win, she shouted in anger. Why stop me? He tried to reason, but she was furious over her fallen teammate, refusing to retreat. Gazoth calculated that instant teleport was the only way to stop the doomed circus. Dark fog squeezed her like a Toxispa mask gone wrong. Teammates passed out, so teleport math hit mission impossible mode. No back button left, she chose noble self-delete. Jiazu to scream for Aina until her vocal cords filed a complaint. The man behind turned back, eyes sharp like wifey scanners. He whispered, got it, like approving a pizza order. Dualu-side, ah yes, Daiji Doom, and a charge to punch back time for the gate death flirting included. He unleashed 3 moves of the 36 divine techniques, drums in his chest booming. Wayne yelled for a nah, voice cracking like cheap glass armor, vibes flaming. He threw a thunder-level punch, 1 blink later arm gone, squad members buffering in horror, Aina's scream echoed, spinach-chilling like ghost asthma. Jinnai rumbled, humans are weird and doomed, Phi. And tried revenge too, but Earth Spikes ended his subscription instantly. Wayne watched him fall, tears and rage mixing like spicy soup. She howled like a heartbreak tornado. Agaris freaked. Calm. Weigh in, she roared. Murder Buffett. Now. As she dashed, Agaris pinned her back, crying, please, I beg, far away. Dualu frowned. What clown quest are they doing? Tu Mew appeared shielding Wei and Agaris, making Agaris scream. Tu Muser. He burned his last AP to cast Heartwall Shield. Premium Edition. Dualu and Lu stared. What wizard nonsense is that? He roared and blasted magic at the shield like it owed him money. Shield held, but Tu Mew prayed. Please be enough. Enemies outside powered up for get-cracking season. He glared solemnly. Senza. Playtime's over. The giant beast popped up. Fear froze him like bad net lag. Nightmare Beast revealed. Even Tu Mew whispered. What the actual roar? Magic glyphs formed into Alu's mouth, blinking like neon pop ads. Soldiers panicked, while Jiazuode murmured, hold on, gate's almost done. Wei-in begged Tu Mew, 1 more minute. Grandpa tank. She recalled the 36 divine techniques could rival ancient monster punches. Spell explosions rained, but Tuma's shield cracked rocks falling like defeat confetti. He widened his eyes in maximum dread mode. He ran forward roaring. Last spark of life in the sprint. A huge boom tore space like opening a soda with force. Dust flooded Wei-in and Agaris shielded their faces. From smoke, a raspy voice whispered, run, Captain. They screamed Tu Mew. He collapsed with a chest hole, muttering, ignore me, lead the Empire. Win. He smiled in peaceful idealistic shutdown. Logging off forever. Dualu smirked. Yup. Still breathing pixels. Wei-in rushed, but Agaris blocked. Nope, you can't beat him. She ignored all logic and marched forward because plot mood strategy. Her hands glowed bright blue as she declared, because I am the hero, as Devalo prepared an attack. Win clenched her fists, firm in belief heroes exist to protect. She screamed and charged into battle, determined to face Devalo to the death. Scene shifts to cart loaded with magical stones is being pushed forward. Ginny giggled. So pretty. Lo, consider it a souvenir. Flames burned in the distance. Another replied, not for this, but the word is the word. The man nearby laughed. As long as it's useful. Devalo held a magic stone. Coldly, that golem is a good puppet. When drained, it recharges. Next time, Eel send it back out. Ginny glanced. It must take you a while to reveal your true form too. He gripped the blue stone. Solemnly can't waste this intriguing toy. Thinking of the chaos he caused, Devalo smirked, not an ordinary human. Eyes icy. He hissed, killing them now would be such a waste. Scene shift to a silent, dark forest. A blue petal gently fell onto a black coffin lid. A small figure stood still, silently watching the graves of fallen comrades. It was Win, in white, holding a blue flower, face heavy with grief. A voice echoed, remember the battle against the great beasts. Win, the newcomer continued, only 4 lost and 1 artifact thanks to you. Invalistic of the Black Wolf Knights. Win trembled, eyes closed. Chokin, I know, but my heart still feels heavy. Jiazudi approached, sadly smiling. That flower is beautiful. Win, everyone is grateful. She only bowed, eyes covered by self-blame. Tears fell endlessly. She sobbed. Everyone must hate me. Memories of her teammates surfaced. She choked. I wish it'd come sooner. She continued to blame herself. If I were stronger, that maid wouldn't have won. Biting her lip, she whispered in despair, if only I were strong enough. Tom's figure flashed before her, sparking renewed determination. She shouted, if only I were strong enough, I would have saved everyone. Her voice faltered in sorrow. If only I. Jiazudi interrupted, eyes firm, then you will defeat him. Win, I believe in you. Because of that faith, they fought to the end. He murmured. He sat, holding her gently, voice soft. Let go of the past. Win, live on for them. Win cried, clutching Jiazuti, pain exploding. The blue flower remained in her hand, trembling but unfallen, petal detached silently, foreshadowing future events. Scene shifts to the room where Agaris is sheltering. He sat dazed, confused at his own survival. He couldn't understand why Devalo spared him. In memory, that moment was the perfect chance to finish him. Back at the battle, Devalo and Yun prepared lethal strikes. Suddenly, thick blue light filled the space. He sighed. Teleport magic intervened again. They activated the massive windhead ritual named Gazot. Devallo called loudly toward the black-haired youth. He returned to his true form, looking down arrogantly, then laughed. As if victory was already in hand, Agaris felt the ancient monster seemed to be sending him a message. He exhaled heavily, aware of being watched, unable to investigate further. Even attending subordinates' funerals was impossible, leaving only reports. Suddenly, he staggered, vision blurred, eyes throbbing as if about to explode. Holding his right eye, he hissed in frustration, unable to comprehend what was happening. He shone a lantern, reassuring himself it was probably just exhaustion, but then Devallo's violent gaze appeared behind him, filling him with terror. He collapsed, everything fading into darkness. At dawn, Gazot panicked seeing Agaris unconscious, calling urgently for him to wake. Agaris dazedly asked how long he had been out, blood poured, and Gazot shouted for a medic. Only then did he realize Devallo hadn't truly helped. Holding his right eye, he cursed the traitor. He recalled the prophecy leaving only 6 months to live. His gaze turned eerie. Beneath Gazot lay countless shattered fragments. She bent down, wondering if the hallucinations were worsening. She reassured herself at least she could still see. Dark aura began spreading around Gazot, strangely ominous. She swept away the debris, lamenting the illness hadn't eased. Seeing her scarred face, she angrily confirmed Devallo as the culprit unforgivable. Diva commanded solemnly keep my condition secret. Even from Gwyn, before I fall, the apocalypse must be complete. Gejot accepted, promising to rebuild the Legion and recruit talent. Diva frowned, puzzled why Wynn and her team acted without notice. Gazot raised her hand, purple light flickering, stating coldly that reporting to a gasping superior like Deva only caused trouble. She promised to detail later but needed to leave briefly. Raising Deva's suspicion, she whispered, on the way here, I met the one you hate most approaching. Diva froze, questioning urgently. Before he could respond, she vanished like smoke. A knock echoed. Agaris gave permission to enter. An elderly priest appeared, bowed, and offered a few comforting words. Agaris replied coldly, accusing him of clumsy lies from too many years as a cleric. The atmosphere thickened. Agaris realized the guest just wanted his answer. The priest admitted bluntly that it was true. Agaris turned away, complaining about how misfortune always fell on them. The priest, stern, said he wanted Agaris Black Wolf Knights to cooperate with them. Agaris sat, listening as the priest explained religion in the Empire was merely a political tool. He looked outside, lamenting that his own life was no more valuable than a noble servant's. Agaris replied bitterly that here, gods mattered less than emperors. The priest chuckled, acknowledging the truth of that statement. Then he turned, eyes bright, saying blessings would soon cover the land. He raised his hands in the light, full of faith and pride in his mission. Agaris smirked, accusing him of plotting a holy war while he had nothing. The priest smiled faintly, saying Agaris' current state spoke volumes. Agaris' gaze turned icy. He bade the guest farewell with sarcasm. The priest departed, leaving a reminder to follow the will of the gods. The door slammed. The room sank into silence. Agaris pondered, whispering, want an answer? You'll get one. Dark thoughts rose. He vowed next time the priest would taste a real confrontation. He walked down the corridor to the 4th room. Bashik waited, eyes solemnly fixed on Agria. The ground trembled, massive tree roots bursting up violently. Bashik told her this would now be the area she and the summoned demon were responsible for, leaving her stunned and asking again. Upon confirmation, both leapt in joy. Agria screaming in excitement, she hugged the demon, eyes shining as she realized it was the core of the great city of He and You. Amid a dreamy rain, she imagined rebuilding the castle inside the room, excitedly discussing decorations with her companion. Bashik smiled. Please, she agreed. Deva curiously asked if he liked it too. Bashik replied casually, of course. Its precious boss picked a formidable gatekeeper. Diva nodded, guessing correctly he meant High Sun. He added that just having the demon orb here was reassuring enough. He slowly noted it never named it, and Bashik recalled Agria brought it. Deva confirmed she even named it. Bashik chuckled, praising Agria's choice of subordinate but calling her naming special. Deva agreed, noting she likely didn't know its true identity. They looked over to see Agria playing with the demon orb, yelling as it hid something in its mouth. Spit it out. Bashik commented it wasn't the right time for the truth. She'd understand eventually. The door burst open. Ginny appeared, reporting the golem in room 3 was set up, its mana stone energy perfectly concealed. Diva patted her head, praising her efforts, making Ginny blush and thank him. Patrick sighed beside them, noting the scene repeated endlessly. The two still intimate as ever. Ginny could only force a smile. Bashik groaned, saying watching it was like an old headache resurfacing. He grumbled he couldn't take it and wanted to get straight to the point. While Deva asked confusedly, the point is what? Before explaining, Diva dismissed it. If we have to go out, forget it. I'm not going anywhere. Patrick silently agreed. Bashik emphasized Deva should stay in the dungeon this time, recalling the previous chaos that destroyed the city and spread rumors. Diva warily asked, then what? Are they coming to scold me? Patrick answered bluntly, exactly. Both Deva and Ginny were stunned, surprised the matter was serious. Bashik continued, noting he contacted Battery, and other Dukamoku were eager to meet Diva. Diva ran his hands through his hair, complaining, then asked when they'd arrive. Bashik answered succinctly, today. The group froze, petrified for a few seconds.